Hello and welcome. Become a Patreon member and enjoy your favorite novels anytime, anywhere, whether you're working, relaxing, or on the go. With our vast pre-available audiobook library, or by requesting a custom novel, simply send the novel name or link and we'll convert it into an audiobook for you. Unlock this exclusive audiobook benefit by joining our Patreon community.
Reincarnated in Power Rangers. Chapter 1. My name in this world is Alexander Matthews. He got reincarnated by accident. He has green eyes and a chiseled face, unlike the fanfic or novels. Alex only had 2 wishes, a blessing of enhanced aptitude and skills of Rick Sanchez, which made learning easy. It took a while to figure out the world he was reincarnated into, which was Power Rangers 2017 movie version. It was mainly because he became friends with Billy Craston and Kimberly Hart at a young age. We were best friends at that time. But soon Alex's parents had to move away, and I met my uncle Marcus Brooks, who trained me under ninjutsu. He would later become the father of Dustin Brooks, the Yellow Ninja Power Ranger. Alex soon came to love motocross racing like his uncle, and even worked at the bike store Storm Chargers. Alex's uncle Marcus was a former Yellow Ninja Storm Ranger. He saw the potential in Alex and started to train him. Because of it, he got superhuman speed, mainly due to their ninja training, which caused me to move faster than the eye can see, often used in high-speed rush attacks. Enhanced strength. His physical strength was vastly superior to that of a normal human, being able to send a person flying with a single blow. Enhanced agility. He was able to leap higher than an average person. Stealth. He was able to evade detection by normal persons. Mind block, which helped him focus his inner energies to resist mental attacks and manipulation. But time soon came for me to return to Angel Grove, where everything had changed. Billy had become an outcast, and Kimberly is the queen bee of Angel Grove High. Alex was now in front of the principal's office. The principal Anderson smiled and said, "Mr. Matthews, it came to my attention that you used to be a resident and moved out because of your parents' job." Alex nodded as the principal looked through his files and continued, "You are overqualified by the looks of it. So do you really not plan on taking the AP courses?" Alex smiled and answered, "I'm positive. Angel Grove's high school is the best place for me right now. Need some time out from the large city life." Alex while accepting back his papers. Alex thanked the principal and left the office to start his day by searching for his first class. That's when he saw Billy. As both saw each other and with a smile gave each other a brotherly hug, Alex said, "Billy, it is good to see you." Billy smiled and replied, "Yeah, good to see you too, man. Heard you were back in town." Alex looked around and asked, "Where is Kim?" Billy's smile became slightly strained as he said, "She is friends with the popular kids now, so guys like me are not good friendship material." Alex guessed what happened as he sighed and said, "Let's get to class." Billy nodded as both went to class. During lunch, they were discussing their childhood. As Alex was getting food, someone stopped him. It was his childhood friend, Kimberly. Kimberly, with a huge smile, said, "Alex, didn't know you were back in town." Alex nodded and replied, "Just came back a week ago. Can see you are pretty popular." Kimberly laughed a bit as she then breaks the silence. "Do you want to eat lunch with us?" Alex frowned and said, "No, I'm sitting with Billy. I'm sure your friends are waiting for you. Bye, Kim." Kimberly knew Alex was trying to avoid her, and she had already guessed the fact it must be her leaving Billy alone for the popular kids. She always knew Alex had a soft spot for Billy because of autism. Alex walked away to Billy's table as Kimberly just stood there in her thoughts. Both had crushes on each other, but both kept it with each other. Also, Kimberly, after Alex had gone, was pretty lonely and didn't have any friends. The friends she made were the popular kids, so her friendship with Billy became distant. Kimberly always felt guilty of doing it. Now the guilt became much stronger because she could tell her first crush was refusing to talk to her. She really wanted to go back to the way it was, with just the 3 of them. Kimberly really missed Alex, and his return just sparked her old feelings for him. She saw Alex talking with Billy like old times. She was broken out of her thoughts by Amanda's voice. "Is that Alexander with Billy Craston?" Kimberly nodded and said, "Yeah, it is." Chapter 2. /N, which ranger should Alex be, green or white? Things went on like usual as Billy and Alex were hanging out and watching the basketball team practice. As Billy saw Kimberly was sitting a few feet away from them, she was glancing at them from time to time. Billy whispered, "You know you don't have to ignore her for me." "No, she made a mistake. Already forgave her for that." Alex shook his head and replied, "Are you sure?" Billy nodded. Just then, the basketball team who was practicing then accidentally slammed the ball in Kimberly's direction. Kimberly closed her eyes and waited for the ball to hit, but it never came as she heard a familiar voice. Are you okay? Kimberly opened her eyes to see it was Alex and he had caught the basketball. She was shocked as she was pretty sure he was quite a distance from her. She asked, how? Alex with a weak smile said, I practice martial arts a lot. Kimberly nodded but did not believe the excuse. As she apologized to Billy, I'm really sorry about distancing myself away from you, Billy. After Alex left, tried hard to fit in with others. Kinda lost myself. Billy smiled and said, understand, an apology accepted. Alex watched this with a smile, patched things up with him. Billy TH. N turned to Alex with slight excitement. How the hell did you do that? I mean, you were not even close to her. Alex gave a weak smile and said, like told Kimberly I practice martial arts. Billy asked, then teach me. Alex felt like the very saying from the frying pan and into the fire. Alex was somehow able to change the topic, while he was sure Kimberly would keep this event in her mind. The next day, everyone saw police around the school as Alex, who parked his car, walked towards Billy and Kimberly and asked, what happened, and what's with all the cops? Kimberly answered, our football legend Jason Scott tried to prank the school by bringing a bull into the school changing room. The cops got notified, and let's just say the idiots panicked and crashed their car, which now has him under house arrest with an ankle monitor and sentenced to a weekend's detention until the end of the year. But soon more problems popped up. Like Kimberly as a former cheerleader, after a photo of a former teammate in a compromising position was leaked, even though it damaged her relationship with her friends. And the same thing with Billy, who after testing mining explosives, which caused his lunchbox to blow up, which led to both of them to a weekend's detention until the end of the year. The next 3 weeks, the relationship between the three was like before. Also, Kimberly was all changed. She cut her hair and her attitude seemed to now be slightly edgy and rebel-like. As Alex smiled at her and said, I like the new haircut. Kimberly grew a smile and replied, thanks. Also, do you want to go for a swim tonight? Alex's eyes widened as he asked, where? Kimberly smirked and said, that is a surprise, just pick me up at my house. Alex nodded, while both of them didn't notice a certain jock was glaring at Alex from time to time. While during lunch break, Billy was excited and said, I was thinking of going exploring the mines a bit. Alex immediately stopped Billy and said, no way, bro. I know you're planning to blow up the mines again. I'm telling you it's dangerous. Billy nodded and let it go, as both Billy and Kimberly were going to their detention classes. That evening, Alex went to pick up Kimberly, who was wearing a white tank top and leather jacket. As she got into the car, she asked, there is a small river not far from the abandoned mines. It is a nice place for a swim. And within a few seconds, the car sped off the road and straight to the mines. Kimberly, while looking out the car window, asked, Alex, do you have a girlfriend? Alex was slightly surprised at the question, but he answered, no, I don't have one. Kimberly was happy but made sure to contain it and whispered, that is a surprise. Comment 33. Chapter 3. Alex was now at the river near the mines as he said, this is really a cool place. He was leaning slightly over the edge of the cliff and glanced at the calm river below him. Alex really liked this place. It looked very peaceful, calm, and full of nature. The trees here smelled nice, and he also noticed that there was a small campfire not far from here. Behind him, he heard the sounds of his friend removing her clothes before feeling her presence close the distance between them. Alex turned around and saw Kimberly was wearing nothing but her bra and panties. As she smirked, seeing Alex's dazed look, she said, glad you're enjoying the show, Alex. Alex shook himself out of his daze as Kimberly spoke up. One day, I hiked through the mountain and the surrounding forest and found this place. You can dive down there without hitting the ground underwater. You can just as easily climb out of the water as there is a small path down there below that leads up to the campfire where we have seen on our way up here. She too leaned slightly over the edge to glance down to the water. Kimberly then saw her friend shedding his clothes, and the young hormonal girl could not control her curiosity about how her friend looked without clothes. So she glanced at him from out of the corner of her eyes, and what she saw made her a bit hot. Alex grabbed the hem of his shirt, pulled his clothing up, slowly showing the girl behind him a strong, muscular back, broad shoulders, until the shirt came off completely. He was flexing unconsciously his broad shoulders before removing his shoes and jeans, revealing that he wore only boxers. Alex saw Kimberly peeking as he grinned and asked, did you like what you saw, Kim? Kimberly, with a tint of blush on her cheeks, nodded and said, I would say a full 10 out of 10. As she quickly dove into the river while Alex yelled, wait for me, and dove behind her. Both of them enjoyed slight playing around, splashing water on each other. As both stopped and inched closer and kissed, it was something special. Alex took the chance and asked, "So, Kimberly, do you want to be my girlfriend?" Kimberly was surprised and happy as she smiled and said, "Yes, I always loved you, but you moved away before I could tell you my feelings." While this was happening, a certain jock was watching all this happen with rage as he thought, "Who is this guy, and how does he know Kimberly?" While Jason made his way back to Billy, Alex and Kimberly were laughing and started splashing water on each other. Kimberly was enjoying this moment very much since she was now forgetting all the trouble she has at the school. She was now held in a warm, firm embrace of her now boyfriend. She had her back against his broad, strong chest, and Kimberly could not help the blood that rushed towards her face as she asked, "So tell me, what were you up to when you went away from Angel Grove?" Alex replied, "Just went and met my uncle, did a bit of motocross, and even worked as mechanic for a short while." Kimber, surprised by the mechanic part, knew how smart Alex was and didn't think he'd be a mechanic. She shook herself and thought, "I really need to stop stereotyping." She turned around in his embrace and curiously asked, "So are you now going to tell me how you are able to move so quickly?" Alex was thoughtful, then decided to be truthful and said, "My uncle is a master in ninjutsu, so he taught me how to use this energy inside you." Kimberly thought he was joking, but seeing his serious face, she said, "That's pretty cool. Think you could teach me?" Alex smiled and replied, "I could." Soon a huge explosion was heard, and Kimber and Alex were surprised as they quickly went to the shore and put their clothes on. As Kimberly asked, "What was that just now?" Alex frowned and replied, "I have an idea. Who did this?" Alex was pretty sure it was Billy, since he was the only one interested in the mines and also knew about explosives. Chapter 4. Alex and Kimber climbed out of the river and moved towards their clothes. Without drying themselves off, they just put on their clothes. Alex had a hard time looking away from Kimber. Unfortunately for him, Kimber noticed she was also having the same issues. But Alex steeled his heart and looked away, saying, "I think it's Billy who is in the mines looking for gold." Alex added, "If it is really him, we must get him out of there quickly because I'm sure someone would surely report the explosion to the police." Kimber agreed with him, and the two were soon on the move. She quickly put her shirt on to cover herself. Both of them were then running through the trees until they arrived at the edge of the forest. As she saw both Billy and Jason, she said, "It's really them, Billy and the idiot former star football player." Alex sighed and thought, Billy must have come here because his father was once director of this gold mine and was a well-respected man. However, the gold that came from the mines started to dry out, and Mr. Cranston was forced to put a halt to his job. Since as his son, Billy was trying to prove to his father that there is still gold in the mines, he had Mr. Cranston die in a mining accident. Alex saw both seemed knocked out. Alex sighed and woke up Billy, who was really dazed after being thrown by the blast. Alex deadpanned at Billy and said, "Billy, did I not tell you to stop blowing stuff up?" Billy muttered, "I just wanted to dig a little deeper and prove that there is real gold inside like my dad thought." Alex sighed and patted him, consoling him. Suddenly, a kid wearing black ran, pointing his finger at Billy, spoke up. "Have seen him up here before. Dude, you cannot be walking around blowing stuff up." Alex calmed Zach down and said, "He understands that now." The guy's name was Zach, who calmed down as Billy shouted, "I always dug in this area. Was just trying to dig a little deeper. Maybe I dug too deep, huh?" Alex sighed and said, "Billy, you don't have to yell. We can hear you, okay?" Billy nodded, but he went to knock out Jason. He shook the boy as Jason groaned quietly, reached his ears. Alex, with a chuckle, said, "You almost got yourself killed." Jason's eyes snapped open at the voice of a stranger, yet somewhere it sounded a little bit familiar to him. Jason recognized it as he quickly slapped Alex's hand away and with a growl yelled, "Stop shaking me, you asshole." Jason then started crawling back to his feet and attempted to get up but stumbled back and landed on his ass. Jason then noticed everyone as he saw Kimber was next to Alex. This caused his jealousy to rear its ugly head out as he asked, "What are you doing with him, Kimber?" Kimberly didn't like how Jason called her with so much familiarity. She was about to tell him that. Suddenly, they heard someone shout, "Hey, you guys looking to get busted or something? This place is a restricted area." It was Trini standing above the slope. Zach laughed and sarcastically asked, "Oh, really, Einstein? Restricted? As in, we shouldn't be standing on crazy rocks doing Karate Kid moves, right?" Alex had to agree with Zach on this as he looked at Trini, who was above them, and said, "I must agree with him. I mean, you are also not allowed to be here." Billy, who was touching the foot of the slope, noticed cracks appearing on it as he said, "Guys," but everyone was too busy quarreling with each other. Soon, the slope broke, and Trini crashed down below while the rest jumped away. Everyone soon got up as they looked at the destroyed slope to see a black crystal-like wall. Alex spoke up. I never saw something like this before. Everyone had taken out their phones, switched on the lights. Alex was pretty sure he saw a white gem inside, and it glowed a bit as he placed his hand near it. Zach grew impatient and took the pickaxe nearby and slammed it, breaking the crystal wall as a rock with a black jewel inside it fell out. Zach was able to get the black jewel as he spoke with excitement. Whoa, dudes, check this out. There is some nifty jewelry here in the rock. Others were not sure about this and tried to stop him. The black jewel inside the rock glowed as Zach touched it, which shocked him. This caused him to think. Look at the others and ask, did you guys see that? It just glowed. Zach smashed it against the wall. To his surprise, the rock cracked, and the black jewel fell out of the wall and at his feet. He smiled and said, this one is mine, and guys, it feels so warm. While the others tried to stop him, he continued smashing the crystal wall as more crystals fell out. Jason's curiosity took the best of him, so he decided to question Alex and Kimberly's relationship later. Zach picked a jewel from the ground and threw one with a yellow gem toward her and said, Yo, crazy girl, catch. Trini caught it as he smiled and continued, nice catch. Alex took the white gem, which was glowing similarly to how Zach's did when he touched it. He was pretty sure it pulsed with some kind of energy. Chapter 5 ***. Everyone was checking out the crystals. All of them could feel some sort of connection with them. Alex knew this was not any ordinary crystal. Alex had already guessed these were related to Power Rangers, but he had no idea how they worked, nor did he know about their history. But things got worse from there. It was like fate was playing with us. Alex picked up sounds of sirens with his enhanced senses as he asked, Wait, do you hear that? It sounds like sirens. This got everyone's attention turned to the fence and saw the sirens flashing. Kimberly spoke up, Guys, we need to get out of here quickly, otherwise we will be in big trouble. Alex quickly grabbed Kimberly's arm and started to run toward their car as he told, Follow me, we can use my car to escape. All of them were able to reach the car and quickly got in. As for Jason, this was not a good thing as his injury was making him hard to run. But getting some help from Billy, he quickly opened the car and threw himself in the driver's seat, and with a roar let the car come to life. Jason told Billy, Let's get out here. A second car chase had started, and it didn't look good for Jason and Billy. They were lucky to avoid the cops, but not for long. While Alex's car was sailing through the tracks in the mines, building in speed and energy. Despite the velocity of the getaway, Alex was calm at the wheel, weaving through all machinery in the mines. Kimberly and others were laying low in their seats, feeling scared and concerned as both looked around for the police. They traded looks as Alex saw the black and white cruiser scream the opposite way. Alex also saw another cruiser was behind them as he broke hard, which caused two cruisers to crash into each other. The two were wrecked. Alex floors it as the speed near 70 mph, as he can still see some. Black and white like dogs were still behind with their sirens wailing. Alex floors it as he hits 70 mph, then 80, comes. Alex soon sees a chance as he swerves and hits a pillar supporting a machinery, causing it to fall and block the path, which leaves the black and white in the dust and tears. Alex holds the gas down as he sees something behind them. It was none other than Billy's car. The police were just behind Jason, who was with Billy. But things went wrong for them. Alex, to lose the police, decided by speeding past a high-speed train, while Alex, Kimberly, Billy, and Trini managed to get past the train. While Jason, Zach, and Billy were not lucky as the train smashed into the tail of the car, causing it to flip. Alex quickly stopped the car and ran to help them. It was pure luck they escaped with minor injuries as he took Billy, while Jason and Zach to his car and they escaped. Alex allowed Trini, Kimberly, and Billy to stay and rest in their house. Alex quickly brought Med Kid and started patching some of Billy's wounds. Billy, who now slowly understood the situation, muttered, I thought, was going to die. Alex slowly reassured him, You are okay, don't think too much about the accident. We'll go check the girls to make sure you don't rest okay. Billy nodded as he laid down while Alex went to check Kimberly and Trini. Both of them were in shock. On seeing Alex, Kimberly asked, How is Billy? Alex, with a sigh, said, He is okay for now. Was able to patch him up with the best of my abilities. Trini then whispered, We are so close to getting busted, while the other three were close to getting themselves killed. Alex nodded and replied, Yeah, thank God they only had minor injuries. All three were lucky as hell. Kimberly, with worry, questioned, Do you think the cops will find out? I mean, we did leave behind Billy's car. Alex shook his head and replied, That car was something Billy built. That car was built from second-hand parts. Don't think the cops will get anything out of it, so we are clear for now. We just have to lay low and keep the injuries these guys had covered. Trini and Kimberly nodded as Trini spoke up. I don't think the cops will investigate too much, especially if the trail goes cold. So I guess we should be fine. All three were worried about the situation, as Alex already checked it out, and found out the cops had no clue about who the owner of the car was, nor did they know who the people who were in the car. Chapter 6 The next day, Alex managed to make an excuse for Trini, Kimberly, and Billy to stay at their house. For Trini, her parents were not home. Kimberly lied about staying at her friend's house. Billy was easy as he told his mother about staying at Alex's house. Alex was now preparing breakfast for everyone. He had to meditate for a while because of the crystals. His physical capabilities were off the charts, and it took him a while to get his control back. Both Trini and Kimberly were watching the news to get information. About the crash, they wanted to be sure they were on the clear. Alex gave both tea as Kimberly grabbed her smartphone, which rang only for it to break because of her strength, as he said, "What the hell?" Alex was able to control his strength, but he didn't say anything because he couldn't just create a story to back it up. Trini was looking at the broken smartphone with shock. She could clearly see Kimberly definitely didn't seem to apply any sort of strength. Also, to break a smartphone with a simple grab is not normal. While he suddenly heard Billy's scream. As all three ran into the room with Billy, who was panicking, said, "Guys, there's something wrong with me, look." Billy showed his wounds he got yesterday night. They saw the bruises he had were gone instead. There was only slight redness on the skin. Alex touched the skin and said, "This has to do something with crystals." Alex knew these were connected to Zordon, but he wasn't sure about the future as the white crystal made him doubt some of his knowledge being garbage. Also, he only knew the old Power Rangers shows and movie, not the new one. Trini was confused and curious. "What do you mean because of the crystals?" Alex smoothly lied, "The crystals are not normal." All were surprised hearing this as Alex continued. "I remember this morning, I had left my crystal in my bedroom, but when I was cooking our breakfast, the crystal was on the kitchen table." Kimberly, Trini, and Billy were shocked hearing this as Trini spoke up. "Something similar happened to me. When I went to the bathroom, found the crystal there. Am pretty sure I had left it in the bedroom." Trini gulped and said, "Something has changed since we got back from the mines." Billy, with a trembling tone, said, "Is it ghost? It can't be a ghost, right?" Alex, seeing Billy was panicking again, went and got a glass of water, only for Billy to break the glass with his grip. Billy, panicking, asked, "What the hell is happening?" All three were confused. They did touch anything for the fear of breaking it. As Alex spoke, "Calm down, guys, take a couple deep breaths." Kimberly, Trini, and Billy gulped and did as they were told, taking deep breaths, and they managed to calm themselves down, which helped control their strength to an extent. Trini was the one to speak. "What is happening?" Alex answered, "I don't know. Whatever is happening is linked to crystals, and if we want answers, we have to go back to the mines." All three nodded as Kimberly spoke. "What about the other two? Mean School, Jock, and Zach. They may also be having such problems." Trini nodded and said, "We could call them." She looked at everyone and asked, "Do any of you have their number?" Billy raised his hand and said, "I have Jason's number." Even though Alex didn't like Jason's attitude, they needed every, as he said, "Call him. Ask him about his injuries first. If it is healed, it is clear everyone who took the crystal is affected." Billy nodded and mumbled, "Okay," as he carefully dialed Jason's number. Billy on hearing Jason's voice. Billy asked through the phone, "Jason, how are you? Mean, how bad are your injuries?" Jason answered, "My leg healed, broke my wash basin, it's crazy." Billy, while looking at Alex, nodded, confirming Alex's thoughts about Jason being in a similar problem as them. He said in the phone, "What, even your previous injuries healed?" Jason, with slight concern, replied, "Yes, we need to meet up with the others and find out what happened." Billy replied, "Okay, we'll call Kimberly and Alex, we will meet back at the school." Alex muttered, "So he is also in the same situation." Billy nodded as all four decided to meet Jason at school. Chapter 7 Angels Grove High School. Alex, Kimberly, Billy, and Trini reached the school using Alex's car. Alex could tell Billy was nervous about the whole cop thing. Alex, with a calm tone, whispered, "There's nothing to be afraid of. The cops have nothing on you, so calm down, Billy." Billy nodded and replies, "Yeah, I got pretty nervous about the cops." The doors swept open, and Alex, with Kimberly and Trini, entered the hallway as they were searching for Jason, who saw them and came their way, while Billy had gone to take something from his locker. Jason was nervous. He was really ashamed of how he acted towards Alex. Jason was really grateful for Alex saving him. He felt he was a jerk to both Kimberly and Alex after it was Kimberly's decision to choose her boyfriend. He was thinking her as some sort of trophy or possession to be won. As Jason, with embarrassment, said, "So, Alex, thanks for saving me yesterday." Alex smiled, gave a nod, and replied, "No problem." As Jason held his hand out, both shook it, signifying the start of a great friendship. Alex had to play along with them. He had already guessed this was Ranger Crystals and Zordon was somewhere in the mines, as he had this urge to go there again. As Jason, looking at everyone, questioned, "So you guys woke up somehow?" Alex, Trini, and Kimberly nodded as Alex said, "We have returned back to the mines to get more answers." Jason nodded as he asked, "Am I the only one who thinks crazy, or this is crazy, right?" Trini found the whole thing bizarre, but she agreed, "It's crazy." Kimberly added her thoughts. "I mean, you guys got hit by a train and you are standing here like nothing ever happened. I mean, even Jason's past injuries healed up. How is that possible?" Jason, glancing at his knee, where his injury used to be, as he said, "I slept all day yesterday, and when I woke up, my injured knee was all good." Alex questioned, "Do you feel weird? I mean, like weirder than usual?" Jason nodded and replied, "Yeah. Different, have become strong, like insanely strong. Pretty much broke my." Alex took deep breath and said, "Listen, we know something happened out there, okay? We are not the same anymore." Trini, with confusion, said, "I don't know why, but I feel like we need to go back out there." All three nodded as Alex also felt an urge to go back there and explore. He knew this was Zordon's doing. As Trini questioned, "What about the crazy guy?" Alex answered, "His name is Zach Taylor. He is a lone wolf and seems to camp in the wilderness. While he may look cocky and all, he is really a nice guy." Alex didn't reveal anything too personal about his life after it was not his to say. Trini was not convinced, but nodded. Then they heard a commotion behind them as they looked over the crowd. All three saw Billy standing over the school bully Colt Wallace, who was knocked out. As boys cheered out loud, "Billy Cranston just knocked Colt Wallace out cold." Billy was suddenly the star as many girls started paying attention to him. As Alex muttered, "How fickle is fame? Just yesterday Billy was a nobody, now everyone wants to know him." While they went to class, after that they all decided to meet back at the canteen. "Now that we have a break, what did Kim mean this morning when she asked if you two had gained super strength? If I remember correctly, there were only 5 different crystals." Alex turned his head slightly and smiled towards Trini. "You're of course correct that we found only 6 stones, which each of you took. The only explanation is either it is something supernatural or this is something from another world, some sort of alien tech which enhanced our biology." Trini, she joined the other students that were waiting in line to load their plates with food and spoke up. "It makes the most sense." Kimberly joined her and she too picked up her own plate. "Whatever those crystals are, they are not normal." Jason commented, "So either these are magic crystals or alien tech," as he tempted to fill his plate. As on that exact moment, Billy suddenly pushed him aside while hissing out in pain as he took the crystal from his jeans pocket and slammed the crystal into the counter. At the same time, Alex, Kimberly, Trini, and Jason also felt the crystals in their pockets heat up. They knew something was up. Chapter 8. Billy hissed out in pain while saying, "Ouch, ouch, what the hell, why are they suddenly heating up?" Billy put his hand in his jeans pocket, and a second later he slammed his hand on the counter, which revealed a sapphire crystal that was glowing. Other 4 felt the same, as soon joined by 4 other crystals. One white, ruby, yellow, and a pink one. It started slowly. As the crystals started floating, Billy, Jason, Trini, and Kimberly's eyes were widened with shock now on the floating crystals, and each quickly swapped their own crystals out of the air into counter. But Alex noticed when the crystals were together, they not burning them now, but actually heating up the counter, as you could clearly see heating red patches. Jason hissed out, "We have problem here." And then, students who had their trays on the counter started to completely melt, and the Coke and soda cans started to burst open due to the heat. All the food even was thrown at the students. Alex was pretty sure he saw Kimberly smirk, seeing her former friends were the ones who sprayed with food and soda. Alex whispered, "Let's go before someone notices anything." Everyone nodded as they quickly made their way out of the canteen. Everyone decided to use Alex's car as they made their way to the same mine location. Alex couldn't help mutter, "Let's hope now police are wandering around here after the incident." Trini, who heard this, spoke up, "Let's not jinx it now." Alex raised his hands in defense and said, "Just being careful, constant vigilance." Everyone agreed on that as Billy smiled and said, I know that reference. It is Harry Potter, right? Alex's eyes quickly focused on a figure running up the side of the cliff with impossible speed as he questioned, Isn't that Zach? Kimberly, in confusion and can't believe what she was seeing, said, And I see his crystal, is flying away from him as she points to the other two, who leans forward focusing on the crystals. Trini and Kimberly follow first, jogging, and slowly burst out in a sprint. Trini was the fastest, and she started quickly climb the slopes. Within seconds, she had already reached the top. Kimberly, too, starts with a jog at first before bursting out in a sprint. She reaches the slopes and then climbs it. Within 10 seconds, they both were standing on the slope. While Jason and Alex looked at each other, they both decided to take different way as they gave leap. With each jump, they would use their strength to grab onto the ledge above. They both, using their superhuman physical strength, easily hoist himself up onto the next ledge. They both reached the top without a problem with just 2 leaps and less energy. Billy, looking at all this, shook his head and started muttering, No way, I'm doing that. I'm doing it the safe way. As he started climbing the same way as Trini and Kimberly did, but much slower, muttering, Slow is safe. Soon Billy reaches the top as they see Zach standing in the distance, close to the edge, and he seemed to have caught Crystal as he saw everyone and gave shout, You guys won't believe what just happened. Trini rolled her eyes and replied, We saw everything. Zach shook his head and replied, No, I'm telling there is think. Something down there. I saw some sort of light flash. I'm telling you, my crystal brought me here. Kimberly and Trini weren't believing him, while Alex spoke up, It is possible. I mean, we saw the crystal flying on its own, so maybe it was going somewhere. As they were talking about it, once again suddenly they felt the crystals heat up again, and the ground started to shake, causing everyone to lose balance. But Zach, who was at the edge, fell. Alex ran toward the edge, was worried, and gave a shout, Zach! As they all rushed and looked at the deep gorge, it was dark. As they looked at each other with worry, they heard Zach shout, I am okay, it's safe, there's water down here. Jason looked at Alex and asked, Shouldn't we join him? Alex shrugged and looked at Kimberly, saying, You girls coming? With that, he leaped off the edge. Jason quickly joined, while Billy was nervous, seeing this was nowhere. Trini looked at Kimberly, who gave a nod, as both grabbed Billy and jumped in. Alex landed somewhere in the water. As he emerged out of the water, gasping, he saw his friends all laughing and joking until he saw his friends were glowing. Chapter 9. The whole thing spooked everyone, as Billy questioned, Guys, what is happening? Alex answered, I don't know, but it seems the glow matches the color of the crystals we found. Everyone was nodding. As Alex saw Kimberly, who bathed in a pink glow, he smiled and said, Pink suits you. Kimberly's cheeks dusted pink. Zach, looking at himself, spoke up, Yeah, and I'm black. Billy frowned and replied, No, you're not. Alex turned his head towards Zach, who was surrounded by black light, and then turned his head to Billy, who held an indignant expression while being surrounded by blue glow, while Trini had a yellow glow. Zach, with a smug tone, replied, Yes, I am. Alex patted Billy and said, Billy, he means he is glowing black. Billy, now understanding, oh. While everyone started to look around, Kimberly, walking toward the cave wall, muttered, Well, that is unusual. Alex, who was next to her, whispered, No, it just gets better and better. Kimberly, looking at Alex, asked, Do you feel that? Something out here? Kimberly, touching the walls continuously, said, The walls are shaking. After that, slowly they made their way through the cave. That's when they saw the alien ship. Come on. Billy was in awe and shock, muttered, That is impossible. When the teenagers first arrived at Zordan's ship, it was amazing, with a blue glowing hue in certain parts. But one thing was sure, the ship was in working condition. Billy, in awe, seeing the rock formation around the ship, said, This must have been here for millions of years. Just look how the rocks are growing around it. Kimberly was kinda spooked out, muttered, I do not like this place. Alex and Jason both felt their respective coins heat up. Both took them out as they saw both coins were glowing with their respective colors. Alex, with a grim tone, said, It is glowing again. Each of you check your respective crystals. All of them took out their respective crystals, and all of them were glowing. That's when the entrance of the ship opened. Alex already guessed that the crystals were acting as a key. Zach ran inside while Trini yelled, Wait, idiot, it could be dangerous. Seeing they needed to get Zach, everyone started walking toward the entrance. Once inside the ship, it was amazing. The place looked like the middle of the ship. Billy, looking at inside of the ship, questioned, Alex, is this real? Like, are we really in a spaceship right now? Alex, patting Billy to calm him down, answered, I think so, just breathe, okay. Billy calmed down. Zach, looking around the interior of the ship, asked, "Think there's aliens in here?" Alex, with a firm tone, said, "Just be quiet, Zach. There is definitely something in here." Kimberly, with slight fear, questioned, "Do you really think there are aliens in here?" Alex, looking around, said, "There definitely something here. I mean, the entrance of the ship to the cave looks too clean for my taste. There's someone who cleared the whole place to the ship's entrance." This got everyone frightened and cautious. Trini, really having good instincts, said, "Hey, we've all seen enough here, right? We should go now." Zach, running around, yelled, "What? We're gonna be famous." But you can still hear there was slight fear in his voice, but Alex was pretty sure the boy was high on drugs. Trini was getting annoyed by Zach, questioned, "What's wrong with you?" Just as Alex said it, they witnessed its interior sections shifting and deforming, revealing vast sections of the location via a complex set of interlocking circles. The interlocking set of circles looked like individual quadrants that were made to rotate, while other parts of the ship's interior, which seemed to have the ability to shift dynamically. We then see the walls then begin to move, and the entrance seals shut, trapping them inside. Alex and the others started to stumble a little as the whole ship was moving a bit. The door closing caused all of them to feel out. Alex and the others started to stumble a little as the whole ship was moving. While two doors opened in front of them and behind them. Alex, with his enhanced vision, was able to see the famous Alpha 5, with a metal body, is still primarily red, but it seems a darker, more crimson. He had two eyelights affixed to his flying saucer-style head, which contains what almost looks like a nebula inside it. While his friends were frightened, ran to the opposite end. The group makes a run for it and looks for some place to hide, picking a random hallway and squirreling themselves away inside. Alex was pretty sure he could hear footsteps behind them. Chapter 10. Alex and his friends were running through the hallways without any idea where they are or where they are going. They soon ended up in a room which seemed like there was no other way. Alex, looking around, said, "No way out." They quickly started scurrying through the room and soon reached a dead end. While all of them soon hid behind the columns or pillars, Kimberly was next. Alex, she scared out of her mind and quickly grabbed Alex's hand to calm down. Both Alex and Kimberly looked at each other and gave a nod. Alex then looked back and saw Alpha 5 was entering the room, saying, "Diddy, I'm coming," as everyone was scared and not sure what to do from there, hiding in the space. It was then Trini was grabbed by the lengthy arm of Alpha 5 and dragged towards him. Hearing screams caused Zach and others to run after her. Alpha, not understanding the situation, said with excitement, "They're real." Zach tried to attack Alpha, yelling, "Leave her alone," but he casually thrown away like as if he was a pillow or something. All of them soon reached in front of Alpha. They were not sure what to do. "We will kill you." But all of them took a fighting stance while Kimberly said, "We will kill you." Alpha was amused and curious. "Kill me? How?" He already scanned all of them, and the only one who could take him down was the kid with white crystal. Alpha could tell the boy was a fighter, and he seemed calm while all his companions were scared and confused. Kimberly added, "There's 6 of us." Alpha 5, agreeing with her, replied, "Yes, I know. I've been waiting for you." Alpha, seeing there was one missing, said, "Wait, where is the other guy? 1, 2, 3, 4. He looked around and saw Zach was on the ground groaning in pain, saying, "Ah, there he is." Alpha's hand extended and then grabbing Zach by his jacket, then dragging him towards them. Zach, being scared, started screaming, "No, no, no." Billy and Jason helped Zach get up, while Alex was more interested in Alpha. Unlike the old show, this version was Alpha didn't say "AI yee yee" as Alpha 5's signature line. This version of Alpha 5 is a pot-bellied robo-simian with headlamps protruding from insect-like stalks. Alpha's eyes comprised 2 external bulb-like contraptions straddling either side of his head, each containing a swirling particle effect that mimics the movements of a pupil. Alex then asked, "How long have you been waiting?" Alpha 5 was thoughtful, questioned, "What's the day, Monday?" Alex replied, "Yeah." Alpha then, with great sadness, said, "Then 65 million years. I've been very lonely, you all so young looking." Alex wanted to know more, asked, "This has to do with the crystals?" Alpha, with excitement, replied, "Yes, the crystals, different colors, different kids, different color kids." Alpha then slowly gestured them to turn around, saying, "Turn around, go on." In this situation, like they were all reluctant to follow the directions of talking robot, while seeing neither way, all of them turned around. They were in awe seeing the room light. Alex looked around and saw the room looked like the command room. It was similar to cavernous interior like the other parts of the ship. The room comprises the central core of the command center, where the sun-like sphere made of some sort of glowing dust found in the center. Alex saw the wall was moving. Upon closer inspection, he saw it was a wall of moving pins. It was a vast wall of shifting pins. The look for the moving structure that resembles subtly carved graphite pins. Alpha encouraged them to move forward, saying, "Proceed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, different colors." Kimberly whispered to everyone, "Guys, focus on getting out of here. Stay together, and when we see a chance, we run like hell." Trini, not sure with low tone, asked, "Okay, and if we don't get a chance?" Zach answered, "Then we kill it." Alex shook his head and thought, "You were tossed by the robot like you were nothing. Also, we don't know if he has any weapons on him." Alpha told everyone, "Please step into the footprints." Kimberly, being defiant, told Alpha, "No, we will not." Billy was curious, looking at Alpha, questioned, "Hey, question, what are you?" Alpha introduced himself, "I am Alpha 5, Persona Android." Zach was confused. "What?" Billy answered. "He said he's an Alpha 5. Jason cut in, "Yes, I know." Alpha, holding both his hands forward, said, "I'm a talking robot. You can trust me." Alex retorted, "Actually, robots of your level's sentience are not common on Earth. Especially your origin makes it harder to trust you, so no hard feelings." Alpha nodded and replied, "Understandable, but I won't do anything to hurt you. Can promise you that." Alpha could actually see a shadow of his past creator/master/friend over Alex's shoulder. This actually brought slight sadness and smile to Alpha, as he could see this boy Alex was really similar to his creator. Alex saw 6 glowing pads around the sphere, which seems to be the footprint Alpha was speaking about. Billy and Alex looked at each other and started walking towards so-called footprints. Seeing this, Kimberly spoke up, "Alex, Billy, what the hell?" Alex looked at all of them and said, "We have to do what he says. I mean, he controls the ship, which means we can't actually escape without him letting us go. Also, remember, he threw Zach like he was nothing." Alex stepped on the pad with slight caution, as the wild pad lit up when he stood on it. The same happened to Billy, who gestured all of them to follow. Kimberly, Trini, Zach, and Jason looked at each other that had /think. To agree the robot was tougher, so for now they follow his commands, as all of them reluctantly muttered, "Okay." Alpha saw their interaction and muttered, "Why are they looking at each other? Is it a human characteristic? Fascinating." Alpha saw the pads lighting up, and a sun-like sphere started spinning at great speed, and the whole ship was slightly moving. Alpha, with excitement, spoke up, "It works! This is great! It's working!" The wall of pins quickly started moving, and the whole ship was moving slightly. The wall of pins began forming a human face. It was famous Zordon. Chapter 11. Kimberly, Trini, Billy, Jason, and Zach all kneeled on the ground, having stumbled due to the ship moving. Alex watched as Zordon came to life. He was trying to calm down Kimberly, Billy, Trini, Zach, and Jason, as all of them were panicking. Alpha, seeing his creator's brother, spoke in alien language. "Zordon, are you there, Zordon?" Zordon seemed confused and disoriented, asking in primitive language, "Alpha, where are we?" Alpha was happy to see Zordon and tried to calm him down, seeing the new Rangers were frightened, saying in the same language, "Zordon, nice to hear your voice." Zordon looked around in confusion, asking in primitive language, "Can see you, Alpha, but can't see me. Where am I?" Alpha replied in the same language, "You're inside the ship." Zordon nodded as he looked at Alpha for more answers. Alpha explained, "Sir, I sealed your essence into the ship's matrix." Zordon nodded, understanding the situation, as Alpha, with excited tone, said, "Zordon, the White Ranger, also has been chosen." Zordon was surprised hearing this, while Alpha didn't notice this and continued, "He is very similar to Ezio." Zordon's face grew melancholy. He remembered his brother, who was considered the smartest and strongest of the Power Rangers. If not for Rita stabbing Ezio in the back, they would have won. Zordon was the Power Rangers' leader and mentor, a giant face encountered by the team within the command center of a massive vessel. The group, seeing the chance, tried to run out of the room, only to fail as the door sealed shut. Alex sighed and said, "Told you, the robot Alpha controls the ship. We can't escape without his permission." Kimberly, with slight frustration, said, "It seems so." While Alpha was talking to Zordon, the power coins have finally returned to the ship. Zordon asked, "Where are the coins? Where are the Rangers?" Alpha, telling the group, "Come forward, please." Kimberly, hearing that, asked Alex, "Do we have a choice?" Alex shrugged and replied, "Nope, do not think so." They all turned around and started walking back towards the room. Alpha turned to Zordon and told him in alien language, "They speak a primitive dialect called English. You'll find it in the ship's matrix." Alpha then turned to the group and said in English, "Look, it's Zordon." Alex groaned and said, "Alpha, you forget the fact you were on a spaceship deep underground that no one knew about." Alpha looked slightly embarrassed and said, "Zordon, they don't know who you were." Alpha then gestured them to slowly come in, knowing they are still panicking from the whole situation. While Zordon, looking at the kids in front of him, said, "These are them? They are so small." Alpha, with amusement, added, "Funny, I said the same thing." Zordon tilted his head, looking at the group with disbelief, and said, "You mean to tell me that the fate of the universe placed in the hands of these children?" Billy chimed in, "The universe, that's a big place." Alex was annoyed and spoke up, "We didn't ask to be chosen, you idiot. These so-called crystals chose us. We never wanted this." Zordon looked at Alex with great interest. He could see why Alpha said the boy was a copy of his brother. Zordon had reservations about the one who was chosen to replace his brother, as he couldn't accept this after all. No one could replace his brother, no one. Also, the white crystal was special, and it did have any chosen ones until Ezio came into the picture. But after seeing the boy, it was different. Zordon could see a shadow of his brother over the boy. Ezio had the same calm and blunt attitude. It was surprising how close they resembled each other. But this also brought a wave of sadness in him. He broke out of his thoughts hearing Alpha explain, "They're teenagers, somewhere between infancy and full maturity. It's hard to explain, really." Zordon nodded. He was not sure how these kids were going to fight Rita. From scans he got from Alpha, the only one he saw had fighting experience was his brother's successor. Zordon wanted to see the crystals. "Show me the crystals." Everyone took the crystals from their pockets and showed them. Zordon, seeing them with a thoughtful tone, said, "The morphing grid is never wrong, if the power coins have returned to the ship with these." Alpha helped out saying, "Teenagers." Zordon nodded and said, "With these teenagers, then these teenagers are the Power Rangers." Chapter 12. Alpha was excited about the Power Rangers being back together and yelled, "Power Rangers." Trini was confused and muttered, "What?" Zach, finding some courage, asked, "Okay, a quick question. Hello, hate to interrupt. Did I just hear you say we're Power Rangers?" Zordon nodded and replied, Yes, you are the Power Rangers. Any other questions?" Zach found the whole thing ridiculous, shrugged, and said, "No, think I'm good." Billy raised his hand and walked towards Zordon, asking, "I have a question," only for Zordon to zip through and reach next to Billy. Billy was surprised, but seeing he had Zordon's attention, continued, "Hi, how you doing? My name." "Me is Billy Cranston. Kids used to call me Billy Cramps." Alex cut in, "Billy, stop." Billy, noticing he was going off topic, said, "Sorry." Billy, looking at the morphing sphere, said, "The images here in this sphere tell us that these Power Rangers, as you called them, protect the universe and life is a bright light, or a piece of light." Zordon was slightly impressed and replied, Yes, very good, Billy. It is called the Zeo crystal." Alpha spoke up, "Oh, I love this part. This is good." The morphing sphere, or sun-like sphere, started projection of a meteorite drifting in space, heading toward tiny Earth off in the distance. The meteorite is known as the Zeo crystal. The very essence of the universe struck Earth, starting all the life on Earth. When the meteor it hits, we see plant life and animals coming to life. Zordon continued, "And Zeo crystals were the source of life on any given life-bearing planet in the universe. The piece of the crystal buried inside it." Alpha added, 65 million years ago, Zordon's team died, defending the crystal here and what is now Angel Grove. The coins have chosen you 5. Now you must protect the Zeo crystal and life on Earth." Alex sighed and asked, "Because we are the Power Rangers?" Alpha nodded and said, "I like him, he's smart." Kimberly was in disbelief, really finding the whole thing ridiculous, questioned, "I'm sorry, is this some kind of a joke? Like I'm standing here with a wet wedgie. My socks are so squiggling around. We're talking to a wall. I mean, guys." Zordon was annoyed and yelled, "Silence!" With that, all of them suddenly started floating as gravity was turned off. Next thing he knew, he was back inside the dojo where it was not right. Alex quickly took a deep breath. Then suddenly he was in the middle of Angel Grove, and in the horizon he saw a gargantuan humanoid figure with bat-like wings appear out of nowhere and take the glowing crystal. Alex figured out it was the Zeo crystal. Next thing he knew was the whole place started to turn into a ghost town with everything falling apart and people around him all dead. It looked like they're burned to alive. Then the infamous Rita Repulsa appears out of nowhere. Alex saw her Green Ranger suit sustained severe damage that left her face and some portion of skin of her right arm exposed. She had some small protrusions grew under her exposed skin for some reasons. She sped straight inferno of Alex as he felt himself choking and feeling his life drained out of him. Alex was kneeling on the ground gasping. He knew this was an illusion, but it was too real for his liking. Also, he saw his friends on the ground unconscious as he quickly checked them. Alex sighed in relief seeing they're all okay. He glared at Zordon and questioned, "Are you an idiot? You are acting more like enemy than an ally." Zordon suddenly flinched. True, he let his anger get the best of him. After all, he needed them. If they went away, he lost the fight before it even started. Zordon knew Alex seemed to work with him. He didn't know about the rest of them. Also, he wasn't sure if these teenagers could defeat Rita, but still he had a backup plan if that failed. Zordon sighed and replied, "Sorry. Have already lost my friends and my brother. You must understand if Zeo Crystal is taken by Rita, then we will lose everything." Alex nodded and went to help his friends who were slowly waking up. Alex didn't like his attitude, but he had to work with him. After all, if the Zeo Crystal is home, then Earth dies, which means we die as well. Also, they can't tell the Govd, since the chances of them taking over the ship to re-engineer the technology is huge. Also, it seems Rita has a monster on her side. Rita survived the destruction of a planet, so nukes won't do a shit. Chapter 13. Alex nodded and went to help his friends who were slowly waking up. On one hand, Alex was slightly cautious of Zordon, who was not only able to make such illusion with such effects, but on the other hand, he needed allies to bring down this Rita down. Also, he did hear that Zordon had the ability to read minds, but he wasn't sure if that was true or not. Alex grew thoughtful. He remembered Zordon was some sort of magic user, also pretty different from that of original Zordon. Alpha, after scanning the group, said, "Sir, I'm detecting elevated heart rate. They are very scared." Jason questioned, "I don't understand. Why would you show us that nightmare?" Zordon looked slightly guilty, but soon answered, "It's not a nightmare, it's the future." Kimberly was in disbelief and asked, "Is that for real?" Trini shook her head and muttered, "Definitely felt like it." Zack questioned, "Who was that woman?" Zordon explained, "Her name is Rita Repulsa. She will create Goldar, a huge monster who will rip the crystal from the Earth, and all life on your planet will die. With the crystal, Rita will have the power to create and destroy worlds." Trini scoffed and asked, "So let me guess, you want us to kill this woman, Rita?" Alpha, gesturing his hands in X-like gesture, said, I, Rita." Zordon nodded and added, "She must be stopped." Alex questioned, "When is she coming?" Zordon sighed and answered, "It's already here. My best guess is that we have 2 months. I'm sorry there isn't any more time." Trini really didn't want this in her life and asked, "If we are the Power Rangers and this is our ship, if I walk through that door right now, will it open for me?" Zordon nodded and replied, "Yes, of course." Trini gestured to Kimberly and Alex said, "Come on, let's go," as both start running away with Zack, Billy, and reluctant Ya. Alpha saw them walk away and spoke up, "Wait, what are you doing? No, come back, no, please don't." Zordon spoke, seeing Alex going after his friends. "Alex, my Ranger team died defending the crystal from Rita. That's why I'm in this wall." Alex frowned and asked, "How do you know my name?" Zordon replied, "Because it's you, Alexander Matthews. You are the leader just like my brother. You're the White Ranger." Alex's eyes widened, hearing about Zordon's brother. A part of him knew this was slight manipulation and bullshit. Also, this was something he never heard about. As he thought, did my existence change something in the timeline? As he then saw the morphing sphere, or sun sphere, showing a projection of Rangers fighting several enemies throughout their time. Alex was surprised the Red Ranger was not the leader. He remembered that Tommy and Jason in the originally were considered co-leaders at the best. Zordon continued, "Rita was a Ranger too and my friend, but she betrayed us as she wanted more power. Rita lost her way, now she is just pure evil. You must bring them back, all of the Rangers. You must train your team to stop Rita, before she has the strength to find the crystal." Alex nodded and said, "Like you said, if Rita gets the crystal, we die too, so I will talk with them." Zordon sighed in relief. He knew he could count on the boy as he heard Alex continue, "Also, am good with reading people. You are hiding something from us. Don't know what, but it is best for us to be honest with each other." Zordon was surprised hearing this, but nodded, understanding if he broke that trust, it won't do him any good. After all, they both needed the other to survive. As he said, "I will tell you when you come back with your friends later." Alex nodded. He was now sure Zordon didn't have any mind-reading ability. If he did, he would have known about Alex's reincarnation. So the only logical theory is Zordon could hack into phones and computers to get the required background information about them. The illusion is some sort of tech that can create, shape, and manipulate illusions/hallucinations. Like Z, Zordon created complex and detailed images and worlds, placing a target within simulated conditions and circumstances, accurately replicating a wide variety of different phenomena and other effects. Chapter 14. Alex was walking back through the hallways of the spaceship to his friends as he thought about Zordon. Unlike his prime reality variant, who was a father figure to the Rangers and treated them fairly and with respect, this variant of Zordon is a military leader. As such, he expects the Rangers to follow his instructions to the letter. He definitely is frustrated in dealing with teenagers. Also, he seems to have a secretive side, as seen by him not fully explaining every part of his plan. He is a leader and is wise, but racked with guilt at the death of his previous Power Rangers team and brother, at the hands of Rita Repulsa, the Green Ranger, who was once his friend. Alex reached the cave, only to find his friends waiting for him, while Zack was trying to climb up and reach the water above them. Jason looked at Trini and questioned, "Who exactly are you?" Trini rolled her eyes and asked, "Really? Now you gonna ask me who I am?" Zack, who was trying to climb up, answered, "Look, her name is Diddy." Trini was annoyed and spoke up, "Trini." Kimberly spoke up, saying, "She's transferred in a year ago. We have biology together, right?" Trini nodded and replied, "Yes. Have been in Angel Grove for over a year now. We have biology together." Trini got along with Kimberly when they were at Alex's house. Jason spoke up, "Wait, look. None of us except for Billy, Kimberly, and Alex really know each other, right?" Kimberly was not understanding what Jason was saying and asked, "Okay." Alex sighed and said, "What he means is somehow we were all in the same place, at the same time when Billy found those coins, through sheer coincidence." Billy was excited and asked, "No, wait. Can I ask a question? Are we really superheroes? We're more like Iron Man or Spider-Man? 'Cause I feel like I've been bit by a spider, but I feel really good. Just feel good." Zack stopped Billy by saying, "Look, bro, trust me. You're not a superhero." Jason was also in the right track, like what Alex was saying is true. Everything seems too much of a coincidence. Kimberly, in disbelief, asked, "Hey, hold up. Can any of this stuff be real? Alex, you are not telling me that you believe all that, right?" Alex sighed and replied, "I don't know, but you know how I'm good with reading people's intentions, right?" Kimberly and Billy nodded. They knew him very well. As Alex continued, everything he said didn't seem like a lie. Either that or he is extremely good liar. He decided to not tell them about Zordon not telling them everything. After all, if Rita is coming for the crystal, he needed the others to fight with him on their own violation. Jason nodded and said, "Like Alex said, the answer to what's wrong with us and what's happening to us is here." Trini questioned, "So, what are you saying?" Alex answered, "I think we gotta come back. We need to get more answers. Also, if Rita Repulsa is coming, we need to train." Kimberly, with a slight wavering tone, said, "Even if this is all true, we are not trained to fight aliens. This is not something we can deal with. It's something like military can deal with." Alex shook his head and replied, "We can't let anyone know, not the Govd, since they would pretty much capture us to study how to replicate our enhanced physiology." This slightly scared them, while also making them understand how serious the situation is. Alex added, "Also the Govd would just write off every the talking wall said as lies, since they pretty much got their hands on alien tech which they would want to replicate." Billy questioned, "What do we do then?" Alex, looking at everyone, answered, "If this Rita person does take this Zeo crystal, then all life on Earth dies. If we don't fight, we die with Earth. Don't want that." Alex, looking all of them in the eye, continued, "I'm not saying you should fight them because it's the right thing or any other bullshit, but we need to fight or we die too." Chapter 15. Alex, seeing all his friends really thinking about the situation, said, "I want all of you to go home, really think about what to do, and meet me back here tomorrow." Alex then, with a power jump, dived into the water above him, leaving the cave. The group is drenched by the water from the dive as Billy spoke up, "I forgot we could do that." Everyone was really thoughtful and went home. It was a very emotionally tiring day. Kimberly was now back home and was watching TV in a daze. She was thinking about everything Alex said. A part of her couldn't help but agree if Earth dies, we die too. It was a cold, hard fact. So the only way to survive is to fight or ignore the whole thing and die. Also, the Govd not being helpful is also true, as there was a chance enhanced body would be captured for experimentation. Kimberly broke out her thoughts when her mom, Sarah Hart, spoke. "Kimberly, I'm asking you how was your stay at Alex's house?" Kimberly rolled her eyes, since she knew what her mother was trying. Sarah was a divorcee, and she brought up Kimberly alone. She was a very strong and independent woman. So Sarah replied, "It was good. There was Trini and Billy there with me too." Sarah hummed, gave the nod, and with that asked, "So are you and Alex a couple now?" Kimberly, with slight blush, groaned, "Not now, Mom." Sarah, with a teasing smile, said, "I remember when Alex would do martial arts training, you would stubbornly copy him. You really told me you guys had each other's back." Kimberly was in a daze and muttered, "We have each other's back." While in Trini's house, the whole family was having dinner. Trini stared at the food and really wanted to just get out. Trini, with her parents James and June Kwan and little brothers, have moved into 3 different towns in 3 years. It frustrated Trini so much that she barely talks to her family. This is compounded by the fact that the rest of her family is as normal as it can get. This means she can barely speak to them about the adjustments she needs to make or about her own personal struggles, as she believes they will just label her. As a kid who hasn't connected with anyone in her new town, it also didn't help the fact her mother was a very controlling woman. Her mother was obsessed with the status quo. June started questioning, "So, where were you today? Were you with friends? Do you have any friends? Why are you so tired?" As his voice slowly started increasing with each question. Trini's father cut in, "You did ask her 4 questions, before she's even answered the first." Laura, with slight irritation, said, "Because she's like a ghost around here. She needs to start communicating." James, with a slightly stern tone, said, "June." June doesn't hear it, slams her hands on the table and yells, "Say something, speak, just." This scares 2 brothers of Trini as her father quickly cuts in with a stern tone, "Relax." June Kwan starts taking deep breaths and mutters, "Okay, relax." James Kwan looks at Trini and asks, "Okay, Trini, let's start over. Please tell us one thing you did today." Trini sighed and replied, "I made a couple of friends from Angel Grove, found a spaceship buried underground." June was confused and questioned, "What?" Trini nonchalantly added, "I'm pretty sure I'm a superhero." Trini's brothers Zeke and Cody looked at each other and all while in unison said, "Cool." June wasn't having it, saying, "Not cool." She quickly got up and takes a cup and slammed it in front of Trini while yelling, "Pee in that cup." Trini rolled her eyes. While in Taylor household, Zach was now taking multiple medicines from the cupboard and started putting them in cups with juice and biscuits. He then walks toward his mother Fiona Taylor, who is very sick in her bed sleeping. Fiona wakes up hearing Zach enters the room and starts to get up, saying in Chinese, "You came in so late today." Zach sets the plate down, replying, "Relax, Mom. Stay in bed, just sit up a little bit, okay?" As he slowly helps her sit up straight. Fiona slowly leans on the bed and says, "I'm happy just to know you'd come home." As Zach sits down on the side of her bed, Fiona questions, "You're going to school, right?" Zach awkwardly smiles as he could never lie to his mom. Seeing his hesitant face, Fiona, with a stern tone, questioned, "Zach, you didn't answer me." Zach quickly takes the small cup of medicines and hands it to Fiona, saying, "Make sure you take these." While he was getting up and going towards the door, only one thought was going through his mind. The alien shapeship has advanced technology, so it could cure my mom, right? Zach struggles with the stress of his mother's illness, and he often camps out in the wilderness and decommissioned train cars near his home, deeply terrified of waking up to find his mother dead, and so tries to live a life far from home, despite this tendency to avoid H. He truly loves his mother, often speaking to her in Chinese, playing chess with her by her side, and doing everything he can to take care of her. However, Zach's public image is anything but that of the dutiful son that he is. In his public life, Zach is cocky, rebellious, and eager for a life unlike his own. He is hyperactive, boisterous, and fun-loving. Zach is actually really smart, but the stress and fear of his mother's illness caused him to start bunking classes. Chapter 16. Billy Cranston, after returning, was in very deep thoughts. He was thinking about everything Alex said, and a part of him agreed. He wanted to do his part and help in any way possible. He didn't want his mother to die. Billy, because of his autism, was bullied until he became friends with Alex. It didn't take long for Kimberly to join their little group. After that, they were inseparable. When Alex moved away, Billy felt lost. Having lost his father at a young age, so for his losing his childhood friend was a huge blow. And Kimberly distancing herself didn't help either. Billy was very close to his father. Both of them would often listen to country music and they would go into the mines. Billy was on days and working on a computer as he heard his mother talk. "So you want to tell me about what is in your mind?" Billy shook his head and replied, "Nothing." Candace smiled and said, "I know that look. Your father had the same look when he was thinking something hard." Billy's eyes widened as he asked, "Mom, if you had a chance to do something great, would you do it?" Canned Ace smiled and replied, "If this is just a hypothetical situation, I would do it." Candace looked at Billy with a smile and said, "You are really smart, Billy. I know your father always told me that you would do great things one day. He always believed in you." Billy nodded. He was slightly tearing up. With this, he made up his mind. Billy has always been challenged in his abilities to communicate and interact socially. Whip-smart and sweet, he is the most pure-hearted of the group. Billy has never had any friends until Alex and Kimberly. So having his friends back is a big deal, and soon he begins connecting with people in a way he's never been able to do before. Billy is courageous and intelligent. He is on the autism spectrum and can't understand jokes or sarcasm very well, but can remember things to the letter. He's a brilliant inventor. He was also a friend to both Alex and Kimberly. Despite Jason's fame as his high school's formerly glorious quarterback, his fall from grace quickly humbles him, though he retains vestiges of his former swagger as the king of Angel Grove High. Jason, after his fall from grace, also saw the majority of his friends he had at the time were just around him for his reputation or was just using him. None of them stayed with him after his accident. It was an eye-opener as he now looks for real friends than sycophants. Also, finding out about the Power Rangers made him feel his calling was greater than sports. Jason was now looking at a totally busted truck, which was the one he crashed during his stupid prank. Just as his father came out, Jason asked, "Is this to remind me of my screw-up?" Jason's father frowned and replied, "No, would never do that." Jason was looking at Jack, who sighed and continued, "The wrecking yard only offered me $300 for it. You know the frame's straight and the engine still runs. I'm sure you can fix it." Jason nodded as his dad was walking away. He said, "I know you're feeling down, but everything happens for a reason. I'm sure you will get better, and this might be life lesson for you to not get a big head." Jason gave a chuckle and replied, "I know," as Jason looked at the wrecked truck and muttered, "Everything happens for a reason." Kimberly, Billy, Jason, Trini, and Zach all made up their minds to fight Rita, as this was the only way to survive. Each of them had slight fear and was anxious about their future, while Alex pretty much had an understanding of their character to predict what their decision was. Alex now also had doubts about the connection this world has with other Power Rangers like Dino Thunder, Ninja Storm, Mystic, or SPD. All of these had connections with each other. Each of these shows had some connection with the other, and in Dino Thunder, Tommy Oliver was a mentor to the new Rangers. Also, Ninja Storm Rangers were involved in Dino Thunder, same with SPD having. Chapter 17. Alex was now meditating near the cliff with an underground pool. He was pretty sure his friends would join in as it was their nature. All of them had a good moral compass. They just needed time to think everything over. Alex remembered Morphin Grid was a multiversal energy field for all Power Rangers. It was said to provide all Rangers a specific link to the grid. Rangers access that link by using morphers, in which their cellular makeup is instantaneously entered into the grid. There are also gates that lead into it called Master Arches located in Master Forges throughout the galaxy. Alex was pretty interested in seeing how the grid worked. It didn't take long as Alex heard footsteps as he turned around and soon saw Kimberly, Billy, Jason, Zach, and Trini coming. All of them had a strong, resolved look. Alex smiled and said, "I knew you guys would come back." Zach, with a smirk, replied, "We have to save the world after all." Kimberly looked at Alex and said, "So let's do this." All of them jumped down the cliff and into the underground pool below. It didn't take long as they made their way to the spaceship, and Alex saw Alpha 5 was waiting. Alpha, with an excited tone, said, "I knew you will all come back." Alex smiled and replied, "It's nice to see you have so much faith in us, Alpha." Alpha started nodding and said, "I will always believe in you." Even if Alpha was a robot, that brought a smile on everyone's face to hear that someone believed in you. Everyone quickly made their way into the ship, where Zordon was waiting for them. Alex was able to pick up a bit of relief and pride when he saw all the Rangers were present. Alex saw there was holographic projections of their Power Rangers armor of the so-called footprints, which was around the sun-like sphere made of some sort of glowing dust found in the center. Zordon, who was still the talking wall, spoke up. "You need to follow the 3 rules to being a Power Ranger. You must never use your powers for personal gain. You must never escalate a fight, unless your enemy forces you to. And you must never reveal your identity, ever. To assume your Ranger identities, you need to morph." Alex nodded and thought, "Interesting. I'm pretty sure some of the Power Rangers did reveal their identities." Zordon, looking at the group, questioned, "Have any of you morphed before?" Zach jokingly answered, "Yes, but only in the shower." Everyone snickered, while Zordon frowned but didn't reprimand and said, Okay, let's step into the footprints, please. Alex clapped and said, so let's try this out. As all of them walked to their respective footprints, where the projections of their armors are seen, all the projected armors dispersed into nothing when they stepped into their respective footprints. Zordon continued, standing in this circle as a team, you can easily connect to the morphin grid. Do you feel it? Alpha, who was watching everything, shouted in excitement, yeah, they do. Zack, shaking his head, denied, no, not feeling it. Zordon ignored Zack and added, you need to morph to get your armor. Billy was excited and spoke up, I knew it, we do get armor, Alex, we get armor. Alex smiled at Billy and said, I know, Billy, it's really cool. Zack was keeping his cool and asked, cool, when you give us the armor. Zordon answered, you already have it inside of you. You bring it out by connecting to each other, and connecting to the morphing grid. Bury your minds and focus. Power Rangers were a legion of warriors sworn to protect life. As the footprints started to glow and the sun-like sphere started to rotate at great speed, but Alex felt a small connection. It was the same with Billy and Kimberly, but not to the level like Zordon described. Also, he didn't feel any connection to the morphing grid. Alex had an idea this wouldn't work because according to Zordon, they needed to connect with each other, which isn't possible because Trini, Jason, and Zack were practically strangers to them. While Kimberly, Alex, and Billy had known each other since they were kids, so they had a much better emotional connection than the other three. Chapter 18. As the footprints started to glow and the sun-like sphere started to rotate at great speed, but Alex felt a small connection. It was the same with Billy and Kimberly, but not to the level like Zordon described. Also, he didn't feel any connection to the morphing grid. Alex had an idea this wouldn't work because according to Zordon, they needed to connect with each other, which isn't possible because Trini, Jason, and Zack were practically strangers to them. While Kimberly, Alex, and Billy had known each other since they were kids, so they had a much better emotional connection than the other three. When the glowing sun-like sphere suddenly went dim and stopped spinning, except for Alex, everyone else looked confused. Kimberly, looking at her hands, asked, What did it work? Zordon questioned, Alpha 5, why didn't they morph? Alpha also was confused and answered, I do not know, sir. Zordon frowned and started muttering, it is disturbing, very disturbing. Alex, who already guessed it, said, I knew there was a chance of this happening. This caught Zordon, Alpha, and others' attention as Zordon questioned, What do you mean by that, Alex? Alex sighed and explained, You said we bring out the armor by connecting to each other. There lies the problem. Other Billy, Kimberly, and me who are childhood friends, the rest are just strangers. So my guess, the small connection we felt from the start is from us three, while if we really want a morph, then we will have to know each other. Zordon nodded, it's an accurate assessment, and it did make sense. These teenagers were strangers except for Kimberly, Alex, and Billy, so asking them to connect with each other immediately would be impossible. Zordon muttered, this might take some time, but the problem is we don't have time. Alpha questioned, if they can't morph, what are we supposed to do? Zordon replied, they will have to train without armor, they need to prepare. Alpha was slightly surprised and said, without armor, sir, that will be very painful. Zordon nodded and replied, yes, they must know how to fight. From what I see, only Alex has some fighting experience. The rest are not ready. Alpha understood and simply turned to everyone and said, all right, follow me. We are going to the pit. Billy gulped with slight fear and said, Alex, I don't want to find out what the pit is. As Alpha gestured them to follow him, as all of them followed them, as he showed them a cavern, as Alpha with slight excitement said, Zordon's voice echoes in the cave. Alex also noticed the ceiling light up whenever Z/think. Orden talks. Alpha 5, begin the exercise. Alpha, with an apologetic tone, said, sorry, guys. Jason looked around with doubt and asked, what exercise? Zack tried to act cool and spoke up, chill out, dude. As rocks around started to gather together to form a monster, which was significantly larger than humans, are created from rocks. Alex was studying them as he noticed all of them seemed to have extra arms on their side or back. Alex was thoughtful. If I remember correctly, putties from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers had a weakness, which was the chest area. As his thoughts were broken by Zordon explaining, these creatures before you are simulations of Rita's army. They are called putties. You must get through them to get to her. Zack was in complete disbelief, started walking towards the putties without fear, saying, relax, guys, it's a hologram, like video games. Zack made a mistake of looking away from them, as one of the putties backhanded him, sending him flying and crashing to the side of the cave wall. Alex, Kimberly, Billy, and Jason winced seeing this while Trini laughed, as Zach, who spat some blood, muttered, "Not a video game." Chapter 19. As Zach is getting back up, Zordon's voice echoes in the cave. "This is why you must morph into your armor, if Rita becomes strong enough to build her army. The real beginning of the end. Rangers, welcome to training." Alpha 5 was excited and gave a shout. "I'm so excited you guys are back." Now Jason was the first to try, but his enhanced physical abilities caused him to overestimate himself, as he rushed towards the putty, who simply punched him straight in the face. Alpha sighed and commented, "Aim for the center once more time." Zach tried again, only to be once again thrown back. Alpha, seeing Alex was studying the putty, asked, "Do you want to try?" Alex nodded and took his stance, starting to move toward the putty, which tried pushing, only for Alex to easily dodge them and nail it with a front kick to the chest, causing the putty to break into pieces. Alex didn't stop. He went for the next one. He once again threw a right to the face, then a leg kick. Then he did it again and again. Then he decked the putty with a hard right in the center. Alpha clapped, seeing this, and said, "As you can see, dodging their punches and find their weak spot." Everyone was looking at Alex, who shrugged and said, "It was a martial artist, remember." Alpha clapped, getting everyone's attention, and said, "Let's go a couple of hits, okay?" All of them tried, but let's just say it didn't look easy as Alex showed them, which led to them having multiple bruises on their faces. They suffered similarly for the next 4 days, but there was progress with Trini, Zach, and Jason. Everyone was backing back home, as Zach groaned and said, "My back aches like hell." Alex sighed and said, "You guys have to practice more, we can't do this half-assed." Zach nodded as Trini commented, "But this was exciting." The next day, Billy was taught by Alpha, who questioned, "Ready, Master Billy?" Billy did an awkward bow, but that didn't last long as Alpha quickly started punching first in the face, then straight to the stomach, as Alpha said, "You need to learn the element of surprise. Ready? Let's go again." Billy, with a groan, muttered, "Okay." Alex decided to cut in. "I will try teaching him something." Alpha, with a shrug, nodded. Alex was now teaching Billy while encouraging, "Billy, light on your feet, bob and weave, remember." Billy was shown how to bob and weave, like evade a punch by bobbing or bending the legs and lowering the head, and then move into an attacking position by weaving or straightening up while stepping in towards the opponent. Then straight punch to chest. Billy was getting a hang of it while Alex started teaching Kimberly, starting explaining, "If you don't control your breathing. When you fought the putties, you panicked, stopped breathing. Here you are trying so hard to kill that thing, but you forget to breathe, so your kick or punch has no power. Breathe with each strike. Breathe." Kimberly nodded as Alex went into fighting stance in front of the putty. She easily dodged the punches, then threw a right and then a left. Last was round kick to the center with each strike he was breathing. Kimberly followed Alex's instructions. At the start, it didn't work, but the third time she was able to dodge incoming attacks of the putties. Alex smiled, seeing some progress, and thought, "We are getting somewhere." Chapter 20. Alex, Kimberly, and Billy got along with Jason and Trini, while Zach was acting like he is a rebel and too cool to hang out with them. Alex was in class now with Billy, Kimberly, and Trini. All three had some bruises on their face. It had become common for them. We all gathered in one place during lunchtime. Alex steps from the kitchen area carrying a tray, scans the crowded room, finds Billy seated at a table with Trini. Alex approaches and sat next to Billy. As Kimberly sat next to Alex, leaning a bit to him, their relationship was flourishing. Billy and Trini sat opposite side of the table. Trini rolled her eyes and said, "Can we stop with lovey-dovey stuff?" Kimberly just smiled at her, quickly giving Alex a peck on the lip and asked, "Where is Zach and Jason?" Trini gave Kimberly a mock glare and said, "I don't know where the idiot is. He rarely comes to school." Billy added, "I saw Jason watching the football team." Alex was eating his lunch and thought, so Zach is not connecting with anyone and Jason is still stuck about his past mistakes. Kimberly asked, "They are going to be there today, right?" Billy nodded and replied, "Yes, they will be there on time." Once after Alpha taught the group except Alex on how to do a back throw. Alpha seeing Zach and Jason getting their ass handed when multiple putties attacked them, which was something Alex advised since he doubted putties would wait for them in one-on-one. As Alpha sighed and asked, "You guys all know you can be murdered, right?" Zach was still having a hard time getting that part. He simply replied, "No." Alex knew out of everyone, Zach was the only one who was taking it lightly. Alex couldn't force him to do better. After all, that wouldn't provide the desired result. Everyone was getting serious. Trini was the fastest, and she had prior experience in martial arts. Kimberly was the most flexible fighter. Billy, due to being autistic, has focus and concentration a bit different than a neurotypical person's. When engaging in any single task, Billy can block out almost all external stimuli and process information linearly at an intensity. Jason, because of his natural athleticism, made him able to adapt on the fly to whatever obstacle he encounters. Then there is Zach, who was not giving it his all. He was taking everything too half-hearted. While others are progressing, Zach is stuck. The reason is still unknown. Everyone was drinking water, hydrating themselves. As Alpha spoke up, "Now let's play with some energy now." Alex got up and started following Alpha. As Kimberly, Billy, Jason, TR, and Zach slowly got withdrawn, started following back to Zordon's main room. All of them once again stood in their respective footprint around the glowing sun-like sphere. Once again, they concentrated as the sphere began to glow and spin at great speed. Alex yelled, "Focus! Focus, everybody, just focus." Zordon's voice echoed, "You must shed your own mask to wear this armor." Billy spoke up, "I don't feel anything." Zordon once again explained, "Think only of each other and the morphing grid will open to you." Kimberly felt a small link, but it wasn't much. As she questioned, "It's working." Just then the whole sphere dimmed and stopped spinning. Trini groaned and replied, "No, it's not." Alex sighed and said, "Come on, we can try again later." Zach with shrug said, "All we need to do is just concentrate." Jason was annoyed, yelled, "Don't tell me to concentrate." Zach, ignoring that, continued, "Just follow my lead." Billy tried, "Let's not fight with each other," but they just continued arguing. As Alex had enough, yelled, "Enough!" His voice thundered and echoed in the room. As Alex, glaring at Jason and Zach, said, "Did you forget what is at stake?" Jason nodded. Zach was a rebel, but he reluctantly stepped back. As Alex continued, "Now is not the time arguing with each other. We will call it a day for now and come back tomorrow." Alex, looking at everyone, said, "We will have put away so-called masks sooner or later. If we do not connect with morphing grid, everything we know is gone." This was kind of expected after all. What Alex didn't know was Zach zoned him out, which would come to bite Zach later. Chapter 21. Alex for the past month has been discussing a lot about the advanced tech Zordon had. Alpha was more than happy to teach Alex about everything he knew, and Billy was the one who studied about the Zeo crystal. Zordon did warn Alex not to release too much of the advanced technology, as they sometimes cause issues. Alpha was guiding everyone down a route through this cave. Jason was annoyed since they were not able to summon the armor, so he spoke up. "We keep making this harder. We are busting our asses. Feel free to throw us a bone at some point." Alpha, seeing they needed something to push them further, gestured to all of them to follow him, saying, "Yes, I see you busting your asses. So I've decided to give you some inspiration. What you will find beyond this wall will forever change your life. Come on." As all of them started climbing a small wall with Alpha guiding them, Alex had an idea of what Alpha was going to show them, and he was excited about seeing them. As all of them reached the top, and behold, they all saw the famous Power Rangers battle Zords. They were amazing. Alpha gestured to all the Zords. They were all dusty and said, "The Zords, pretty cool, right?" Alex saw all of them lit up and started moving as though they sensed us. This was amazing tech. They all seemed to have some form of sentience. Everyone was in awe and muttered a yes. Alpha then started looking at everyone and started explaining. "They take on the form of the most powerful organism on the planet. When these Zords formed, dinosaurs reigned supreme. They will be an extension of you, and their power is all but limitless. They are incredible." Red Ranger Battle Zord is modeled after the extinct Tyrannosaurus Rex. The Zord can vanquish the enemies by either trampling them or chopping them with its powerful jaws, in addition to a pair of twin energy cannons installed in place of where its arms should be. Black Ranger Battle Zord is modeled after Mastodon. The Zord possesses durable armor that, combined with its sheer bulk, can ram through any obstacles with considerable raw brute force. The Zord is also deceptively fast in spite of its size, thanks to its insectoid front legs. In place of its trunks and tusks are energy cannons. Blue Ranger Zord is modeled after a Triceratops. It can use its horned face and bulk to ram through obstacles and foes like a battering ram. It's also deceptively fast thanks to its insectoid front legs, in addition to built-in energy cannons installed on its large. The horns, the Zord also has a number of arsenals at its disposal, which includes generating a blue energy shockwave. The Yellow Ranger Battle Zord was modeled after the saber-toothed cat, which is very fast and agile, much like the animal itself. It possesses a pair of energy cannons on both sides of its head. The Pink Ranger Battle Zord, modeled after the pterodactyl, also possesses a series of magnetic grapples on its undercarriage, allowing it to lift heavy things, like even battle Zords with little effort. It possesses built-in twin energy cannons in its wings. Kimberly noticed how her Zord was actually hovering, as if excited about seeing her. The last one drew Alex's attention. It was a battle Zord modeled after the White Lion. Its armor was fully white, with claws and teeth golden in color, and the joints and tail were all in black. There were mounted energy cannons on the chest and what looked like a beam gun attached to the tail. Alex touched the nose of his Zord. It actually vibrated, making Alex smile. Alpha, seeing Alex touching his Zord, smiled and said, "So you feel the connections too? This is your battle Zord. She is highly agile and very fast, especially with her ion boosters and downforce stabilizers, ensuring that its momentum is always carried forward, rather than upward. This baby's claws are laser-powered, which is utilized by charging its claws with laser energy to enhance the power of a claw swipe, allowing it to smash and tear through thick enemy armor with little effort." Alpha felt that out of all, Alex and Billy were closest to having any connection to their respective battle Zords. Kimberly was not ready, as her Zord was a flying type. The same can be said for Zach, Jason, and Trini. So Alpha decided this was enough and spoke up. "But you are not ready for this power. When you morph, your armor will make you one with the Zords. Come on, let's go train." As he was walking back, he added, "Today is the day you become Rangers. Can feel it." Alex sighed, seeing such an amazing sight, and now going back to the board again, said, "Okay, let's go." While everyone was turning around and walking back, Zach, looking at his black battle Zord, had a mischievous smile while muttering, "Yeah, let's go." Chapter 22, Different Version. Zach quickly climbs into the Mastodon Zord. He had a huge smirk on his face and said, "Let's see what this baby can do." Zach pressed the purple glowing orb in the center. That's when the Mastodon started running. It used its horn to ram through the cave wall to the outside. Alex was able to pick up the sound from his hearing. When he turned back, he couldn't spot Zach. That's when he knew this was a problem. He rushed back only to find the Mastodon Zord gone and a huge hole in the side of the cave. It was covered up because of fallen debris. Alex's eyes widened and he muttered, "Oh shit." He quickly ran back to tell the others about the issue. Zach was panicking as the Zord was out of control. It was practically running and jumping up the mountain. While Zach looked for a way to stop it, he said, "This was a bad idea." Okay, signals, brakes, I need the brakes. Manual, where are the brakes? Alpha 5. Zach was really worried as the Mastodon Zord actually started chasing after a car. He yelled, "Oh God, hey, move, out of the way." While inside the cave, Alex came running, alerting the others about the issue. Kimberly, seeing Zach wasn't around, asked, "Wait, where is Zach?" But Alex couldn't explain as he knew something was wrong, and his gut instinct was right. It didn't take long as Zach's Mastodon Zord broke through the cave wall and skidding through the ground. Alex ordered, "Run." All of them used every bit of their power to run away from the incoming Zord. Alex was able to push them out of the way. Everyone was thankful for the Zord coming to a skidding stop just inches away from them. But even then, some like Trini hit their head when they fell on the ground from the push. Kimberly groaned and got up, looking at Alex, Billy, and Trini, questioned, "You guys all right?" Zach, getting out of the cockpit, said, "All right, my bad, that's on me right there." But that very moment, Alex, something was off. His body was covered in his white Ranger suit. This surprised everyone. While he was surprised it even materialized, he turned to see everyone was confused and amazed by what just happened. The armor was actually comfortable, and there was a glowing blue neon light lighting up joints and crevices, possibly signifying a sort of power or lifeline coming from Zordon, with big blue diamonds attached to their backs. Billy, looking at Zach, yelled in excitement, "Okay, now that's cool." But that didn't last long as the armor dematerialized, similar to a symbiote. Seeing this, Kimberly questioned, "Where'd it go?" Zach quickly spoke up, bring it back, dude." Alex tried to concentrate, but nothing happened, so he sighed and said, "I can't bring it up." Alex was disappointed a little since his first time morphing was on pure instinct, and he couldn't control it. He felt these transformations were harder than the ones on the show. Trini touched the bleeding forehead with a wince. She was annoyed and yelled, "You could have killed yourself or us." Zach ignored it and replied, "I'm sorry." He knew he messed up this time. Alex sighed and said, Now don't start another fight. Everyone nodded and walked away, while Trini and Jason did slightly glare at Zach. Alex looked at Zach with a slight stern tone and said, "Out of everyone, you are only one who is taking this half-assed." Zach was about to speak up as Alex held his hand out, gesturing him to just listen. "We are all trying to protect someone close to us. If we fail, they are going to die." That hit Zach. He remembered his mom. Alex patted Zach on the shoulder and said, "We stand united or we fall." Chapter 23. Zordon was watching the whole thing, and it surprised him that Alex was able to morph. He knew morphing and synchronizing with White Ranger form is hardest. After all, he had seen his brother train to do it. Zordon decided to speak up. "Alex, I want you to meet me in the grid room." In the pit, everyone was looking at Alex, who shrugged and said, "You guys go. We'll catch up." Alex quickly made his way to Zordon's room. Zordon was in a discussion with Alpha 5, and upon seeing Alex enter, he spoke up. "Alex, your progress is greater than I expected." Zordon continued, "But we don't have enough time. So instead of putting you in harm's way, I shall destroy Rita myself. But the only way to free me from this wall is something difficult to do." Alpha 5 decided to explain. "Yes, but the irony is that Zordon needs the Rangers to morph. If they morph, he can harness that energy to regenerate your body and come back through." Alex was thoughtful as Zordon added, "Rita is stronger than any of your friends could dream about. She is an experienced fighter, and adds her ability to manipulate Earth makes her a very dangerous opponent." Alex hummed and asked, "But you were still defeated by her, so can you alone defeat her?" Zordon sighed and replied, "There is a 40% chance that I could defeat her." Alex was not sure if Zordon alone could defeat her. As he said, "Just give us a chance. If we can't get ready by then, I will make sure to go with your plan." Zordon nodded. He knew the Rangers are getting better at an astounding rate. Still, if the Zeo crystal is lost, life itself is gone. Alex ran back to his friends quickly. Alex was giving Billy and Kimberly a ride back home as Billy asked, "Guys, I have to show you something." Alex looked at Kimberly, who shrugged in confusion, but he nodded and went to Billy's home as they went inside. Billy said, "Mom is going to work overtime, so it won't be a problem." Billy quickly led them to his basement, which had newspaper and pictures pinned into the wall and even the ceiling. Alex noticed their different color threads connecting to each picture. There was even a couple of newspaper clippings of homicide, which Alex frowned and thought, "Did Rita arrive?" But his thoughts were broken when Kimberly asked, "Billy, what is all this?" Alex with a smile replied, "You found where the Zeo crystal is, right, Billy?" Billy nodded and with a huge smile said, "Yes, at least the location on map. Just need to go there in person to see where it is located." Kimberly with awe muttered, "This is amazing, Billy." Alex frowned and added, "But after we find the location, we need to destroy this, since we can't have anyone know the Zeo crystal's location." Billy and Kimberly nodded, and the next day they went to the location marked on the map, and let's just say it was not okay. Alex, Billy, and Kimberly were now in front of Krispy Kreme. Alex with a frown said, "Who would have thought the Zeo crystal was located under Krispy Kreme of all places and right in the middle of the city?" Kimberly shook herself and added, "So if Goldar is former, we have to keep Rita from coming here." Billy was getting the situation said, "The damage and life lost will not be small." Alex nodded. He was really not sure how they were going to stop Goldar without the armor or Zords, since the later only worked with armor on you. Chapter 24. While the next day after training, everyone was returning as Zach spoke up, "Hey, guys." This caused everyone to stop and look back. As Zach hesitated and said, "Guys, look, I must stay up here tonight, make a fire, got some food, if you guys want to stay." They all started setting down their gear near a high ledge. As the sun went down, they built a fire and dug into the bag of Zach's food. "Look at all this junk." Trini said, "What would Zordon say?" Imitating Zordon, Zach cracked them all up. "If I wasn't in this wall, I would eat that junk food." Billy seemed to know there was more to it than that. "What happened back there?" "Nothing, don't worry about it." After a pause, Jason asked them all a question. "What are you guys thinking about when we're trying to morph?" "I don't know," Billy replied. They looked at Jason and realized what he was doing. Kimberly did her own Zordon imitation and said, "You must shed your masks to wear this armor." Billy was next. "Think only of each other and the morphin grid will open for you." Zach with a more sober tone said, "Maybe we don't know each other and that's why we can't morph." The rest looked at him surprised he was being so serious. Zach spoke up, "I'm serious, you don't know me." He laughed and stood up and added, "Let's do this for real. I'm Zach and I'm a Power Ranger." Everyone laughed and in unison said, "Hi, Zach." Zach with a sad and worried tone spoke, "True. I live in the Melody Mobile Home Park. It's just me and my mom, my mom is the best, but my mom, she's, can't lose her." Alex put a hand on Zach's shoulder. "We'll protect her." Zach nodded, eyes glistening. "I know, but can't stop thinking about her." Zach looked at the horizon, determination in his eyes. "I'll find a way to save her, no matter what it takes." "You can help heal your mother." Zach was hopeful. Giving Alex a hug, he said, "Thank you." As Billy spoke up, "Let's do that. Let's tell our secrets. It will help us." "Okay, I got a secret." Except for Kimberly and Alex all waited as Billy said, "I like country music. As a matter of fact, I love country music." Over the laughter that followed, he kept talking. "And I don't miss my dad as much. Coming to the mine with him was all I had, but coming here with you guys is just as good." Billy, looking at Alex and Kimberly, said, "Alex and Kimberly used to be my childhood friends. Alex understood me better than everyone. He never judged me. For that, I am thankful to God for providing me with such a good friend." Everyone felt that. As Jason asked, "Bigger secret is why were you in detention?" Billy shrugged and replied, "I blew up my lunchbox. Accident. It was an accident. My lunchbox was in my locker. Boom goes the dynamite, into detention goes Billy." Everyone laughed while Billy pointed across the fire. "Let's not forget that Kimberly was in detention, too." They all looked at Kimberly, who looked down and said, "No, not tonight. Skip me." Only Alex and Billy knew her mistakes. Both of them still stuck by her, and for that she was thankful. As Billy, looking at Jason, asked, "What about you? Want to tell us who you really are?" Jason shook his head and replied, "Everyone knows exactly who I am," brushing off the question. Everyone shrugged as Zach turned to Trini and asked, "What about the crazy girl?" Alex could tell Zach was trying to get a rise out of Trini. Trini, with a laugh, said, "Could tell you anything and you'd never know if it was true or not." Then she got serious and added, "Okay, I'm the new girl, always 3 schools in 3 years. What's crazy is that I like it that way. It's just easier. Nobody ever has to get to know me, and my parents don't have to worry about my relationships." Zach was slightly interested in Trini. Hoped he was wrong, he asked. "Boyfriend troubles?" Trini, with a sneer, replied, "Yeah, boyfriend troubles." Zach gave her a quizzical look. Trini, seeing this, explained, "My family is so normal, too normal. They believe in labels. They'd like for me to dress differently, talk more, have the kind of friends they want me to have. Don't know how to tell them what's really going on with me." Trini paused and looked at the rest of them, watching her, continued, "I've never said any of this out loud." Billy said, "It's cool, you're with us now." He held out a fist, but she left him hanging and asked, "Am I? What does that mean when this is all over? Are we Power Rangers or are we friends?" Alex, with a firm tone, answered, "Whatever happens, we stick together." Causing everyone to smile, even TR and I had a small smile on her face. Now everyone looked at Alex for answers as he sighed and said, "I went to Wine Ninja Academy. It's one of many ninja training schools around the globe." This shocked everyone, as Zach with awe said, "You are really a ninja." Alex nodded, seeing Kimberly's hurt look, so with an apologetic smile he said, "Couldn't tell anyone about it since it is top secret. Told this because we needed to come clean about our secrets." Kimberly sighed and kissed Alex on the cheek, whispered, "Understand." Alex nodded and said, "I was selected by my uncle, who was a member of the school, and I knew about Rangers before this." Once again shocking everyone, as Jason, slightly angry, asked, "You knew about Power Rangers?" Alex nodded and replied, "It is a secret. The Wind Ninja Academy has them, at least the Morpher. No one has been chosen to wield them till now, but I never thought about becoming one, or an alien will give me one." Billy whistled and muttered, "That is kinda believable, seeing there could be other Ranger out there." Everyone nodded while Kimberly gave a look saying, "We are talking after this," while Trini, feeling exposed, decided to leave. Chapter 25 edited. As Alex and Kimberly strolled along the dimly lit streets, a sense of tension hung in the air, punctuated by Kimberly's probing question, "So ninjas, huh?" Alex's footsteps faltered momentarily before he responded, his voice barely a whisper against the night's silence. "Yeah, it was a secretive thing known only to my family." Their breath mingled in the chilly air as they exchanged a knowing glance, a silent acknowledgement of the new world Alex inhabited. "Understand," Kimberly murmured, her tone laced with a hint of admiration. "It's kind of cool to have a ninja boyfriend." A fleeting smile danced across their lips, but it quickly faded as Kimberly's expression turned grave. I'm the reason we can't morph. Haven't been honest, she confessed, her voice laden with guilt. Alex opened his mouth to interject, but Kimberly raised a hand, her eyes pleading for him to listen. Just listen, she implored, her words tumbling out in a rush. Punched Ty Fleming because he called me the meanest person he'd ever met, and he wasn't wrong. Sorrow etched lines on Alex's face as he sought to comfort her. That's not true. You were just going through a rough patch, he insisted, his words tinged with empathy. But Kimberly remained unmoved, her fingers scrolling through the digital memories on her phone until she found the damning evidence. With a heavy heart, she turned the screen towards Alex, who recoiled at the sight. You took that picture? He gasped, a mix of shock and disbelief coloring his voice. No, Kimberly said, her voice barely above a whisper, her gaze fixed on the ground. Amanda took that picture of herself, but she shared it with me privately. She trusted me. Alex's jaw tightened in realization, his mind racing to comprehend the gravity of Kimberly's confession. You sent that pic to Ty? He asked, his voice tinged with disbelief. She nodded, her eyes welling with unshed tears, and said, with a text that said, "Is this the girl that you want bring to your mom?" And he sent it to someone who sent it to someone? Alex's voice trailed off, the weight of Kimberly's actions sinking in. Until it got back to her, Kimberly finished, her voice trembling with remorse. I didn't realize how mean it was until I saw her face. Alex's heart clenched with empathy as he reached out to comfort her. Kim, there are literally thousands of photos circulating at school, he reasoned, his words falling flat in the face of Kimberly's anguish. But Kimberly shook her head, her voice breaking as she spoke. I don't care about them. Care about this, she confessed, her tears now flowing freely. I had to sit in Mr. Detmer's office with Amanda's father and watch as they showed him that photo of his daughter. He's known me my whole life, like I literally grew up in his house. He looked at that picture, and for the first time in his eyes, could see who I'd become. A heavy silence hung between them as Alex struggled to find the right words, his heart aching for Kimberly's pain. So I lied, she continued, her voice barely a whisper. I blamed everyone else for it, wanted to die. Okay, listen, Alex said, his voice gentle yet firm, his eyes meeting Kimberly's with unwavering compassion. You were going on a downward spiral after I left. Kimberly's breath caught in her throat as his words hung in the air, the weight of their truth settling over her like a heavy shroud. She knew he was right, but hearing it spoken aloud made it all too real. A tremor ran through her as she struggled to find her voice, the memories of her darkest moments flooding back with overwhelming clarity. I didn't know how to cope, she confessed, her words barely a whisper against the night's silence. I felt lost without you. Alex reached out, his fingers brushing against her cheek in a gesture of comfort. Should have kept in contact more, he admitted, his voice tinged with regret. Should have been there for you. Kimberly shook her head, her gaze locked with his in silent understanding. It wasn't your fault, she murmured, her heart heavy with the weight of their shared pain. Their eyes met in a silent exchange of forgiveness, a mutual acknowledgement. Okay, Alex said softly. Let's start over, delete those images. Kimberly sighed, her shoulders sagging with the weight of her guilt. Alex, it can't be erased, she admitted, her voice barely audible above the distant hum of the city. Alex nodded in understanding, his gaze softening as he reached out to take her hand. Sometimes you mess up in life, you just have to live with it, he murmured, his words a balm to Kimberly's wounded soul. You did an awful thing. It doesn't make you an awful person. Kimberly's lips quivered with emotion as she searched his face for solace. Okay, any more wisdom for me? She asked, a faint smile playing on her lips. Just, Alex paused, his voice tender yet resolute. Be the person you want to be. A surge of courage swept through Kimberly as she leaned forward, her lips brushing against his in a tender kiss. Honestly, she whispered against his mouth, her voice barely a whisper, I kind of want to be the girl who kisses you right now. Cheesy, right? Alex's heart skipped a beat as he returned her kiss, his arms wrapping around her in a warm embrace. Well, yeah, that seems really good too, he murmured. Their lips met once more, the world around them fading into insignificance as they surrendered to the moment. But just as they lost themselves in each other's embrace, Alex's phone buzzed with an urgent message from Trini calling for help. Chapter 26 edited. After opening up to the rest of the Rangers, she needed some alone time. She climbed through her bedroom window and just let her mind wander. An hour later, she was sound asleep. She woke up to the sensation of water dripping on her face. Rain, a leak, what could it? That woman was floating above her. Rita Repulsa. A soft green glow surrounded her and her staff. She was beautiful and evil, and terrifying all at once. Do you know who I am? She was playing with Trini's face and asked quietly. Rita, Repulsa, Trini replied in a trembling voice. Rita whispered, I was once just like you, so pretty, innocent. Are all the Rangers on Zordan's new team as young as you? But as Trini's anger flared, she reached out to grab Rita, only to find herself spun around and pinned to the ceiling with unearthly strength. As Rita collided with the ceiling, the fragile surface gave way, splintering and cracking under the immense pressure, but Rita was unfazed. Delightful, Rita purred, her voice dripping with malice as she effortlessly pushed Trini down onto the bed, her movements taunting. Have you morphed yet? She sneered, her gaze piercing into Trini's soul. Trini's heart raced with a mixture of fear and defiance, but Rita effortlessly slammed her against the wall, the force cracking the already weakened structure. Groaning in pain, Trini fought to conceal her terror, refusing to show any sign of weakness. But Rita's next words sent a chill down Trini's spine, her voice oozing with venom. That was a trick question, she hissed, her breath hot against Trini's ear. Killed the Yellow Ranger before, and I loved it. With a mocking taunt, Rita teased, You want your armor, I'll show you mine if you show me yours. Trini watched in horror as Rita's corrupted armor began to emerge, a grotesque form. Driven by a surge of desperation, Trini seized Rita and pushed her into the opposite wall, her hands tightening around her throat in a desperate attempt to gain the upper hand. But Rita's laughter echoed in the air, her struggles nothing more than a facade. Please know you're hurting me, you're so strong, Rita mocked, her voice laced with deceit. Just kidding. Breaking free from Trini's grip, Rita pinned her against the wall once more, her gaze locking onto Trini's with an unsettling intensity. You have spunk, little yellow, she whispered, her words sending a shiver down Trini's spine. I see myself in you, and in your heart, you know it. Come with me, we can be friends. Trini's breath caught in her throat as Rita's words washed over her, her mind reeling from the realization of the danger she faced. All I need to know is, where is the Zeo crystal? Rita demanded, her voice a menacing whisper. I don't know, Trini admitted, her voice wavering but resolute in its honesty. Rita's gaze bore into her with unsettling intensity as she considered Trini's words. Sadly, I believe you, she conceded, her tone laced with disappointment. Tomorrow, I'm going to destroy Angel Grove, but in exchange for your life, you will find out where the crystal is and you will come to me. We can have a deal, deed my friend. With a casual flick of her wrist, Rita effortlessly cast Trini aside, sending her crashing into shelves lining the walls with bone-jarring force. Trini's body throbbed with pain as she lay amidst the wreckage, defeated and broken. Bruised and battered, Trini could feel the weight of Rita's ultimatum bearing down on her. As Alex and Kimberly rushed to Trini's home, their hearts pounding with concern, they found her waiting for them outside, battered and bruised from her encounter with Rita. Kimberly's eyes widened in shock as she took in Trini's injuries, her heart sinking at the sight of her friend's pain. Trini gestured for them to be silent as she led them inside, her movements cautious and deliberate as she guided them to her room. As they entered, Kimberly and Alex were greeted by the chaotic aftermath of the fight, the room bearing the scars of their recent struggle. Trini's room was in disarray, furniture overturned and belongings scattered haphazardly across the floor. The air was heavy with the lingering scent of battle, a stark reminder of the violence that had unfolded within its walls. My mom is going to kill me, Trini muttered, her voice tinged with resignation as she surveyed the wreckage around them. Despite the seriousness of their situation, a small smile tugged at the corners of her lips, a brief moment of levity amidst the chaos. Kimberly's eyes widened in shock as she took in Trini's injuries, her heart sinking at the sight of her friend's pain. Kimberly's eyes fell upon a medical kit tucked away in the corner of the room, and without hesitation, she swiftly grabbed it, her movements purposeful and efficient. As she approached Trini, her expression softened with concern, her focus solely on alleviating her friend's pain. Trini winced as Kimberly began to disinfect and patch up her wounds, the sting of the antiseptic causing her to recoil slightly. But despite the discomfort, she remained still, trusting in Kimberly's expertise to ease her suffering. What happened? Kimberly questioned, her voice trembling with worry. Trini winced as Kimberly tended to her injuries, her gaze haunted by the memory of her recent ordeal. Rita, she replied with a heavy sigh. She came to my house. Kimberly's breath caught in her throat, her mind reeling at the thought of Rita's arrival. What? She whispered, her voice barely above a whisper. Trini nodded grimly, her expression darkening with each passing moment. Yeah, she confirmed. She's real. Insane. She nearly killed me. She was trying to get me to join her. She said she'd spare my life if I could keep a secret. The weight of Trini's words hung heavy in the air as Alex's brow furrowed with concern. "What secret?" he questioned, his voice edged with urgency. Trini winced as she recalled the chilling words of their adversary. "At dawn, the destruction of Angel Grove begins," she revealed, her voice laced with dread. Alex sighed, the gravity of their situation sinking in. "So it begins," he murmured, his gaze flickering with determination. Kimberly turned to Alex, her eyes searching his for guidance. "What should we do?" she asked, her voice tinged with uncertainty. With a solemn nod, Alex met Kimberly's gaze, his mind already racing with plans for their next move. "We need to get Billy, Zach, and Jason first," he decided, his tone firm and resolute. Turning to Trini, he fixed her with a determined stare. "Give me a detailed description of what she said and her behavior," he instructed, his voice a beacon of calm amidst the chaos of their reality. And as Trini began to recount the harrowing details of her encounter with Rita, Alex listened intently, his mind already formulating a strategy. Chapter 27. Just after 4 in the morning, Jason, Billy, and Zach arrived at the football field, where Kimberly, Trini/Think, and Alexander was waiting for them. Zach saw Trini's wounds and questioned, "What happened?" Trini answered, "Rita." "She is coming for the Zeo crystal," Kimberly added. "She seems to be testing us." There was already a faint hint of light in the east. "Where is she?" Alexander asked. "She said to meet her where the dead ship's live," Trini said. "Okay, that's the salvage yard by the docks," Alexander said. "Let's go." No one moved. Alexander was shocked. "Are you serious?" "No one." "Alex, we're not even Power Rangers yet," Trini said. "I say we go back to Zordon," Billy added. Before Alex could say anything, Jason spoke up. "Zordon thinks we're a joke. He said it to my face." Visibly upset, Billy asked, "So this was all a lie?" "Of course it was a lie, Billy." He saw he was upsetting them and he didn't care. "What, am I hurting your feelings? Grow up. We failed. Let's stop being delusional about being a team of superheroes." "No," Alex interjected, his tone cutting through the murmurs of dissent. "Zordon isn't mocking us. He's facing reality. Can any of you honestly say you'd trust a group of amateur warriors barely out of training to take on someone like Rita, who wiped out seasoned warriors on Zordon's team?" There was silence. When everyone thought about it, Zordon was kinda right to doubt them. "We are going to make it. We are the Power Rangers," Billy said, emphasizing we. He pointed to everyone in the group but Jason. "We are a team." "We are," Jason snapped. "We don't even know each other." "No," Billy fired back. "The only person in this circle we don't know is you." Whoa, Jason thought. Billy Cranston draws blood. "You want to know me? Fine. You think that's going to change anything?" He laughed, solely out of frustration. "You want to know the deep, dark secret about Jason Scott? People expect me to do great things." He adopted his father's voice. "Come on, Jay, get it done. It's on you now. It's all you. You got this." Then he was himself again. "I'm so tired of being what everyone else wants me to be, so I burned it all down, one crazy stunt after the next. When those cops were chasing me, I knew it was all over. Flipped that truck, crushed my knee. The pain was insane, but all I felt was relief." He hadn't meant to reveal so much, but now that he had, Jason saw he was speaking to friends. Then Alex added, "Also, we cannot just sit around and watch everyone die, okay? We are all screw-ups. But can we at least go and do the one thing that's been asked of us and kill Rita? This is a go-or-die situation." With a smile at Alexander, Kimberly said, "You know this is a bad idea, right?" "The worst," he said. "Let's vote, show of hands." 5 hands rose in the darkness. They got to the salvage yard while it was still dark, scaling and leaping over boats toward a large open building in the middle of the yard. Zach took chains as his weapon from the yard. Trini had what looked like a Japanese sickle. Billy took an iron pipe. While Alexander, Jason, and Kimberly did not take any other weapons. They soon reached the spot, looking around, found a barrel fire burned inside and a figure slumped in a chair near the barrel. They went inside, looking past the barrel to the docks and the harbor beyond. There was music playing. When they got closer, they saw that the figure was a homeless man. He was bound and gagged. Billy's heart raced as he stepped closer. "We'll untie him," he said urgently, his eyes fixed on the man's terrified face. He reached for his iron pipe and handed it to Kimberly. "Hold this," he said, determined to free the helpless man. But Kimberly stopped him in his tracks. "No, no, no," she said firmly. "Let's just think about this, okay?" Alexander's instincts kicked in as he surveyed the scene from afar. His eyes narrowed as he studied the bound man who looked pale and terrified. "She's right," he said, his voice low and steady. "Something's not right here." Trini moved closer to the man, her heart pounding in her chest. As she got closer, she could see that he was trying to communicate something to her with his eyes. Suddenly, a drop of water landed on his cheek, followed by another. Trini's eyes widened in realization. "Oh, shit," she muttered, looking up. In an instant, Rita descended from the air, her staff glowing with green light. She landed with a deafening crash, creating a shockwave that sent everyone flying backwards. The bound man whimpered in fear as Rita approached him, the sickly glow of her staff illuminating his terrified face. Chapter 33, Rita vs. Power Rangers' First Fight. As Zack attempted to launch a surprise attack from behind, Rita's instincts kicked in, and she swiftly spun around, her staff intercepting Zack's strike with pinpoint accuracy. With a resounding clash, she deflected his blow and retaliated with a swift counterattack, the force of her strike sending Zack hurtling through the air, his momentum carrying him several feet before he crashed to the ground with a grunt of pain. As Kimberly seized an opportunity to strike, Rita's keen perception allowed her to anticipate the attack. With a swift movement, she swung her staff towards Kimberly, aiming to intercept her with deadly accuracy. However, Kimberly's reflexes were equally sharp, and she reacted with lightning speed, ducking beneath the swinging staff with graceful agility. Rita's strike whistled harmlessly over Kimberly's head as she evaded the blow. Meanwhile, Alexander seized the moment, closing in on Rita to disarm her. There. Struggle intensified as they grappled for control of the staff. As Rita's attempts to use her staff were thwarted by Alexander's relentless grip, the balance of power shifted in the melee. The battlefield crackled with tension as Alexander and Rita engaged in a fierce battle of wills, their hands locked firmly on the staff that had become the focal point of their struggle. With each movement, their bodies flowed with a fluidity that belied the intensity of their conflict, their every strike and block executed with a precision born of years of training. Alexander's determination fueled his every move. Each punch and kick was met with a swift counter, their bodies moving in perfect harmony amidst the chaos of battle. Yet Rita's sheer strength and skill eventually overpowered Alex, sending him reeling with a powerful palm thrust to the chest. Alexander groaned, landing on the ground. Unfazed by her previous encounters, Rita remained vigilant, effortlessly sensing Billy's aerial assault and countering with a devastating strike midair. She then swiftly dispatched Jason with a precise blow to the face, sending him tumbling through the air. With her adversaries regrouping, Rita wasted no time, swiftly dodging Billy's attempted swipe kick and retaliating with a calculated strike. But Alex, fueled by determination, launched a daring flying knee kick, catching Rita off guard and momentarily staggering her. "Don't let her breathe. Keep the pressure on her." Alex's command echoed through the chaos as Kimberly, Trini, Jason, Zack, and Billy rallied for another round. With a sneer of contempt, Rita acknowledged her opponent's resilience before springing into action once more. With a lightning-quick leap, she vaulted into the air, the back end of her staff connecting with Kimberly's head with a sickening thud, sending her staggering backwards. As Jason moved in to retaliate, Rita swiftly pivoted, swinging the front end of her staff with deadly precision, striking him square in the chest and hurling him back with tremendous force. Rita landed on the ground. Trini's attempt to flank Rita from behind was met with a punishing blow from Rita's staff whipped around, striking her with enough force to send her crashing to the ground. Billy muttered, "Cannot give up." As Alex nodded and got up with him, Kimberly, Trini, Zack, and Jason followed. Frustration etched across her face, Rita sneered, "These rats dare to challenge me." She smirked and muttered, "I will leave a present for Zordon." With a swift motion, she lunged forward, driving her staff deep into Billy's abdomen. The metallic clang echoed through the battlefield as Billy staggered backward, pain contorting his features. Alex, seeing this, yelled in worry, fear, and anger, "Billy." As rage consumed him, Alexander's transformation was nothing short of awe-inspiring. His once ordinary form was now encased in a sleek, full-body metallic suit, its silver surface adorned with elegant gold accents. The helmet, shaped like a fierce tiger, concealed his features behind intricate designs, its visor glowing with a vibrant blue neon light that traced the contours of his body. With the weight of his anger bearing down upon him, Alexander's voice rang out like thunder, his words dripping with fury as he declared his intent to end Rita once and for all. In his hand, a shimmering white dagger materialized, its handle adorned with golden lines and crowned with a fearsome lion's head, its eyes ablaze with a crimson fire. As Alexander charged forward, his resolve unshakable, Rita's initial surprise gave way to a knowing smile, a flicker of recognition crossing her features. "So you are his successor," she murmured, her voice laced with a mixture of sadness, amusement, and disdain. "But I will not allow you to destroy my plans." With a flick of her staff, Rita unleashed a torrent of green energy, the air around them crackling with its malevolent power. Undeterred, Alexander closed the distance between them in a blur of motion, his blade meeting Rita's staff with a resounding clash that sent shockwaves rippling through the air. As Alexander's desperate plea echoed across the battlefield, Kimberly's heart wrenched with conflict. "Get away from here. Cannot hold on for much longer," Alex yelled. Kimberly did not want to, but Trini held onto her and said, "We have to take Billy to Zordon. He is losing too much blood. Also, if we stay here, we will only cause trouble for Alex." Kimberly looked at the pale Billy, carried by Jason and Zach, and then nodded, retreating with them. While the battle between Alexander and Rita raged, with each clash of their weapons, small shockwaves rippled through the air, a testament to the sheer power behind their strikes. Rita's staff twirled with deadly grace, each swing accompanied by a burst of green energy that crackled ominously in the air. Her movements were fluid and precise, a deadly dance that left no room for error. She smirked and addressed Alex, "Sacrificing yourself to save your friends, how noble." Rita was once again seeing a shadow of her former companion in this boy. But Alexander was equally formidable, his sword gleaming in the dim light as he met Rita's attacks with skill and determination. With each swing, he moved with a grace and agility that belied his anger, dodging Rita's swings with expertly timed flips and rolls. As their weapons clashed, the sound of metal on metal rang out like a symphony of war, echoing across the battlefield. Rita's strikes slash-think. Kes came fast and furious, each blow aimed with deadly accuracy, but Alexander was no mere novice. With lightning-fast reflexes, he countered her attacks with a series of swift blocks and parries, his blade a blur of motion as he fought to keep pace with her relentless assault. As the relentless battle raged on, Alexander's keen eyes caught sight of a nearby table stacked with crates. With a plan forming in his mind, he subtly maneuvered Rita towards it, biding his time for the perfect moment to strike. With a sudden burst of speed, Alexander unleashed a deceptive sweeping kick towards Rita, but his true target was the table's leg. Rita, ever watchful, anticipated the attack and leaped out of harm's way, believing herself to be the intended target. As Rita landed gracefully on the ground, a triumphant smirk gracing her lips, Alexander seized the opportunity he had been waiting for. Alexander's foot connected with the table's leg, shattering it with a resounding crack. With a deafening crash, the table collapsed, sending the crates tumbling down in a cacophony of splintering wood and crashing debris. Caught off guard by the unexpected onslaught, Rita found herself buried beneath the weight of the fallen crates. With Rita temporarily incapacitated, Alexander knew that now was his chance to escape. Without hesitation, he turned and bolted from the scene, his heart pounding with adrenaline as he raced towards safety. Chapter 28 edited. As the first light of dawn painted the sky, Alex raced and caught up with his friends. All of them carried Billy and rushed towards the mines, each step heavier than the last as they bore Billy's limp body between them. With each labored breath, Billy's life slipped further away, a silent plea echoing in Alex's heart to defy the inevitable. "I won't let you go, buddy," Alex choked out, his voice cracking with emotion as tears blurred his vision. "We're almost there, hang on." Arriving at the cliff's edge, Billy's faint smile offered a glimpse of peace as he whispered, "Can see a bright light and my father is calling me." But Alex refused to accept the looming farewell, his denial echoing against the rocky walls. "Don't you dare leave us now," Alex urged, desperation fueling his words as they plunged into the cold embrace of the water, their journey to salvation unfolding beneath the surface. As they entered the ship's control room, Alpha 5 mechanical whirring softened with sorrow, mirroring the grief etched across Zordon's digital face. With trembling hands, they laid Billy's motionless form on the floor, a collective sob rising from the assembled warriors as his heartbeat faded into silence. "Please, Zordon," Alex pleaded, his voice raw with anguish. "There has to be something you can do." But Zordon's response was a somber reflection of their shared recklessness, a bitter realization settling over them like a shroud. "We were both too reckless with our teams," Zordon confessed, his regret heavy in the air. "There is nothing I can do. He exists now in the realm between life and death." As the weight of their failure pressed down upon them, Alex's heart shattered in thought. This was not a show where everyone just comes out alive, but reality where his friends can die. As Alexander's voice trembled with regret, he turned to face the solemn gathering, his footsteps heavy with the weight of culpability. With each word his sorrow spilled forth, a lament for the loss of their brightest light. I'm sorry, Alexander's voice wavered, his gaze fixed on Billy's still form. Believed in you, Billy. You were the heart of this team, the kindness, the intelligence. I'm sorry, everyone. He's gone because of me. But Kimberly's gentle rebuttal cut through the guilt like a beacon of solidarity. No, it was all of us, she insisted, her words a balm to their collective anguish. Jason's admission rang with a resonance of self-awareness. It was me, he confessed, his voice heavy with remorse. I let fear and anger guide us, and it led to this. Billy was one of the best of us. He believed in what we stood for in being Rangers. In the midst of their grief, a subtle shift occurred, imperceptible to all but Alpha 5, his mechanical eyes honing in on the pulsating glow emanating from the heart of the Morphin grid. While the others remained ensconced in their grief, oblivious to the growing brilliance, Alpha 5's circuits hummed with recognition. Unfolding before them was a phenomenon reminiscent of their earliest encounter with the grid, a surge of radiant energy that seemed to pulse with newfound vitality. Yet, in the midst of their mourning, only Alpha 5 bore witness to this celestial spectacle, his processors whirring with curiosity at the implications of such a phenomenon. With the Morphin grid aglow once more, its brilliance undiminished by the shadow of loss, Alpha 5's sensors tingled with anticipation. Though the others remained unaware of the subtle transformation unfolding before them, Alpha 5 understood the significance of this moment. I'm sorry, Billy, Alexander's voice cracked, his resolve faltering as he spoke. I'd give anything to trade places with you. Kimberly's proximity offered solace, her words a whispered reassurance. Maybe he traded his life for us, she suggested, a glimmer of hope amidst the darkness. He likely did, Zack conceded, his conviction unwavering. I would too, he declared, his gaze sweeping over his comrades, each nodding in silent agreement. With the Morphin grid ablaze, Kimberly's declaration pierced the solemn air. It's just us now, she declared, the truth of their unity burning brightly against the backdrop of loss. Despite everything, this is what most. In the radiant glow of the grid, their bond strengthened, a silent vow forged amidst the ashes of their fallen comrade, their unity a beacon of hope in the face of adversity. With the Morphin grid ablaze, Kimberly's declaration pierced the solemn air. It's just us now, she declared, the truth of their unity burning brightly against the backdrop of loss. Despite everything, this is what matters most. She's right, Trini added. At the edge of the room, Alpha 5 quickly sidled up to Zordon. Look at the grid. This is your time. Do you see it? The grid is open. Step through. I see it, Zordon said. His face vanished. As the Rangers remained locked in their solemn bond, but Alpha 5's voice led them to notice the grid, the morphing energy swirling into a ball around them in a cyclone of vibrant blue light. With each gust of wind, they struggled to maintain their footing, the raw power of the Morphin grid pulsating through their veins. The intense energy formed eddies and currents that danced around them, casting dazzling patterns of azure light against the walls of the command center. Within the maelstrom, faint blots of energy sparked and flickered, casting a mesmerizing glow that illuminated their faces with an otherworldly radiance. The swirling winds of morphing energy, their forms enveloped in intense blue light that spun and danced around them, casting flickering shadows against the walls. What's happening? Zack's voice cut through the tumult, his words barely audible over the cacophony of sound and light. The Morphin grid is open, Alpha 5 shouted back, his metallic frame vibrating with excitement. But before anyone could comprehend the full magnitude of the moment, Zordon's image screeched and vanished, leaving behind a lingering echo of power that slowly faded into the ether, leaving the Rangers standing in the quiet. As the silence settled over the room, broken only by Alpha 5's hesitant inquiry, the Rangers exchanged bewildered glances, their eyes searching for answers in the empty space where Zordon had stood moments before. Zordon, Master, Alpha 5's voice trembled with uncertainty, his mechanical form quivering with a sense of unease. He must have stepped through the grid. Kimberly's gaze darted around the room, her voice tinged with concern. Alpha, where did he go? I have no idea, Alpha 5 admitted, his circuits buzzing with confusion as the pixels on the wall flickered to life once more, revealing Zordon's solemn visage. Why didn't you step through? That was your only chance. Alpha 5's confusion was palpable, mirroring the perplexity etched across the faces of Alexander and his comrades. Each one pondered the same question, their minds. I know, but only one can come back, Zordon replied, his voice heavy with the weight of their shared sacrifice. Suddenly, something stirred in the room behind them, catching their attention. They turned, their hearts pounding with a mix of fear and hope, to see Billy slowly rising to his feet. He appeared beat up, exhausted, and confused. but undeniably alive. Chapter 29 edited. Jason, Trini, Kimberly, and Zach rushed to his side, enveloping him in a tight embrace, their relief palpable as they welcomed their friend back from the brink of death. Billy checked the stab wound and is waiting to be closed up. "Did I die?" Billy's voice trembled with uncertainty as he surveyed the scene before him. "No," Kimberly's reassurance was cut off by Trini. "Yes," Trini's honesty rang out as both of them were trying to ease his confusion. Billy's eyes flickered with understanding, his trust unwavering as he turned to everyone with a knowing smile. "And you guys brought me back to life? I knew we were superheroes." Meanwhile, Alexander's realization dawned like a revelation, his gaze shifting back to Zordon with newfound clarity. "There can be only one leader for the Rangers." Zordon's voice was soft yet resolute, his words carrying the weight of destiny. "Alexander, this is your time. This is your team." With a surge of emotion, Alexander rushed to Billy's side, wrapping him in a fierce embrace. "Welcome back, my friend," he whispered. Billy's grin faltered momentarily as a thought struck him. "We've got to go to Krispy Kreme, Alex." Zach shot him a puzzled look. "What?" "Not for donuts, the Zeo crystal. It is under Krispy Kreme's." Billy clarified, his expression serious. "Okay, let's go," Alexander agreed. Turning to Zordon, he offered a respectful bow and heartfelt gratitude. He understood the sacrifice Zordon had just made, choosing to bring Billy back to life instead of resurrecting his own body. That was the mark of a true leader. "Come on, guys," Alexander called out, leading the way toward the pulsating morphin grid. His teammates fell into step behind him, their resolve unwavering as they approached the threshold. Stepping into the glowing footprints, Alexander felt a surge of energy coursing through him, his heart pounding with anticipation. In that moment, he felt the weight of leadership settling upon his shoulders, a responsibility he was ready to embrace. With a sense of determination, Alexander searched for words of inspiration, but all that escaped his lips was the timeless phrase, "It's morphin time." As the familiar H/think. A rumble of power reverberated through the ship. As the transformation began, each of the 6 friends felt the familiar surge of power coursing through them, their respective coins gleaming with newfound brilliance. The ancient crust surrounding the coins dissolved, revealing the unmistakable outlines within. A T. Rex for Jason, a Triceratops for Billy, a Mastodon for Zach, a Pterodactyl for Kimberly, a Sabertooth for Trini, and a White Tiger for Alex. A brilliant flare of light erupted from the morphin grid, enveloping them in its radiant glow. As it passed, the Rangers beheld each other in awe, their bodies adorned in full armor, pulsating with the raw energy of the grid. Running gloved hands over their armored forearms, they marveled at the smooth, solid protection that now encased them, overlaying the flexible underlayer beneath. Tiny veins ran throughout the fabric, pulsating with energy and casting a soft, blue neon glow that illuminated the joints and crevices of their attire. With every movement, the glowing veins sparked to life, tracing the contours of their bodies with ethereal light, enhancing the otherworldly aura of their armor. Additionally, each suit boasted a striking feature, a prominent spine adorned with a large blue diamond affixed to their backs. Masked and unified, they stood as a formidable team, their identities obscured by the vibrant hues of their armor. Alex's white, Jason's red, Billy's blue, Kimberly's pink, Trini's yellow, and Zach's black. The Alex's white Ranger helmet is a distinctive feature of the suit, featuring a sleek and angular design. The helmet has a white base with gold accents, including a stylized visor that covers the Ranger's eyes. The visor often has a tiger-like design, with black stripes and pointed edges, paying homage to the White Ranger's connection to the White Tiger Zord. Jason's helmet bore the imposing visage of a Tyrannosaurus Rex. The helmet was angular and fierce, with sharp lines and a prominent brow ridge resembling the T-Rex's iconic skull. The visor was narrow and menacing, evoking the predatory gaze of the mighty dinosaur. Billy's helmet took inspiration from the Triceratops, featuring a rounded visor with small horns near the top. The visor curved gently, resembling the Triceratops' frill, with the horns adding a distinctive touch to the design. Kimberly's helmet incorporated elements of the pterodactyl, with small wings adorning the sides of the visor. The wings were sleek and aerodynamic, evoking the grace and agility of the prehistoric flying reptile. Trini's helmet reflected the fierce nature of the saber-toothed tiger, with sharp angles and aggressive styling. The visor had a narrow, predatory shape, resembling the piercing eyes of the saber-toothed tiger. Zach's helmet drew inspiration from the mastodon, featuring rugged and sturdy design elements. The visor was square and robust, mirroring the powerful tusks of the mastodon. They had achieved the impossible, tapping into the ancient power of the morphing grid. But amidst the triumph, a sobering realization dawned upon them. Their journey was just beginning. Rita Repulsa still loomed as a formidable threat. Chapter 30: Power Rangers Fight. Rita was very angry. "Those brats think they've won," Rita muttered angrily, her voice dripping with contempt. "I'll destroy their small town and lure them out," she declared, her eyes flashing with malevolent intent. "I'll torture them in front of each other until they beg for mercy, and then I'll make them tell me about the Zeo crystal's location," she added, her tone cold and calculating. As Rita slammed her golden staff onto the ground, a surge of dark energy emanated from its tip, causing the earth to tremble. From the cracks in the ground, putties began to emerge, their forms taking shape from the surrounding surfaces like concrete and stone. These creatures, towering over humans in size, are born from the very fabric of the environment, incorporating elements such as fire hydrants and other structures into their formidable bodies. Some putties exhibit additional variations, ranging from multiple faces to fusion with other putties, creating monstrous amalgamations reminiscent of conjoined twins. With a malevolent glint in her eyes, Rita watched as her army of putties took form. She ordered them, "Go get those filthy rangers." As a relentless horde of over 60 putties, created by Rita Repulsa's dark magic, surged forward with an ominous determination. Their gray, stone-like bodies moved with an eerie fluidity as they advanced toward the quarry, their eyes glowing with malevolent intent toward the quarry. With a thunderous roar, the putties charged forward, their footsteps echoing off the surrounding cliffs. But just as it seemed the rangers would be engulfed by the advancing tide of enemies, the ground beneath the putties abruptly dropped away, revealing a sheer cliff face. Undeterred by the sudden obstacle, the putties leaped without hesitation, plummeting into the dark depths below. With a mighty splash, the putties disappeared beneath the surface, vanishing into the murky waters of the quarry. As the rangers reached the watery ceilinged cave, they saw a putty shimmering on the other side of the water. "How did he find us?" Zack wondered. "We gotta crush him." "Wait," Trini said. A wave of other putties jumped into the water, blocking the way out. Alexander spoke up. "Use the link-up method we did when playing around in the cave to fight them." Every/think. One understood. It was basically a small method of swimming formation they used to launch themselves in the water. They simply played around with it because of Alexander's suggestion. They didn't know it would come in handy here. Alexander added, "We'll give you guys time to ready up." As Alexander leaps upwards, propelled by a burst of strength and agility, he breaks through the surface of the water and dives deep into the submerged cave. The cool embrace of the water surrounds him, enveloping him in its tranquility as he descends further into the depths. Submerged beneath the surface, Alexander's surroundings transform into a mesmerizing underwater landscape, illuminated by the soft glow of bioluminescent organisms. With each graceful movement, he navigates through the watery expanse with ease. He utilizes the walls to push himself through the water with swift determination. With each powerful stroke, he propels himself closer to the putties, his movements fluid and calculated. Brandishing his sword with expertise, Alexander unleashes a barrage of slashes, the gleaming blade cutting through the water with precision. With each strike, he dismantles the putties with swift efficiency, his movements a testament to his mastery of combat. Kimberly tensed. "Let's do this." She sprang up into the water ceiling. The other rangers were right there with her. The coordinated effort continues as Kimberly, Trini, and Zack work together to propel Billy and Jason forward. Kimberly pulls up Trini, who in turn pulls up Billy, launching him forward. Similarly, Kimberly assists Zack in pulling him up, and Zack then launches Jason forward. The synchronized launch of Billy and Jason towards the incoming putties, propelled by Kimberly's careful pull, sets the stage for an impressive display of teamwork and coordination. As they swim forward, Jason and Billy each seize a putty and skillfully maneuver them towards each other. With precise timing and coordination, they use their legs to kick the putties towards each other, creating a collision that results in the destruction of the adversaries. As Zack and Trini join forces to propel Kimberly forward, she harnesses the momentum to swim with incredible speed, her determination shining through as she charges towards the incoming putties. With a powerful thrust, she slams her fists into the adversaries, delivering. "Trini, Zack, be ready. I'm coming down to give you a pull," Alexander communicates through the communication systems integrated into their suits. Zack and Trini got ready and replied together, "Ready." As Alexander swims downward, his movements sleek and agile, he uses the walls to quickly propel himself forward. He propels down quickly, positions himself upside down, and grabs hold of Trini's and Zach's hands with precision. With a powerful pull, he propels them upward, their momentum carrying them forward like a torpedo. Trini and Zach, propelled by Alexander's strength, soar through the water with determination, their fists and feet connecting with the putties with incredible force. With each strike, the putties crumble beneath their onslaught, reduced to mere piles of rubble. With swift and agile movements, Alexander utilizes the cave walls to boost himself upward once again, his sword gleaming as he cuts through the putties with precision. As one putty approaches him, Alexander swiftly climbs on top of it, driving his sword into its head with a decisive strike. The putty begins to crumble beneath him, falling apart as Alexander moves on to the next adversary. As he senses another putty swimming towards him from behind. Reacting quickly, he performs a graceful backflip, his foot connecting with the putty's form with powerful force. The putty is instantly destroyed by the impact, crumbling into pieces as Alexander swims away gracefully. All the Rangers could do was fight their way through. As one, the team charged into the putties. The water surged and boiled around them as they fought in full armor, tearing the putties apart, but there were always more. They battled on, fighting the putties until they all burst through the surface of the pool and out into the chasm. Chapter 31. Zach, Remote Absorbing Replication or Density Manipulation. Trini, Vibrational Manipulation or Animal Mimicry or Probability Manipulation. Kimberly, Phlyrogensis. Alex, Absolute Power Mimicry. Jason, Kinetic Energy Charging or Aura Reading. Billy, Probability Perception or Parallel Processing. Another idea was the Rangers above will become ancestors of SBD Rangers. You can comment on who is who. Also, this happened because of New Rangers timeline, while SBD Rangers are really a fixed point in the timeline. All of them landed on the rocky terrain surrounding the chasm gracefully, but they could not catch their breath as putties waited for them. More and more slowly emerged from behind. The struggle persists as putties emerge from every direction. The Rangers spring into action, their movements fluid and coordinated as they confront the adversaries head-on. With Trini leading the charge with a flying knee kick, her technique precise and powerful as she shatters the putties into pieces with each strike. Meanwhile, Kimberly delivers a skidding kick, targeting the legs of multiple putties and sending them crashing to the ground in a heap of rubble. Followed by Alexander, who charges into the fray with his sword at the ready, his slash is swift and decisive as he cuts through the putties with precision. With each strike, the putties crumble beneath his onslaught, reduced to mere piles of rubble. Each strike, the adversaries are swiftly reduced to pieces, their forms crumbling beneath the relentless assault of the Rangers. As the battle rages on, the Rangers remain steadfast in their determination, their skills and teamwork proving formidable against the relentless onslaught of the putties. With a graceful leap, Jason vaults over a putty, his power sword materializing on his arm as he lands with precision. With a swift slash, he cleaves through the putty's form, sending it crumbling to the ground. As he finishes his strike, Zach rushes to his aid, delivering a powerful elbow strike to the putty's side, further weakening it. Zach then kneels down, offering Billy a boost as he jumps onto his back. With Billy riding piggyback, Zach charges into the fray, running atop the putties and delivering swift kicks that cause them to slowly crumble beneath their feet. In the midst of the action, Billy can't contain his excitement, exclaiming, "This is so much better with the suits on." Inspired by Alexander's teachings, the Rangers gather around in a defensive formation, covering each other's backs. With focused determination, Billy executes a series of mid-level kicks, targeting the midsection and bodies of the putties with precision. With each strike, the putties begin to crumble beneath the force of his blows, their forms weakening as they succumb to the relentless assault. The rhythmic thud of Billy's kicks echoes through the rocky terrain as the putties fall apart, their forms disintegrating into pieces with each successive strike. As Alexander takes on another putty to cover Billy, he begins his sequence with 2 swift punches to the putty's face, stunning it momentarily. With precision timing, he follows up leaping into the air. Alexander executes a powerful spinning kick aimed at the putty's upper body or head, the force of his strike causing the adversary to crumble beneath the impact. The putty disintegrates into pieces. Behind him, Trini swiftly moves to block a putty approaching her. With lightning-fast reflexes, she delivers a powerful punch with her free arm, staggering the adversary. Seizing the opportunity, she expertly executes a judo flip, using the putty's own momentum against it as she sends it crashing to the ground. Meanwhile, Zack confronts another putty with a more aggressive approach. Blocking its attack, he retaliates with a brutal elbow strike to the putty's body, causing it to stagger backward. With a determined expression, Zack then grabs hold of the putty's head, ripping it from its body with a swift motion. Zack jokingly yelled, "Heads up," as he used the severed head as a makeshift weapon and smashes it into another putty behind him with brutal force, shattering the adversary into pieces. As the battle rages on, Alexander swiftly executes a spinning back kick, his body rotating away from the putty before delivering a powerful strike with his heel. The force of the kick connects with devastating impact, causing the putty to crumble into pieces under the sheer force of the blow. With agility and grace, Billy leaps into action as he backflips over a rushing putty, his movements fluid and precise. Mid-air, his keen eyes spot two more putties approaching from behind. Anticipating their advance, Billy adjusts his position, preparing for the perfect landing. As he gracefully descends, Billy's training kicks in, and he executes a double elbow strike with both arms extended. The force of his strikes is formidable, causing the putties to be thrown back beneath the impact of his blow. They were thrown off the cliff. The Rangers continued the fight and broke the horde of incoming putties to pieces, shattered them into clouds of dust, threw them off ledges. "There's more coming." Jason, using his power sword, cuts down another one and shouted, just when they thought they might have a break. "Guys, they just keep coming," Alex, cutting down multiple putties, called out. Billy spun a kick into the head of a putty. Pieces of it splattered the others nearby. "There's too many of them." "You guys hold them off," Zack called out as he disengaged from the melee. He then jumped off the cliff and into the water where Zordon's ship was located. Trini turned to see him vanish into the chaos of the battle. "Zack, where are you going?" But Zack had jumped off by then, overwhelmed. She returned her focus to the fight. "Don't stop," Trini called out to the others. They had to stick together to the end. The putties pressed close, forcing the Power Rangers toward the edge of a cliff. Kimberly yelled, "They're trying to push us off the edge." Alexander was cutting down one putty after another and yelled, "Hold on, I have a hunch on where Zack went." There was nowhere they could go. Then they heard a rumbling noise from over the nearest hill. Alexander was able to hear the Zord's noise earlier and had moved his friends subtly to the side away from Zack's mastodon direction. As he yelled, "Be ready, incoming." Others didn't understand, but soon saw. Zack's black mastodon appeared, jumping over the crest of the hill, and lands on top of the horde of putties, its sheer size and weight crushing the adversaries beneath it, clearing a path with relentless force, scattering the putties and driving them over the edge of the cliff, while Zack inside the cockpit was enjoying this and yelled, "Oh!" While his mastodon Zord teeters dangerously close to the edge of the cliff, but Zack was lucky enough to regain control just in time. With a determined expression, Zack pushes forward, using the Zord's powerful energy cannons to unleash devastating blasts of energy. The cannons fire with precision, obliterating the remaining putties with overwhelming force. Rita by then made her way to the bottom of an enormous quarry. It cut down through millions of years of rock, which made it perfect for her needs. She had lost Goldar 65 million years ago. It was time to bring him back. With her staff held high over her head, she cried out, "Come back to me, Goldar." A deep, seismic rumble sounded all through the quarry. Small trickles of gold appeared and ran together into wider streams that began to drip upward, into the air. More gold flowed from the rocks, pouring up into a mass that hovered above Rita's head. Molten gold dripped and rained around Rita as the mass grew and began to take shape. It joined with the gold still flowing out of the ground, forming an immense pair of legs. Then the torso and head formed, and then arms holding brutal twin swords, each longer than a semi-truck. Rita looked up and saw Goldar spread his wings and roar. The sound thundered out over the rocks, and Rita laughed with delight. What a creation he was! 100 feet tall, pure gold, armored and invincible, and devoted only to her. "I've missed you, my friend," she said. Goldar threw back his head, roaring again. What Zordon's meteor had blasted apart, Rita's power had remade. Together they turned and began their march on Angel Grove with a malevolent smile. "Let's kill everyone." Rita would destroy that town and capture those Rangers, and then nothing would stop her. Now was the time. The Zeo crystal would be hers. Zack popped out of the cockpit. "You guys see that?" he shouted. Everyone was congratulating him. Trini and Zack were doing victory handshakes, while Zack added, "Who wants me to pimp their ride too?" Even Alexander and Jason were happy to see that he'd been reckless enough to take a chance. They were feeling pretty good about themselves until Billy, whose visor slowly dematerialized, was looking across the broken landscape of the mine area and said, Guys, were too late. All of the others followed the direction of Billy's gaze, and there they got their first look at Goldar. As all their visors dematerialized too, they looked at the scene with grim faces. "Oh man," Zack said. Chapter 32. Trini headed back toward the cave. "We're going to protect the crystal, right?" There was a silence. Then Jason said, "Look, you saw what Rita did to us, and now she's got Goldar." Alex turned to everyone and said, "We have to fight, otherwise everything is lost. This is our last stand." "We are going to Angel Grove," Kimberly said. "Then let's get the Zords," added Trini. As each ranger leaped into the cockpits of their towering Zords, the air crackled with anticipation. Alex, commanding the majestic White Tiger Zord, felt a surge of excitement as the cockpit shields materialized around him, casting a mesmerizing blue glow. While Alex heard Billy through the comms from the suit, he was excited and added, "This is a lot different than the van." With a grin, Alex exclaimed, "Yeah, this is incredible." A tingling sensation rippled through him as he felt a cord snap into place, linking his spine to the suit. Suddenly, the controls of his Zord became crystal clear, as if they were an extension of his own body. The cockpit hummed with energy as Alex glanced down to see two toggles emerge before him. With lightning reflexes, he reached out and grasped them. The same thing happened to everyone as the Zords linked to them, like a neural interface. Billy yelled out, "Woo yippee motherfu, mother's good, mother's good." As the colossal Zords thundered across the landscape towards Angel Grove, their massive forms defied logic by moving with breathtaking speed. Leading the charge, Alex's White Tiger Zord surged forward, setting a blistering pace that the others struggled to match. Trini's agile saber-toothed tiger weaved effortlessly between the lumbering Triceratops, ferocious T, Rex, and Alex's sleek White Tiger, while Kimberly's graceful pterodactyl soared gracefully overhead. In the midst of the chaos, Zack's voice crackled through the comms, offering guidance born from experience. "You're doing great, everyone. Let's stick together." Whoa, not that close. Meanwhile, Billy found himself in an unexpected predicament. His Triceratops Zord careening backward, crashed into Zack's mastodon before he managed to correct his course with a frantic maneuver. Amidst the chaos, Alex's voice cut through the din as he reached out to Kimberly over the comms. "Kimberly, how are you holding up?" In response, the pterodactyl shot upwards with a shriek of terror. "Ah!" from Kimberly echoing through the airwaves. As the Zords thundered into Angel Grove, their massive forms tearing through the streets, Kimberly's pterodactyl Zord soared above, granting her a bird's-eye view of the devastation below. From her vantage point, she witnessed the relentless onslaught of Goldar, his colossal figure laying waste to buildings with each thunderous blow. Flames licked at the sky, casting an ominous glow over the cityscape, while plumes of smoke billowed into the air, staining the once pristine sky with darkness. With a heavy heart, Kimberly said to everyone, "Guys, our town, she's destroying it." Ugh, the comms, her tone laced with determination. "Rita and her golden boy haven't found Krispy Kreme yet." With a nod of understanding, Alex replied, "Okay, Kim, you hold them there." Turning his attention to the rest of the team, Alex issued a swift command. "Zack and Billy, circle the Krispy Kreme and make sure it's safe, but don't let her notice the fact that you're guarding it. Jason and I will circle around and attack Rita from both sides." As the Power Rangers and their Zords surged through the streets of Angel Grove, each majestic creature moved with its own unique blend of power and agility. Kimberly's pterodactyl Zord soared high above, its wings slicing effortlessly through the air. It gained altitude, ascending into the vast expanse of the sky with grace and ease. The pterodactyl's sleek form cut through the sky effortlessly as she replied, "Copy, I'll hold her off." Trini's saber-toothed tiger Zord moved with cat-like agility, its lithe body weaving through the city streets with effortless grace. With each agile leap, it bounded effortlessly over obstacles, its sharp claws gripping the pavement as it raced alongside its companions, while Trini spoke up, "Kim, I'll go with you." While Zack's mastodon Zord charged ahead, its heavy footsteps echoed through the streets, sending vibrations rippling through the ground as it bulldozed its way forward. Zack spoke to Billy, "Billy, just the two of us." With a thunderous roar, the mastodon Zord pivoted sharply, its metal claws digging into the pavement as it skidded to a halt. Dust billowed in its wake, obscuring its imposing figure for a moment before settling back down. Billy replied, "I'm right behind you." Meanwhile, Billy's Triceratops Zord thundered behind Zack's mastodon, its determination matched only by its relentless speed. With each powerful stride, it followed Zack. All of them split to do their part. Meanwhile, Kimberly's pterodactyl Zord soared high above. Kimberly flicked the toggles within the pterodactyl Zord's cockpit, activating its twin energy cannons with a swift motion. With determination in her eyes, she directed her Zord towards Rita, a fierce battle cry escaping her lips. Surprise! Kimberly's voice echoed through the air as she unleashed a barrage of energy blasts towards Rita. But despite her best efforts, the blasts missed their mark, sailing past Rita with frustrating accuracy. As Kimberly's Zord flew past, attempting to circle back for another attack, she glanced back with a grimace, frustration evident on her face. Rita, undeterred by the failed assault, looked up with a wicked grin. "How cute! The Rangers found their costumes and their dino cars," she taunted, her voice dripping with malice. "Let's give them something else to play with." She struck her staff against the street. Putties came to life as she passed, forming from traffic lights and parked cars. Rita called to her creations, "Crush them." Billy looked out at the oncoming putties. How many does she need? As the horde of putties shambled northward, intent on stopping the advancing Zords, Rita and Goldar continued their relentless march southward, their sinister intentions clear. "Jason, watch out!" Kimberly's voice crackled through the comms, a note of urgency in her tone. In response, Jason swiftly took control of his T-Rex Zord, using its immense strength to seize hold of a nearby car with its claws. With a powerful swing, he hurled the car towards the approaching wave of putties, the impact sending several of the creatures sprawling in a chaotic heap. "Sorry, Bumblebee," Jason apologized, his voice tinged with regret as he witnessed the destruction wrought by his actions. Despite the initial success, the onslaught of putties continued unabated, their sheer numbers overwhelming the T-Rex Zord. "There are too many," Jason grimly admitted, his tone heavy with frustration. "Can't get them off." But just as it seemed the situation was dire, Kimberly's voice cut through the chaos with a plan. "Turn your head," she called, her voice filled with assurance. "Trust me." With unwavering trust in his teammate, Jason followed Kimberly's instructions, maneuvering the T-Rex's head just as her pterodactyl Zord streaked into view. With precision timing, Kimberly unleashed a barrage of energy blasts from her Zord's cannons, striking the putties with pinpoint accuracy and sending them crashing to the ground. "Thanks, Kim," Jason replied gratefully, a sense of relief washing over him as he regained control of the fight. As Kimberly's pterodactyl Zord swooped in to aid Jason, a group of putties leaped from the ground, their hands outstretched as they attempted to latch onto the airborne Zord. Kimberly's heart raced as she watched them approach, a surge of adrenaline coursing through her veins. With quick thinking and steady hands, Kimberly adjusted the controls of her pterodactyl Zord, causing it to spin rapidly in midair. The sudden motion caught the putties off guard, causing them to lose their grip and plummet back to the ground below. As the pterodactyl Zord continued to spin, Kimberly's nerves gave way to determination, her focus unwavering as she maintained control of her Zord amidst the chaos. With each rotation, she scanned the battlefield below. With a fierce roar, Alex guided his white tiger Zord into the midst of the encroaching horde of putties, his determination unwavering as he prepared to unleash the full might of his Zord's arsenal. Lightning-fast reflexes, the white tiger Zord tore through the ranks of putties with its razor-sharp claws, rending them apart with each powerful swipe. The air was filled with the sound of tearing metal and crumbling stone as the creatures fell beneath the onslaught of the mighty Zord. As Alex's gaze falls upon the menacing horde of putties, his resolve hardens. "I need weapons," he mutters under his breath, the urgency evident in his voice. Suddenly, the hilt of the legendary white Saba catches his eye. At its apex, a meticulously crafted lion's head glimmers, its eyes glowing a fiery red and its mane shimmering with golden light. In a surreal twist, the lion's head seems to come to life, its voice resonating through the air. "Flick the toggle on your hands," it commands, its tone both commanding and reassuring. It holds the triggers for the mini-gun mounted on the tail. As Alex reaches for the hilt, a surge of anticipation courses through him. He remembered Saba was sentient, and it was no mere tool. It is a sentient entity, capable of holding entire conversations with Alex, its wisdom and power offering guidance in the face of danger. Alex, with a smile, muttered, "Now let's check out those guns." With a swift flick on the toggle, he activated the beam gun attached to his Zord's tail. The weapon crackled with energy as it charged up for a devastating attack. With precise aim, he fired a barrage of energy blasts at the incoming horde of putties, the beams cutting through the air with deadly accuracy and destroying them to pieces. As Alex's fingers dance across the toggles, a chuckle escapes his lips, mingling with the tension in the air. "Amazing," he mutters. The voice of the white Saba, rich with wisdom and confidence, interjects. "You haven't seen nothing yet, partner." Its words carry a weight of experience, hinting at the countless battles it has witnessed and the trials it has endured. A grin spreads across Alex's face, a mix of excitement and anticipation. Alex rejoined the battle. While on the other side, Kimberly's pterodactyl Zord circled back to Main Street. Her eyes scanned the chaos below, searching for her teammates amidst the fray. With a sense of urgency, she spotted Trini's saber-tooth Zord battling valiantly against the horde of putties. Trini's saber-tooth Zord tore through the putties with primal ferocity, its claws and teeth rending the creatures apart with each powerful swipe and bite. But as the horde threatened to overwhelm her, Trini knew she needed to take decisive action. With a swift motion, Trini activated the pair of energy cannons mounted on both sides of her saber-tooth Zord's head. With pinpoint accuracy, she unleashed a barrage of energy blasts, targeting the infrastructure of the horde and decimating their ranks. The blasts tore through the streets, reducing obstacles and barriers to rubble as the remaining putties scattered in disarray. With the horde of putties seeming to multiply before their eyes, Kimberly and Trini knew they needed to act swiftly and decisively. In a display of seamless teamwork, they joined forces, their Zords blazing towards the relentless enemy with unyielding determination. As they closed in on the horde, Kimberly and Trini unleashed a relentless barrage of energy blasts. Their combined firepower rained down upon the putties with devastating force. The air crackled with energy as the blasts tore through the ranks of the enemy, reducing them to rubble. As Trini and Kimberly surged forward in their Zords, determination etched into their faces. Trini's voice broke through the tense atmosphere. "Kimberly, let's try to stall Goldar for as long as we can," she called out, her tone resolute yet tinged with urgency. Kimberly's response was swift, a nod of agreement accompanied by a steely resolve. "Let's give it everything we've got," she affirmed, her voice carrying a hint of determination. With synchronized movements, Trini and Kimberly engaged Goldar in a relentless assault. Their Zords weaved and darted around the towering adversary. Together, they launched a barrage of attacks, striking high and low in a coordinated effort to weaken their formidable foe. Kimberly took to the skies, her pterodactyl Zord soaring gracefully overhead as she unleashed a volley of energy blasts. Each shot aimed with precision and intent. Meanwhile, Trini's saber-tooth Zord moved with agility and grace, its claws slashing through the air with lethal force, while its mounted energy cannons added to the onslaught. Despite their relentless assault, Goldar proved to be a formidable adversary, shrugging off their attacks with frightening resilience. Chapter 33. Rita stood on the high school's roof, looking around and ordering Goldar. She was searching for the Zeo crystal. "Rangers," Kimberly called. "She is getting close." She strafed the putties again but couldn't get to Rita. "Okay, come on, let's move," Jason's T. Rex swept a group of putties aside with its tail. A few blocks away, Alex had finally destroyed the last of the putties in that area. "Come on, guys, keep it occupied. I have something to hurt it," Alex called out. As Jason's T. Rex Zord thundered towards Goldar, its massive legs propelling it forward with unstoppable force, the air echoed with the deafening roar of its approach. Inside the cockpit, Jason's voice crackled through the comms with unwavering determination. "I'm on it," he declared, his tone resolute. "I'll take Goldar from the right." Trini's saber-tooth Zord surged forward from the opposite direction, her voice joining Jason's over the comms as she announced her presence. "Jay, I'm right behind you," she affirmed, her determination matching his own. With a thunderous roar, the T. Rex Zord closed the distance, hurtling towards Goldar with ferocious speed. As it drew near, Jason seized the opportunity to strike, launching the massive creature into a feet-first leap that sent it hurtling towards its target. With a mighty crash, the T. Rex Zord collided with Goldar, its claws sinking into the enemy's golden armor as it climbed on top of him, sending him staggering backwards under the force of the impact. Meanwhile, Trini's saber-tooth Zord barreled towards Goldar from the opposite direction, its sleek form cutting through the air with deadly precision. With a swift lunge, the saber-tooth Zord collided with Goldar, its powerful claws raking across his armor and causing him to lose his balance. For a moment, it seemed as though victory was within reach, but both she and Jason were shaken free. Jason and Trini's Zord crashed on the ground, both of them dizzy from the crash. "I'm coming," Kimberly replied as Kimberly's pterodactyl Zord streaked across the battlefield, its shadow casting a foreboding presence over the chaos below. She unleashed a relentless barrage of energy blasts from its cannons, the bright flashes illuminating the sky as they streaked towards Goldar. But despite her best efforts, the blast seemed to have little effect on the formidable enemy. Goldar, undeterred, swung his massive hand with annoyance, the force of the blow striking one of the pterodactyl Zord's wings and sending it spinning out of control. Inside the cockpit, Kimberly fought to regain control, her hands flying over the controls as she battled against the dizzying spiral. With steely determination, she managed to stabilize her Zord, bringing it back under her command just in time. Jason reared up his T, Rex readying another strike. On the periphery of the destroyed street, he saw a familiar truck getting hit by molten gold, skidding out and then crashing. While Alex also noticed this and said, "Jason, go. I will cover for you, save your father." Jason sighed in relief and replied, "Thanks." Jason was really grateful for Alex. So Jason launched out of his Zord and into a sea of putties. None of them stood a chance as he fought his way to his father. Sam looked up and saw only the Red Ranger, not his son. "Give me your hand," Jason called out. His father hesitated, unsure of everything happening around him. "Look at me," Jason continued. "Trust me, it's okay, you're all right." His father reached out his hand, and Jason pulled him to safety. As Alex with his Tiger Zord was not far from Goldar, his voice rang out over the chaos, a note of urgency in his tone as he issued a desperate plea for assistance. "Can someone distract Goldar for a second?" Alex called out, his voice crackling over the comms. "Yes, Zach and our closest. We'll try to push Goldar toward the water," Billy declared, his determination evident as he spurred his Triceratops Zord into motion. With 6 powerful legs churning at top speed, Billy's Triceratops Zord raced across the battlefield, its sturdy frame bearing down on Goldar with unstoppable force. Meanwhile, Zach's Mastodon Zord charged forward alongside, its massive bulk plowing through obstacles in its path as Zach attempted to breach Goldar's defenses with his tusks. As the two Zords closed in on their target, a tense moment of anticipation hung in the air. But before they could make their move, Goldar lashed out with a savage slash, striking both Zords with devastating force. With a sickening crunch, the Triceratops and Mastodon Zords were sent flying through the air, tumbling and crashing to the ground in a chaotic heap. Inside their cockpits, Zach and Billy groaned in pain, their heads spinning from the impact as they struggled to regain their bearings amidst the wreckage. "Guys, we're okay," Billy yelled, he and his Zord crashed out and dizzy from the crash. Alex called out, "I'm coming." With determination etched across his face, Alex guided his white Tiger Zord towards the towering figure of Goldar, his eyes fixed on the enemy before him. As he assessed the situation, he glanced at the small dial within his cockpit, seeking vital information to aid him in battle. "Give me some good weapons," he implored, his voice barely audible over the din of the battlefield. In the midst of the chaos, Saba, the wise and loyal companion, spoke up with guidance born of experience and knowledge. "The one with the claw mark, press it when you approach Goldar," Saba advised, his voice steady and reassuring. "It is the claw attack, Alex." His fingers deftly navigating the holographic interface that materialized before him. With a decisive press, he selected one of the available options, his choice clear in his mind. As the white Tiger Zord surged forward, its claws crackling with laser energy, Alex felt a surge of power coursing through him. With a mighty roar, he unleashed the full force of his Zord's enhanced claws, the air crackling with energy as they glowed a bright, fiery red. With a ferocious lunge, Alex's Zord tore through the air, closing the distance between itself and Goldar in an instant. With a swift, decisive swipe, the enhanced claws struck true, tearing through Goldar's thick golden armor with astonishing ease. The impact C. The shockwaves rippling through the air as Goldar staggered back, the force of the blow leaving him momentarily stunned. As the dust settled, Alex prepared to press his advantage, his determination unwavering in the face of the enemy before him. With a deft maneuver, Alex guided his white Tiger Zord back to the ground, the massive creature landing with a resounding thud that reverberated through the streets of Angel Grove. As Kimberly soared above the chaos, her mind racing with a sudden burst of inspiration, she called out to Alex, "Alex, keep him busy, I have an idea." Alex nodded, "Got it." Kimberly then called out to Billy with a sense of urgency. "Billy, I have an idea. Ready?" she exclaimed, her voice carrying over the din of battle. Confusion clouded Billy's expression as he responded, Yeah, for what exactly?" Uncertainty lingered in his voice, but he trusted Kimberly's instincts implicitly. With a swift motion, Kimberly swooped down from the sky. Kimberly's pterodactyl Zord descended swiftly towards the chaos below. As she neared Billy's Triceratops Zord, she could see the determination etched on his face as he prepared for what was to come. In a seamless display, Kimberly expertly maneuvered her Zord, swooping down to scoop up the Triceratops in her talons. "Oh ho ho," Billy exclaimed, his words echoing through the cockpit as he prepared for the daring maneuver ahead. With a swift motion, he curled the Triceratops into a tight ball. Alex was continuously attacking Goldar with his claws and guns. Without missing a beat, he swiftly circled back, his eyes locked on the ongoing battle unfolding before him, and added, "Guys, one more strike. We need to get him away from the Zeo crystal." At the time, Kimberly's pterodactyl with Billy's Zord ascended thousands of feet in a matter of seconds. "I am coming." While below her, Billy's mind raced with uncertainty. He frantically searched for weapon options, tapping the dial in front of him in a desperate attempt to summon the necessary firepower. "I don't know what to press, okay?" he muttered, his voice tinged with frustration as the holographic weapons panel materialized before him. Meanwhile, Kimberly spotted Rita lurking behind Goldar, her eyes narrowing with determination as she formulated her plan. "Open wide, Rita," Kimberly shouted, her voice carrying a note of triumph as she released the Triceratops from its airborne trajectory. With a primal scream, Billy's Triceratops Zord hurtled towards the ground like a missile, its horns gleaming with lethal intent as it pierced through Goldar with unstoppable force. In the chaos of the moment, Billy accidentally activated his weapon option. When the Zord crashed in front of Rita, it unleashed a torrent of blue energy that rippled through the battlefield with devastating effect. The shockwave sent parked cars and newspaper boxes flying through the air, while Rita Repulsa herself was catapulted over several buildings, landing in a heap amidst the wreckage. Rita being injured caused the once formidable army of putties to lay scattered like discarded toys, their forms reduced to nothing but junk. Even Goldar, the mighty enforcer of Rita's will, staggered under the force of the onslaught, going down on one knee. Chapter 34. The Rangers cheered. "Billy, are you okay?" Zack yelled. "That was crazy brave, dude." The Triceratops rolled over and got to its feet. "I'm okay," Billy said, but he sounded a little spacey. They all looked around. Had they won? Where was Rita? They found out soon enough. Goldar formed a hand beneath Rita and gently lifted her until she stood upright. The molten gold healed some of her wounds, and as he swung her back around, her eyes locked in on the shattered building of Krispy Kreme. "I feel the crystal," she said. Goldar demolished the building. Goldar cupping his fist together, he slammed it into the ground, causing the ground to completely break. Before the Rangers could stop him, a blinding green light came up from the hole. Goldar stopped and took a few steps back, admiring it. The Rangers were transfixed for a moment. They had never seen anything so bright and pure. Then Alex got moving again. She found the crystal. One by one, the Rangers locked their Zords into a line between Goldar and the Zeo crystal's hole. With a swift motion, Alex tapped the dial with determination, summoning forth the holographic weapons panel with precision. As the options materialized before him, he wasted no time in selecting the shock cannon, his finger hovering over the controls with anticipation. With a decisive press, the White Tiger Zord's chest-mounted 208mm shock cannon roared to life, unleashing a torrent of energy that streaked through the air with deadly accuracy. The blast struck Goldar head-on, sending him staggering back under the force of the impact. Emboldened by Alex's bold move, the other Rangers quickly followed suit, their Zords unleashing a barrage of energy blasts upon the enemy. With each blast, Goldar's defenses faltered, his golden form bathed in the searing light of their combined assault. Despite his best efforts to shield himself, Goldar found himself overwhelmed by the relentless onslaught. With each passing moment, the barrage of energy blasts intensified, raining down upon him like a storm of destruction. But even as he struggled to withstand the onslaught, Goldar refused to yield, his resolve unbroken even in the face of overwhelming odds. With a defiant roar, he braced himself and moved forward towards them. Goldar smashed into the line, driving forward. The road buckled beneath them. "We're sliding," Billy said. There wasn't much space between them and the blazing crater. Trini chimed in. "It's getting hot in here." Goldar shoved the line of Zords toward the Zeo crystal's light. "Yes," Rita exulted. "Push them into the hole, let them melt." Inside the Zord's cockpits, the Rangers were starting to suffer from the heat. "This is it, guys," Jason said. The T-Rex's armor was starting to buckle. Trini saw that the mastodon was starting to warp out of shape. Zack had passed out from the heat. She sprang up to slap the mastodon's cockpit. "Zack!" Trini cried out. He snapped awake. "I'm here," the Zord's armor groaned from the heat. As the edge of the gaping hole loomed perilously close, white sab, Ur's voice cut through the chaos with clarity and purpose. "Take the saber and put it into the slot on the right," White Saber instructed, his tone urgent yet steadfast. "It will activate the warrior mode." With time running out and the edge of the abyss drawing nearer, the urgency of the situation reached a fever pitch. Billy's voice rang out with panic as he voiced the fear that gripped them all. "Are we going over?" he screamed, the fear evident in his tone. But Alexander remained resolute in the face of adversity. With a determined shake of his head, he silenced the doubts that threatened to overwhelm them. "Not yet," he muttered, his voice steady despite the chaos that surrounded them. With a swift motion, Alexander grasped the white saber, his hands trembling with anticipation as he positioned it into the slot on the right. With a resounding click, the saber locked into place, and Alexander spoke the words that would change the course of the battle. "Warrior mode activate." As the command echoed through the cockpit, a transformation began to unfold before their eyes. Slowly but surely, the white tiger Zord began to undergo a metamorphosis, its sleek form contorting and shifting until it took on a humanoid shape. With each passing moment, the Zord's transformation grew more pronounced. Cloaked in pristine white armor, its design evokes a sense of purity and strength. The sleek contours of its body are accentuated by subtle yet intricate paneling, giving it a streamlined and aerodynamic appearance. Its limbs are muscular and well-defined, hinting at its agility and power in combat. The head of the white tiger features angular lines, with piercing blue eyes that exude a sense of focus and determination. Adorned with sharp, pointed fins reminiscent of a tiger's mane, its headpiece adds to its ferocious demeanor. As the transformation unfolded before their eyes, the Rangers stood in awe, marveling at the sight of their once mechanical ally now taking on a humanoid form. Kimberly's voice broke the silence, her words tinged with a hint of wonder. "Can we do that too?" she muttered, her gaze fixed on the transformed Zord with a mixture of curiosity and admiration. Meanwhile, Alexander wasted no time in assessing the situation, his eyes scanning their surroundings with a keen sense of determination. "You guys recharge up and back me up when ready," he called out to his teammates, his voice steady and resolute. "I'll stall him until then." Though exhaustion weighed heavily upon them, each Ranger nodded in silent agreement, their resolve unwavering despite their weariness. Taking control of the newly transformed Zord, Alexander surged forward to meet Goldar head-on, his movements fluid and precise as he engaged in hand-to-hand combat with the imposing foe. Despite Goldar's strength and ferocity, Alexander proved to be a formidable opponent, weaving and dodging his strikes with expert precision. Goldar staggered back and fell on the ground. Rita had enough. She stepped up onto Goldar's hand and melded herself into his torso. It was time to teach them a lesson of pain. As Rita's merged form led Goldar to have much more experience and skill in fighting, as she unleashed a flurry of devastating punches, Alexander found himself hard-pressed to evade her relentless assault. With each blow, the force of her attacks threatened to overwhelm him, testing his reflexes and endurance to their limits. Despite the difficulty of dodging Rita's relentless onslaught, Alexander refused to yield, his determination unshaken even in the face of adversity. With every ounce of strength and skill at his disposal, he countered her punches with swift and decisive strikes of his own, his movements fluid and precise as he sought to turn the tide of battle in his favor. With each punch and kick exchanged between them, the air crackled with tension as the two adversaries clashed with all the ferocity and determination of warriors locked in mortal combat. Though the odds seemed stacked against him, Alexander fought on with unwavering resolve, refusing to back down in the face of Rita's formidable power. As the battle raged on, the clash of fists and the resounding impact of blows echoed through the air. It was a clash of titans. Rita was pushed back a lot. She was annoyed and yelled, "I had enough." That's when White Saber spoke up. "There is a weapon orb in the lower level. Use it. Use the Zord's signature move." Alexander did as said and quickly took out the orb and put it into the cockpit console, generating a powerful energy blast from the Tiger Zord's chest. It blasted Goldar, causing him to scent. Kimberly saw Alexander was fighting alone. "We have to help him." Trini sighed and replied, "If we go now, we will just be a nuisance." Zack shook his head and added, "There must be something." Suddenly, all of them felt the Zeo crystal glow brighter. They suddenly felt they were surging with power. Jason was curious. What is happening? The energy of the Zeo crystal. The Zords began to fuse together. The Mastodon connected to the T-Rex, the saber-toothed tiger to the Triceratops and the pterodactyl. All around them was the Zeo crystal's brilliance, but it wasn't destroying them. They stood up together from the edge of the burning crater. "Guys," Billy called out, "we're like one big Zord, like a mama Zord. No, that sounds lame, a Megazord." "Everyone, let's go," Jason called out. The Megazord staggered as the Rangers tried to control it. It wobbled a bit before toppling over with an impact strong enough to shatter the windows in nearby buildings. "I think that might have been my fault," said Billy. "I'm sorry." "I think Kimberly needs to move our feet. Try again," Jason added. "No, I've got an arm," Kimberly replied. "I got a leg," Zach added. "You're a leg too?" Billy asked. Trini chimed in. "I have the other arm." "We all have to move together," Jason said. "All together on 3. 1, 2, 3. The Megazord slowly rose and pulled itself to its feet. This time it kept its balance. They were getting the hang of it. Seeing the opportunity before him, Alexander wasted no time in springing into action. With a resolute call to his teammates, he prepared to bring the battle directly to them. "Guys, get ready. I'm bringing her to you," he shouted, his voice echoing with determination as he focused on his next move. As Rita lunged forward with her golden sword, intent on striking him down, Alexander deftly dodged her attack with a graceful sidestep. In a swift motion, he circled behind her, launching a flurry of furious punches and pushes at Goldar's face. With each blow, Rita staggered under the onslaught, her defenses crumbling in the face of Alexander's relentless assault. But he showed no signs of relenting, his determination driving him forward as he unleashed a barrage of strikes upon his formidable adversary. Chapter 35. Rangers controlled the Megazord, and seeing Alexander slowly pushing Rita towards them, Kimberly called out, "I want to punch her in the face." Jason replies, "Go for it." As Rita reeled from the onslaught, Alexander seized the opportunity to deliver one final, decisive blow. With a powerful kick, he sent Goldar hurtling through the air, directly towards the waiting Megazord, who was ready for Rita. As Goldar and Rita stood up, the Megazord's fist crashed into the side of Goldar's face and knocked him flat. "I want to punch her too," Trini guided the Megazord's hand through a sweeping roundhouse. It made an awesome crash on Goldar's head. Goldar stumbled, crushing much of Angel Grove's waterfront boardwalk. As the battle reached its climax, exhilaration surged through the Rangers as they worked together to overwhelm their formidable foe. Billy's excitement was palpable as he reveled in the thrill of the fight. "Oh, that was so cool," he exclaimed, his voice filled with awe and excitement. "I wish I had an arm." With a determined flick of his leg, Billy activated his Zord's appendage, delivering a powerful blow that sent Goldar staggering backward. Zach echoed Billy's sentiment with equal enthusiasm. "Me too," he shouted, his voice ringing out with exhilaration as he joined in the fray, delivering a punishing kick that pushed Goldar even further back. Alexander smiled and joined in from the other side. Fist crashed into the side of Goldar's face and once again knocking him flat. Meanwhile, Rita found herself unable to defend against the relentless onslaught from both sides, her defenses crumbling under the combined might of the Rangers' attacks. "Remember the pit," Alexander called out, his voice filled with determination. "Yeah," Zach replied, a grin spreading across his face as the memory of their past victory fueled their resolve. With a shared understanding, the Rangers sprang into action, each knowing their role in the upcoming maneuver. Jason's smile spoke volumes as he embraced the plan wholeheartedly. "Let's do it," he declared, his voice brimming with confidence and determination. "I will draw her to me," Alexander declared, his words carrying across the battlefield with unwavering determination. As Goldar charged towards him once more, Alexander met him head-on, his white tiger Zord moving with speed and agility as he launched a powerful strike at his opponent's midsection. The impact staggered Goldar, momentarily throwing him off balance as Alexander seized control of the battle. Meanwhile, the Megazord moved with stealth and precision, silently closing in on the distracted foe from behind. With a swift and coordinated maneuver, it lifted Goldar high into the air, its massive form dwarfing the enemy as it prepared to deliver the final, decisive blow. Then, with a thunderous crash, the Megazord brought Goldar hurtling back to the earth with bone-shaking force. The ground trembled beneath the impact as Goldar was slammed into the ground. Stomp him, Zack said, and they did, pounding on the golden monster until he started to go limp. The Megazord picked up Goldar and shook him, flinging molten gold into the harbor. Kim Trini, Jason called out, move back the arms, we've got swords. With that, the Megazord unclipped the wings on its back that became two awesome swords, while Alexander also drew his Zord saber and pointed at Rita. Wait, Rita Repulsa's voice cut through the chaos as the Megazord plunged its sword through Goldar's chest, pinning him to the ground. The Megazord loomed over the defeated Goldar as Rita emerged from his chest onto his hand. Molten gold dripped and streamed from her. Goldar could barely hold her up. She looked up at him, sad that he was hurting. Look at me, Rita turned to the Rangers. You think you've won. The Power Rangers and Alex said nothing. Rita pulled her coin from the head of her staff. Came for the crystal. Others will come. What you have, it can't last. You know I'm right. I don't know, Alex said. Again, he wondered what the whole story was between her and Zordon. But for now, I need you to give your staff and your coin to us. We will take you to Zordon and let him be the judge. The mention of Zordon's name transformed Rita's expression to pure malice. Zordon, judge me, she said, her voice a hiss. Never, no matter what Zordon says, I know am worthy. She thrust her staff toward the morphing energy that swirled in the Megazord's torso, but she was too slow. The Megazord reeled back a giant hand, and with all its power, batted her away. The force of the blow was enough to launch Rita into space. Did you just slap her? Billy asked, not believing what had just happened. I did, Kimberly replied. Weird, right? While Rita was flung away, she cursed the Rangers and threw her Green Ranger coin in the direction of Angel Grove. She internally smirked and thought, you think you won, but this is just the beginning. The green coin was tainted with Rita's magic, thus the one who takes it will be under her control. As she disappeared, Goldar sank to the ground. His form melted back into 1,000 streams of molten gold that split into tinier and tinier rivulets. These sank into the ground and disappeared. In seconds, it was as if Goldar and Rita Repulsa had never existed. The Rangers looked out over the town of Angel Grove. The brilliant shaft of light from the Zeo crystal still shone up out of the ground. They had saved it. Maybe they had saved a lot more than that. People emerged from hiding and began to surround the Megazord. As Billy's fingers danced over the controls, he flashed a grin. That's cool, he quipped, attempting humor amid the tension. Guess the bully. You guys don't get it's the... Got it, buddy. A collective sigh of relief swept through the cockpit. Billy's shoulders visibly relaxed. Oh, that was scary, he admitted, his voice tinged with lingering adrenaline. We did it, he declared, a mix of triumph and disbelief evident in his tone. The Rangers in their cockpits looked out at the people, who cheered and took photographs. Peering out through the cockpit, Billy spotted a familiar figure among the gathering crowd. Is that Principal Fague? He wondered aloud, his hand lifting in an uncertain wave. Hey, no, I don't think he can see me, he murmured, the realization sinking in. With a playful spark in his eyes, Billy manipulated the toggles with finesse, causing the Zord to move in a playful, almost dance-like manner. Let's wiggle Jason, he exclaimed, his voice laced with exhilaration. Call this the algebra. Woo. Kimberly's laughter filled the cockpit as she watched Billy's antics, her amusement evident. How do you even do that? She asked incredulously, her gaze bouncing between Billy and the controls with a mixture of admiration and amusement. I told you we'd be famous, Zack said as the Rangers celebrated. Alexander smiled and muttered, this is just the beginning. Chapter 36. Later, Alexander, Kimberly, Billy, Trini, Zack, and Jason entered Zordon's control room and walked straight to the chair. Jason set the sword back into its sheath. You should keep that, Zordon said from behind him. You earned it. I'll come back for it, Jason said. At the door, he stopped to wave. Alpha 5 waved back. Jason had a feeling he would be seeing them again fairly soon. Zordon's gaze fixed on Alexander, a nod of approval evident in his expression. You led your team well, he remarked, his voice carrying a note of pride. A fleeting smile graced Alexander's lips, but it quickly faded as his demeanor turned serious. Zordon, soon this town will be lurking with soldiers and officials. We have to move the Zeo crystal and change the ship's location since Putty's almost got in, he urged, his tone weighted with urgency. Zordon's metallic visage remained impassive as he considered the gravity of the situation. Have already started moving the Zeo crystal. Also, I will instruct Alpha to send the neuralizer probe, he declared, noting the confusion in the Ranger's eyes. It is a probe that manipulates the memory of the planet. Only Rangers or people with special abilities are able to fully resist it. We have used it previously to keep people from involving themselves in Ranger affairs. Alexander nodded in understanding. That's useful, he acknowledged, the gears in his mind already turning with possibilities. Zack, ever the inquisitive one, voiced his concern. Will everyone forget everything? He questioned, his brow furrowed with worry. Zordon's response was firm yet reassuring. No, he assured them. We will just ensure that out/think. Horrides are not involved with Ranger business, he explained. While next day's in-town things slowly returned to normal in Angel Grove, construction crews worked to rebuild the downtown. The Cascadia mine was gone. The Zeo crystal had been hidden again. Nobody in Angel Grove suspected that 6 high school kids had saved the world, especially these kids. As soldiers and other Govt figures descended upon the town, tension hung heavy in the air, threatening to disrupt the fragile peace that had been carefully maintained. However, thanks to the swift deployment of the neuralizer probe, the situation was swiftly diffused. With the memory-altering technology at work, the soldiers departed without incident. Also, Angel Grove got funds for redevelopment. In the dimly lit workshop of the ship, Alexander and Zordon engaged in a conversation that would shape their future endeavors. As Alexander shared his proposal to delve into the realm of alien technology, Zordon's nod of agreement served as a tacit endorsement of his idea. I will instruct Alpha to provide you with every piece of information we have gathered about the technology, Zordon affirmed, his voice resonating with authority. You may also explore the archives of the ship. I am confident that Alpha has amassed a wealth of knowledge over the centuries. A smile of determination graced Alexander's lips as he contemplated the possibilities laid out before him. Now, I can help Zack, he mused silently, his thoughts drifting to his fellow ranger. And nothing like Billy's situation will happen again, he resolved, a renewed sense of purpose igniting within him. With access to the ship's archives and the guidance of Zordon, Alexander stood ready to unlock the secrets of alien technology, paving the way for new advancements and ensuring the safety of their team. As Kimberly stood before the mirror, the reflection revealed more than just her own image. A series of photos adorned the edges, capturing moments frozen in time. Among them, she saw herself surrounded by Alex, Billy, Trini, Zack, and Jason, perched atop a cliff, their silhouettes etched against the canvas of a setting sun. Her fingers traced the edges of the photograph, a smile playing on her lips as memories flooded back. Her eyes landed on another precious memory. There, captured in a single frame, was herself and Alex, locked in a tender embrace, his lips pressed gently against her forehead. With a gentle tug, she plucked the photo from its place, holding it close to her chest as if to preserve the warmth of those cherished moments. Standing there, enveloped in the embrace of the past, Kimberly whispered softly to herself, her voice a tender reassurance. Everything is great, she affirmed. Trini's hands deftly worked to repair the broken walls of her room, the sound of her brother's playful argument drifting in from the hallway. They were debating over which ranger was the best, their voices rising with excitement. Enrique Kwan said, Jeremy Franklin told everyone at school, the blue was the best one, that's who I want to be, recounted one of Trini's brothers. But the other brother, Jackson Kwan, quickly interjected, adamant in his own opinion. Hey, no, I want to be the blue one. As the argument threatened to escalate, Trini intervened with a mischievous glint in her eyes. Hey, how about one of you guys try to be the yellow one? She suggested, her tone teasing. Enrique's eyes lit up with enthusiasm. Oh yeah, the yellow one. Oh, he's so cool, he exclaimed, already envisioning himself as the iconic ranger. With a slight smirk, Trini posed a question that gave her brothers pause. How do you know it's a he? She teased, challenging their assumptions and breaking the stereotype with a simple yet powerful question. While on Zack's side, in the quiet intimacy of the room, Zack lay beside his mother, their bond deepened by the shared moments spent over a chessboard. As Fiona Taylor contemplated her next move, her voice carried a sense of reverence as she spoke of the heroes who once graced Angel Grove. There were 6 of them like warriors, she remarked, her gaze flickering with reminiscence. With a strategic maneuver, she shifted a chess piece into place. They saved Angel Grove, she added, her tone infused with pride and gratitude. Zack's lips curved into a slight smile as he mirrored his mother's movements, his mind momentarily drifting to the tales of valor and heroism. 6 warriors, were they good-looking? He quipped playfully, a hint of mischief dancing in his eyes. Fiona chuckled softly, her laughter carrying the warmth of fond memories. With a graceful gesture, she made her final move, tipping the king piece gently. Checkmate, she declared, her smile radiant with both victory and affection. With a triumphant grin, Fiona extended her hand towards Zack, the gesture a silent invitation to celebrate their game. Zack met her hand with his own, their palms connecting in a resounding high five. Laughter bubbled between them, filling the room with a melody of joy and affection. In that fleeting moment, mother and son found solace in each other's company. As Billy meticulously peeled off each newspaper article and map from the wall of his basement room, a voice echoed from upstairs, breaking the silence. "Billy, Alex is here, and Kimberly Hart, Zach Taylor, Jason Scott, and some girl named Diddy," his mother called out, her tone laced with urgency. Responding swiftly, Billy's voice rang out in acknowledgement. "Mom, it's Trini, I'm coming," he shouted back, a mixture of excitement and anticipation evident in his tone. With a final glance at the now bare walls of his sanctuary, Billy moved quickly, his footsteps echoing up the stairs as he made his way to reunite with his friends. Alex walked into detention. He smiled at Kimberly and then at Billy. He looked around and saw Trini, who smiled back. He took his seat as Zack strolled in. Zack gave the room a once-over before taking a seat behind them, next to an empty desk with a green jacket hanging on the chair. The 5 Power Rangers all shared a sly smile as they pondered Zordon's words to them. "This Ranger team did what my team did not. You will humbly walk amongst your peers, but heroes you all will be. Each of your names will be etched alongside the great Ranger teams before you. We'll always owe a debt of gratitude to you all." "Attention, attention in detention," the teacher declared, his tone firm and authoritative. Glancing down at his attendance sheet, he paused, a flicker of confusion crossing his features. As Alexander's instincts kicked in, his hand darted out to catch the paper shuriken that sailed through the air, his reflexes honed by years of training. With a quick glance back, he met Kimberly's smile, her eyes twinkling with mischief and camaraderie. Curiosity piqued, Alexander unfolded the paper shuriken, revealing a hand-drawn picture of the Power Rangers lightning emblem, sketched by Kimberly. A smile tugged at his lips. "Oh, we have a new detention student, Tommy Oliver, Tommy Oliver, Tommy Oliver," he repeated, his voice rising with each utterance of the name. Alexander's demeanor shifted, a seriousness settling over him like a cloak. "So he's here," he thought, his mind racing with implications. Chapter 37. The workshop compartment aboard Zordon's ship buzzed with activity as Alexander and Billy delved into the realm of futuristic technology. Alexander's fingers danced over a holographic keyboard, each keystroke conjuring intricate designs that floated before them in a mesmerizing display of innovation. As the holographic prototype of their latest invention materialized, Billy's eyes widened with excitement. "This is amazing," he exclaimed, his voice filled with awe. Before Alexander could respond, the door slid open, revealing Kimberly, Trini, Zack, Jason, and beside them, Alpha appeared, his mechanical form buzzing with anticipation. Their curiosity was palpable as they stepped into the workshop, their eyes drawn to the glowing projection. Kimberly couldn't contain her curiosity. "What is that?" she asked, her gaze fixed on the hologram. With a proud smile, Alexander turned to face them. "This is our latest prototype," he explained. "Billy and I have been collaborating, drawing inspiration from various alien technologies we've found in archives." Technically, he had more advanced knowledge than anything from Power Rangers. After all, he had knowledge and skill of Rick Sanchez. But for now, Alex decided to not push out too advanced technology to this world. Billy chimed in, his enthusiasm contagious. "For months, we've been researching and experimenting," he added, "and this is our solution." Alpha 5 chimed in. "They are very good at absorbing knowledge." Intrigued, Trini stepped closer, her interest piqued. "What does it do?" she inquired. Alexander's gaze swept over the group before settling on the hologram, his expression resolute. "It's a medbay," he revealed, his voice tinged with determination. "A place where we can heal and mend injuries, ensuring that nothing like what happened with Billy ever happens again." His words hung in the air, heavy with the weight of their shared experiences and the resolve to forge a better, safer future. The group exchanged solemn nods. Zack's eyes shimmered with hope as he gazed at the holographic medbay, his heart pounding with anticipation. "Can it heal my mother?" he asked, his voice trembling with a mixture of anxiety and longing. Alexander placed a reassuring hand on Zack's shoulder, his voice steady and comforting. "Yes, it's possible," he affirmed, meeting Zack's gaze with unwavering determination. "Didn't I promise you we will find a way to cure your mother?" Relief flooded over Zack, his heart soaring with gratitude as he realized the magnitude of what they were creating. Trini, Jason, Billy, and Kimberly exchanged knowing smiles, their hearts swelling with happiness for their friend. Just then the wall of the room shimmered to life, revealing the face of Zordon, the wise and powerful mentor. Zordon's gaze fixated on the holographic prototype of the medbay, his voice resonating with awe and admiration. "This would be groundbreaking if it is perfected," he remarked, his tone tinged with both reverence and excitement. Turning to Alpha, Zordon issued a command. "Alpha, run a simulation for the medbay prototype." With a nod, Alpha sprang into action, his metallic fingers dancing across the holographic interface as he initiated the simulation. As the data slowly ticked upward, reaching 70%, Zordon and Alpha exchanged stunned glances, their expressions a mix of shock and awe. In a burst of excitement, Alpha exclaimed, "This prototype could cure the majority of ailments on Earth, even fatal injuries, and if perfected, it could even reverse aging." The room buzzed with energy as the significance of their creation sank in. Trini's voice trembled in disbelief, she muttered, "This would change everything. I mean, as long as we have this, you are immortal." A hush fell over the group as the weight of Trini's words settled in. Excitement mingled with apprehension, each member grappling with the monumental implications of their creation. Breaking the silence, Alexander's voice cut through the tension. "But it's too dangerous to be revealed to the world now," he cautioned, his tone serious. "We don't know how many greedy individuals would want their hands on such tech." His words hung in the air, a sobering reminder of the potential consequences of their discovery. Slowly, the group nodded in understanding, their expressions reflecting a shared sense of responsibility. Zordon's deep hum filled the room, his wisdom echoing off the walls. "Alexander is right," he concurred, his gaze sweeping over the assembled group. "Your world is not ready for this kind of tech. We can keep it aboard the ship for now until the time is right." With a collective sigh of agreement, they acknowledged the wisdom of their mentor's wisdom. Alexander turned to Zach, his expression earnest. "Zach, after running a couple of tests, we'll bring your mom here," he explained. "We'll give her some sleeping pills first. After healing her, we'll take her back home." Zach's excitement was palpable as he nodded enthusiastically. "That sounds perfect," he said, gratitude evident in his voice. Trini, always the voice of reason, added a note of caution. "You might want to keep the information about her sudden recovery from illness a secret." Zach nodded again, his resolve firm. "Don't worry about that. I'll make sure no one finds out." His heart swelled with gratitude toward Alexander and Billy, knowing that their efforts could change his mother's life forever. As Alexander and Kimberly walked hand in hand through the twilight streets, the soft glow of streetlights casting long shadows, Alexander finally broke the silence. "Kim, I'm going back to my ninja academy next week," he said, his voice gentle. "Have to talk with Sensei about everything that happened." Kimberly kissed Alex's cheek, her lips lingering for a moment as if to imprint the memory. "I will wait for you," she whispered, her voice filled with unwavering devotion. Alexander smiled, feeling a warmth spread through his chest. "Thank you, Kim," he said softly. Chapter 48, Fight with Ninjas. Alexander made his way to his BMW R9T Scrambler, the motorcycle's sleek matte black finish reflecting the streetlights and giving it a stealthy, aggressive look. The bike's retro design, with a round headlight and minimalistic bodywork, perfectly blended classic motorcycle aesthetics with modern elements. The high-mounted dual exhaust system added a signature scrambler touch, while the spoked wheels enhanced its rugged, off-road capable appearance. Climbing onto the bike, Alexander fastened his helmet securely and gripped the handlebars with determination. He started the engine. With a grin, he revved the engine, and the back tire spun, burning rubber against the asphalt. In a cloud of smoke and a burst of speed, he raced away into the night, the exhaust growling as the bike tore down the street. Alexander rode through the night, the roar of his BMW R9T Scrambler echoing off the trees as he left the city behind. The road twisted and turned, leading him deeper into the remote forest. Eventually, he reached a secluded clearing. He parked his bike, the engine's rumble fading into the silence of the woods. Dismounting, he removed his helmet, revealing a determined expression. He looked around, taking in the dense foliage. It was noontime now. After walking through the forest for a while, they sensed danger, as a black blur had whizzed by them. A group of air, water, and earth ninjas came out of nowhere. Alexander sighed and muttered, "Sensei wants to test me." As the first wave of ninjas, skilled in the art of water manipulation, charges towards Alexander, he swiftly retreats towards the nearby river, his footsteps defying gravity as he walks upon the surface of the water with the technique of water walking. With fluid grace, Alexander leads the group of ninjas further out onto the river, the sound of rushing water from the nearby waterfall filling the air with a sense of anticipation. The ninjas, undeterred by the unconventional battleground, follow suit, their mastery of water walking allowing them to pursue their target with ease. They lunge forward with a barrage of punches. Alexander's movements are swift and precise. With lightning-fast palm strikes, he deflects their attacks with ease. He intercepts the ninjas' punches, redirecting their momentum with deft precision. Meanwhile, the flowing movements of Tai Chi allow him to maintain a calm and centered presence, despite the chaos unfolding around him. Alex seamlessly transitions between offense and defense, his movements a blur of speed and precision. With lightning-fast palm strikes, he deflects incoming blows and counters with devastating accuracy. Each strike lands with the force of a thunderbolt, the force of his blows sending them stumbling backward and crashing into the water. Alexander starts to become serious. He walks back to land and sees more rushing towards him. This time, ninjas skilled in the art of wind. As Alexander faces the incoming group of ninjas, his hands blur with speed as he launches into a relentless assault. He delivers a barrage of punches and paw/think. Alexander strikes with precision and power. With each strike, Alexander's fists become a blur of motion, raining down upon his adversaries with unmatched ferocity. His punches land with bone-crushing force, sending the ninjas reeling backward with each impact. In between his punches, Alexander seamlessly integrates palm strikes, targeting vital pressure points with surgical accuracy. The force behind his strikes is undeniable, each blow capable of incapacitating his opponents with minimal effort. As the last ninjas that were skilled in earth manipulation attempt to regroup and launch a counterattack, Alexander remains unfazed. Alexander uses air walking and leaps into the air. He executes multiple kicks while utilizing the spinning motion in the air to generate momentum, adding an extra layer of complexity and power to his attacks. Let's revise the description accordingly. Alexander harnesses the spinning motion in the air to generate momentum for a flurry of devastating kicks. As he leaps into the air, initiating the spinning lightning dragon kick, he spins gracefully, the whirlwind of motion around him enhancing the speed and power of his strikes. With each rotation, Alexander launches a series of lightning-fast kicks, each one delivered with precision and ferocity. The momentum from his spinning motion amplifies the force behind each kick, creating a relentless barrage of attacks that overwhelm the ninja group's defenses. The impact of his relentless assault knocks the ninjas off their feet and sends them sprawling across the ground. As Alexander was not done, there were still some behind them, and using air walking, he moved forward and continues to spin through the air. His kicks rain down upon his opponent with unrelenting speed and power. The sheer intensity of the onslaught leaves these ninjas unable to defend. Despite their best efforts to regain their footing, the ninjas find themselves unable to withstand the relentless barrage of kicks raining down upon them from above, causing them to be flung back and crash into the ground. With each successive kick, Alexander's movements become a blur of motion, his strikes landing with pinpoint accuracy and devastating force. As the wind whispered through the trees, a figure blurred into view. It was Sensei Kana Watanabe, leader of the Wind Ninja Academy. His presence brought a sudden stillness to the air, and he regarded Alexander with a knowing smile. "Your body has grown stronger and faster," Sensei observed, "but your mastery of air, water, and earth walking seems to have dulled. However, your fighting techniques have noticeably improved. It appears you've gained valuable combat experience." Alexander felt a pang of regret at the truth in Sensei's words. His training had indeed slackened since his academy days, but he was happy to hear Sensei's praise. With a solemn nod, Sensei continued, "Your uncle awaits," but a small smile graced his lips as he added, "You will grow into a wonderful ninja, Alexander, one of the best I have trained." They strode together toward the cascading waterfall, where a portal shimmered, its iridescent circles casting a golden glow. Stepping through, they emerged in a secluded valley adorned with lush forests and meandering rivers. High upon one of the peaks stood the Wind Ninja Academy, its grandeur commanding respect. The building, with its sweeping curves and traditional Japanese design, unfurled like a guardian amidst nature's embrace. And atop it all, a scarlet flag of the Wind Academy fluttered proudly in the breeze, an emblem of honor and duty. The Ninja Academy is inside a pocket dimension. Such things can be found in multiple places on Earth. Chapter 39. Alexander was led by Sensei to the arena, a vast stone square where ninjas competed. Surrounding it were blue-roofed buildings filled with spectators, their eyes glued to the battles below. As they entered, Alexander's gaze landed on Cameron Watanabe. He has straight black hair that he often styles in a neat, practical manner. His hair is typically medium length, parted slightly to one side and kept well-groomed. He has a youthful, clean-shaven face with sharp features. His eyes are dark and expressive, who was intently watching a match. Among the fighters, Alexander recognized a familiar face. His cousin Dustin, who has tousled, shoulder-length black-brownish hair, often seen left loose, fitting his carefree personality. He has a friendly, open face with a perpetual hint of a smile, reflecting his upbeat and positive nature. His eyes are blue, exuding a sense of excitement and curiosity. He was engaged in a fierce hand-to-hand combat with another Earth-style ninja. Dustin was holding his own, showing significant improvement from his early days, but his opponent's skill was evident. In a swift move, the Earth ninja flipped Dustin onto the ground, eliciting a pained groan from him. Cameron announced, "Winner Yahiko." Dustin groaned as he got up, with Tori and Shane rushing over to help him. Just then, Dustin noticed Alexander and with a bright smile called out, "Alex, you are here." This drew the attention of Cameron, Shane, and Tori, who all turned to see where Dustin was looking. Alexander smiled at his cousin, who quickly ran over and hugged him. Alexander returned the hug and asked, "How's the training and your dirt bike racing going?" Dustin grinned. "Dirt bike racing is going great, and ninja training is not bad either." Alexander nodded as Cameron approached and hugged him with a smile. "Good to see you back," Cameron said warmly. Alexander smiled in return. "Good to see you too." While this was happening, Shane leaned over to Tori and whispered, "Is that Alexander Cage, the direct disciple of Sensei Watanabe?" Tori, still in awe and a bit dazed, muttered, "Yeah." They had heard a lot about Alexander from fellow students, and notably from Dustin too. It was hard to believe that Dustin was his cousin. Sensei Watanabe, watching the reunion with a smile, said, "You can catch up for now." His tone then shifted to seriousness as he added, "But do not be lax with your training." Dustin nodded immediately, "Yes, Sensei." Cameron also nodded, "Yes, thank you, Dad." As Sensei walked away, Alexander and Cameron delved into a conversation about everything that had transpired during Alexander's absence. Meanwhile, Dustin gestured toward his friends and introduced them. "These are my friends Shane Clark and Tori Hansen." Alexander extended his hand, shaking hands with both Shane and Tori. They greeted him with a simultaneous hello. Alexander smiled at them, feeling the warmth of their welcome. "I've heard a lot about you two from Dustin," he said, noting their relaxed and friendly demeanor. Shane nodded, looking impressed. "And we've heard a lot about you. It's great to finally meet you." Tori, still slightly starstruck, added, "Yeah, Dustin talks about you all the time. Welcome back." Dustin quickly said with excitement, "You live in Angel Grove, right? Heard stories on the internet about a fight between a giant robot and a giant made of gold." Alexander chuckled, subtly signaling to Cameron to change the topic. Cameron caught on and said, "You three shouldn't dawdle around here too much. If Sensei comes back, you'll be in trouble." Dustin nodded. "Yes, I'll meet you after training," he said, pulling Shane away, who gave a quick wave. Tori smiled and waved at Alexander before following them. As they departed, Cameron turned to Alexander with a knowing smile. "Angel Grove, huh? You always manage to stay in the thick of things." Alexander shrugged with a grin. "You won't believe what I found there." Cameron was curious, while leading Alexander inside the Ninja Academy for more privacy. Where Sensei Watanabe was also present, Alexander didn't waste time and told everything to them. Sensei and Cameron were surprised hearing the fact. Alexander was now White Power Ranger. Cameron muttered, "I remember Dustin talking about it, never thought it would be real." Sensei already knew there are other Rangers, so he hummed and muttered, "Amazing it seems, new Rangers are slowly awakening over time." Cameron nodded while Alexander questioned, "When are new Wind Rangers selected?" Sensei answered, "I haven't found the fight member." Cameron added, "Dad is thinking about choosing possible candidates next year." Alexander nodded and thought, so the possibility of Lothar arriving back on Earth is during that period. Chapter 40. The sun hangs low in the sky, casting long shadows across the training ground. The area buzzes with activity as ninjas hone their skills. A light breeze rustles the leaves of nearby trees. Alexander stands with Sensei, their conversation about the Rangers and Zordon wrapping up. Alexander seriously said, "Thank you, Sensei, I'll take my leave now." Sensei Watanabe smiled and with a nod replied, Take care, Alexander. Alexander bows, and he then walked back to the fighting ground with Cameron. Both of them joked and reached the fighting ground. Alexander and Cameron, walking side by side, the atmosphere between them light and filled with light jokes. They both laugh, reaching the fighting ground where Justin and Shane are sparring. Cameron steps forward to referee the match, clapping his hands and getting Shane and Justin's attention, and said, "All right, let's keep it clean, you two." Alexander sat on the side, watching the training session. His eyes followed the intense movements of Justin and Shane, appreciating their skill. Tori, noticing Alex, makes her way over and sits beside him. Cage ***. Smiling. Hey. Tori ***. Smiling back. Hey. Tori tucks a strand of hair behind her ear, a hint of nervousness in her demeanor. Tori ***. So you're from Angel Grove. Cage ***. Nods. Yes. Tori hums softly, twirling her hair between her fingers, building up the courage to ask her next question hesitantly. Tori ***. So do you have a girlfriend? Alexander knew this was coming and with a nod answered, "Yes, have a girlfriend." Tori's face fell slightly, disappointment evident. But before the moment lingered too long, Cage speaks again, his tone friendly and reassuring. "You're beautiful. Any guy will be happy to have you. Also, we can hang out as friends." Tori's expression brightens a little, a small smile playing on her lips, and said, "Okay." They sit together in comfortable silence, the sounds of training and laughter filling the air. Cage, looking thoughtful, breaks the silence. "I heard from Justin you're good at surfing." Tori's eyes light up, a proud smile spreading across her face. "Do you want to learn?" Cage nods and replied, "Yes, it looks great and I've always wanted to learn." Tori, smiling warmly, said, "Next time you come here, I'll teach you." Cage nods, smiling in agreement, and said, "Okay." A part of Tori doesn't want to fully give up on Cage. She decides to wait and see how things turn out, a spark of hope lingering in her eyes. They sit together in comfortable silence, the sound of training and laughter filling the air. Alexander leaned casually against the row of lockers, one foot crossed over the other, his eyes scanning the bustling hallway. The distant chatter of students and the sharp clang of locker doors created a lively backdrop. Kimberly stood beside him, focused on rummaging through her locker. The faint scent of her vanilla perfume wafted through the air, mixing with the scent of old textbooks. As she sifted through her belongings, her fingers brushed past a crumpled note, pausing momentarily before moving on. Kimberly finally found her notes, pulling them free from the clutter of her locker. She turned to Alexander, her brow slightly raised with curiosity. "So, any plans for the weekend?" she asked, a hint of expectation in her voice. Alexander hummed thoughtfully, tapping his fingers against the cool metal locker. "On Saturday, I'm helping Zach with his mom," he replied, his tone serious but calm. Kimberly's eyes widened slightly. "Oh," she asked, tilting her head, "are you bringing her to the ship?" Alexander nodded, his expression steady. "Yeah, we're planning to give her some sleeping pills, then take her to the ship. It's the only way." Kimberly bit her lip, her gaze softening as she considered Zach's situation. She nodded slowly, her voice quieter now. "I hope Zach and his mom can finally have some peace after this," she muttered, almost to herself, as if trying to reassure herself as much as him. As Alexander turned to talk with Kimberly, he didn't notice the teenager passing by, his long, dark brown hair pulled back into a neat ponytail. The boy had a chiseled jawline, high cheekbones, and intense brownish-black eyes that hinted at a charismatic presence. His warm olive skin contrasted with the green overcoat he wore, which hung loosely over black jeans, adding to his distinctive look. Billy approached the group just as the teen walked past and asked, "Hey, do we have detention this week?" Alexander shook his head, a small grin forming. "Nope, we finished early thanks to good behavior." Billy nodded, relieved, just as Zach, Trini, and Jason joined them. Jason's eyes lit up with curiosity. "So, do you guys want to hang out tonight?" Billy quickly jumped in. "I'm in. Alexander and I have been working non-stop these past weeks. We could use a break." Zach, however, seemed distracted, a hint of anxiety in his eyes as he leaned closer to Alexander and whispered, "So, did you finish the medical pod?" Alexander nodded, his voice calm and reassuring. "Don't worry, we just need to run one small test and then we're good to go. We can heal your mom this week." Zach visibly relaxed, the tension easing from his shoulders. Trini noticed and offered a comforting smile, whispering, "Everything's going to be fine, Zach." Zach nodded gratefully, and Kimberly, seeing everyone in agreement, chimed in, "Sounds like a plan. We could hang out at the mines again." Alexander's eyes lit up with excitement. "I know an interesting spot there." Jason grinned. "Great, I'll bring the drinks. You guys take care of the snacks and stuff." With that, everyone nodded in agreement, the anticipation of the evening's plans. In the cold, vast expanse of space, Rita Repulsa's frozen form drifted silently toward the moon, encased in a crystalline prison. Her body was immobilized, but her mind was still sharp, seething with rage. Despite her predicament, she could sense the faint pulse of her power coin, its energy resonating with hers. Even in her frozen state, she could channel a sliver of her power, sending it across the cosmos to her chosen successor. Inwardly she seethed, her mental voice echoing through the icy void. "Those pesky kids ruined everything." The words were laced with fury, each syllable a weapon in her silent war. Label a bitter reminder of her failure at the hands of the Power Rangers. The thought of Lord Zed crossed her mind, sending a shiver of dread through her consciousness. If he discovered her latest defeat, there would be no end to his wrath. She could almost feel his cold, calculating gaze, judging her from afar. He mustn't know, he mustn't find out, she thought, her anger momentarily replaced by a flicker of fear. Yet even as she drifted closer to the lunar surface, Rita clung to one last hope, that her successor would succeed where she had failed. And perhaps one day she would have her revenge. Rita's fury burned hotter than the stars around her as she drifted helplessly through space. "Those meddling Rangers may have defeated me, but they haven't seen the last of Rita Repulsa," she thought, her anger simmering beneath the frozen exterior. A twisted smirk almost formed on her lips as she remembered the contingency she had prepared. "I've already set up the Goldar clone," she mused, satisfaction mingling with her rage. "Ready and waiting for this very moment. It seems my foresight will pay off after all." The thought of her loyal, hulking warrior resurrected brought her a cruel sense of satisfaction. The Rangers might have won this round, but they were far from safe. Suddenly, a new plan began to take shape in her mind, dark and insidious. Her eyes, though locked in place, glowed an eerie green as the thought took hold. "If I can't be there myself, I can channel my power through the power coin. I can manipulate my successor from afar." Her mind buzzed with dark possibilities. Through the power, she could whisper her commands, guide their actions, and twist their will to serve her own. Her successor would be nothing more than a puppet, an extension of her wrath. Deep within a shadowy, caved-in location beneath the streets of Angel Grove, the air grew thick with the scent of molten metal. A golden liquid began to seep from cracks in the ground, pooling together in the center of the cavern. It bubbled and churned, taking on a life of its own as it slowly began to rise. The molten gold twisted and reshaped itself, gradually solidifying into a familiar, sinister form. But this Goldar was different. Unlike the hulking giant that once terrorized the Power Rangers, this version was smaller, human-sized, yet still radiating the same menacing presence. His armor gleamed darkly in the dim light, every edge sharp and purposeful. As the final droplets of gold solidified into place, Goldar's eyes flared open, glowing with an eerie red light. He was kneeling, his massive wings folded tightly against his back, as if he had just been summoned from the depths. Slowly, deliberately, he rose to his feet, the sound of creaking metal echoing through the cavern. His gaze was focused, his purpose clear. "I will bring you back, my Lady Rita," he vowed, his voice deep and reverberating with dark resolve. There was no doubt in his tone, only a fierce determination to fulfill his mission. This Goldar was not a mere servant. He was a warrior with a single goal, to restore his fallen mistress to her former glory. As he stood tall, his eyes scanned the darkness, already plotting the steps needed to achieve his mission. Rita Repulsa would return, and the Power Rangers would once again face the wrath of their most relentless foes. Chapter 42. Tommy's attention is fully locked on the sandbag hanging in front of him. He rolls his shoulders, stretching his arms as the sandbag gently sways in front of him. The room seems to quiet down as Tommy takes his stance, feet firmly planted, his eyes narrowing with focus. Suddenly, with a burst of energy, Tommy launches into a series of swift punches, his fists flying with precision. Each punch connects solidly with the sandbag, causing it to swing wildly. But Tommy doesn't miss a beat. He flows seamlessly into a combination of high kicks and spinning back fists, his movements a perfect blend of strength and agility. The sandbag absorbs each blow, its chains rattling as it sways violently from side to side. With a smirk, Tommy steps back, then leaps into the air with a flying side kick, his foot slamming into the sandbag with enough force to send it swinging high. He lands lightly, his body balanced and ready for more. Tommy finishes the routine with a spinning roundhouse kick, the impact of which leaves the sandbag spinning on its chain, nearly wrapping around itself. He steps back, breathing steadily, his eyes still focused and intense. High above the bustling gym, Goldar stands in the shadows, his golden armor glinting faintly in the sunlight. His eyes, narrow and filled with disdain, are locked onto Tommy Oliver as he practices below. From his vantage point, Goldar watches Tommy's every move, the precise strikes, the powerful kicks. The Green Ranger's skill is undeniable, but to Goldar, he's just another mortal. Goldar muttering to himself, "So this is the mortal Mistress chose." His voice drips with skepticism, his lip curling in contempt. In his clawed hand, he holds the green power coin, its emerald glow pulsating gently. He turns it over, feeling its energy, but doubts linger in his mind. Goldar grumbling. Rita's faith in him is questionable, but orders are orders. He glances back down at Tommy, who finishes his routine with a final, powerful kick, sending the sandbag swinging wildly. The sight stirs something in Goldar, a mix of envy and anger. Yet he knows his place, eh? And defiance is not an option. Goldar smirks, his sharp teeth glinting as he grips the coin tighter and smiling darkly. He won't even see it coming. With a final glance at the unsuspecting Tommy, Goldar's body begins to shimmer, the golden armor that once clanked with each movement now melting into a fluid state. He whispered to himself, the Green Ranger won't know what hit him. His form liquefies, the solid gold of his body turning into a molten, glistening substance. Slowly, the liquid gold flows toward the edge of the rooftop, seeping effortlessly into the cracks and crevices. The room is filled with a soft, ambient glow, the kind that emanates from advanced technology not of this world. Alexander Zax carefully guides Zack's mother, who is deep in sleep, towards the medical bed. The sleek white surface of the bed contrasts with the metallic surroundings, its minimalist design exuding an almost serene calm. The bed features an overhead arching mechanism, smooth and silent as it adjusts to accommodate Zack's mother. It's a piece of technology far beyond anything Earth has to offer, more like something out of a dream, yet it holds a promise of hope. Alexander's fingers dance across the touchscreen, his face composed yet focused. Beside him, Zack stands, his nerves evident in the way he fidgets with his hands. His friends, Billy, Trini, Kimberly, and Jason, stand close by, offering him silent support. Kimberly gently places a hand on Zack's shoulder, while Jason gives him a reassuring nod. Alexander looks at Zack, his tone calm and reassuring. "Don't worry, Zack, nothing will happen, she's in good hands." Zack, swallowing his anxiety, forces a small smile and nods. "Yeah, I believe you." With a steady hand, Alexander taps the screen, initiating the process. The arching mechanism closes around Zack's mother with a gentle hum, enclosing her in the bed's protective shell. A flash of light illuminates the room as the machine activates, scanning her body with an advanced laser. The laser moves up and down, its precise beam emitting a soft hum as it thoroughly scans her. The computer monitor beside them lights up with a stream of data, analyzing every aspect of her health. Zack watches intently, holding his breath as the diagnosis appears on the screen, trace amounts of cancer and heart problems, certain smaller ailments. His heart skips a beat, fear gripping him for a moment. But then the laser changes color, now glowing with a warm, reassuring hue. The words re-atomizing flash across the screen. The advanced technology goes to work, a quiet yet powerful hum filling the room as the ailments are systematically erased. After what seems like only seconds, the machine beeps, beep. Health check completed, 100% clear. Alexander smiles, turning to Zack with a look of quiet triumph. It's done. Zack blinks, his eyes wide with disbelief. The relief is overwhelming, almost too much to process, muttering in amazement, so fast. Alexander taps through the screen again, bringing up a detailed scan. It shows her health is now at full capacity, every trace of sickness gone. Zack stares at the screen, his fear and anxiety replaced by a growing sense of awe. Alexander softly said, "She's going to be just fine." Zack's small smile grows, his heart swelling with gratitude and disbelief. He looks at his friends, who are smiling back at him, their relief as palpable as his own. They come in closer, wrapping him in a group hug, the weight of the past few hours lifting. Zack turns back to the screen, his eyes lingering on the words 100% clear. And for the first time in a long while, he allows himself to truly believe that everything is going to be okay. Suddenly, Alexander's voice breaks through his thoughts, pulling him back to the present gently, yet seriously. But Zach, you have to take her to a hospital for a checkup. She needs to believe that she's completely okay. Tell her the crystal that Rangers were protecting might have influenced her recovery. It's the only thing that will make sense. Zach blinks, snapping out of his reverie. He turns to Alexander, processing his words. The plan makes sense. After all, how else could they explain such a miraculous recovery? He nods, understanding the importance of keeping their secret safe while also reassuring his mother. Yeah, got it. Thanks, Alexander. Overcome with emotion, Zach pulls Alexander into a hug, a gesture of deep appreciation and trust. Alexander returns the hug with a warm smile, patting Zach on the back. Before long, the others, Billy, Trini, Kimberly, and Jason, join in, wrapping their arms around their friend. The group huddled tightens, a circle of support. Chapter 43. The crisp morning air was still as Tommy Oliver jogged along the dew-laden field, the distant sound of birdsong breaking the silence. As the sun's golden rays spilled over the horizon, a glint of green caught his eye. It shimmered faintly, standing out like a sore thumb. Locked onto the source of the glow, a radiant green orb, suspended in a metallic frame that seemed alive. The orb pulsed softly, its vibrant green light spilling over the jagged walls. Tommy moved closer, drawn to its otherworldly allure. As he approached, the details of the artifact became clearer. The orb's surface was etched with intricate, maze-like patterns, their complexity both mesmerizing and disorienting. It was as if the designs told a story, one written in a language long forgotten by time. The metallic frame holds. The orb seemed to have grown around it, not forged but formed. The dark bronze metal appeared weathered, its surface marked by the passage of eons. Jagged tendrils extended outward from the frame, curling and twisting like roots seeking to protect the treasure within. It resembled molten lava frozen mid-flow, an organic blend of nature and raw energy. Tommy slowed to a halt, his breathing steady but his heart quickening. Something about the gleaming object drew him in, a magnetic pull he couldn't resist. He crouched to find a crystal embedded in the soil, its surface smooth and flawless, etched with an intricate carving of a dinosaur. The faint green glow it emitted pulsed rhythmically, almost as if it were alive. At a distance, Galadar watched everything in excitement. As Tommy picked it up and his fingers brushed against the crystal, a jolt shot through his body like a lightning strike. His vision blurred, and his surroundings melted into nothingness. Darkness consumed him. When Tommy's senses returned, he found himself standing in a void, suspended between time and space. A soft, otherworldly glow illuminated the darkness, revealing a figure that seemed to emerge from the shadows. Before him stood a woman, her presence both regal and menacing. Her sharp, angular features were adorned with intricate green designs that coiled across her skin, resembling vines etched into her very being. The glowing patterns pulsed faintly, adding an alien-like mystique to her already imposing figure. Her piercing blue eyes locked onto Tommy, their intensity unwavering, cutting through the dimness like twin beacons. Her sleek dark hair cascaded down one shoulder in a waterfall of shimmering strands, partially pulled back to reveal a crown-like headpiece woven seamlessly into her armor. She wore a vivid green suit that seemed to breathe, its organic plates shifting slightly as though alive. Around her neck, a coiled choker of vine-like strands completed her ominous yet majestic appearance. Tommy's breath hitched. He knew this face. He'd seen it splashed across headlines and grainy photos of destruction. "You," he muttered, his voice a mix of disbelief and anger. "You're the woman who attacked Angel Grove. Rita Repulsa, where am I?" The corners of Rita's lips curled into a sly smirk, her voice dripping with mockery. "So am famous. Good to know my reputation precedes me." She gestured around them with an elegant wave of her hand. "This is your mind space, dear Tommy, and I'm here to make a proposition." Tommy's stance shifted, his muscles tense as he glared at her. "What do you want from me?" Rita's smirk faded, replaced by a glint of malice in her eyes. "I want you to destroy the Power Rangers," she said, her voice like poison laced with honey. "Those pesky brats who dared to stand against me." Tommy's fists clenched at his sides as he shook his head. "I won't do it. They're heroes, protectors of Angel Grove." Rita tilted her head, a cruel smile forming on her lips. "Oh, Tommy, sweet, naive Tommy, the moment you touched that crystal, you lost the luxury of choice." Before Tommy could react, Rita moved faster than his eyes could follow, closing the distance between them in an instant. She pressed a finger against his forehead, her touch burning with dark energy. Tommy screamed as her power coursed through him like molten fire, tearing through his defenses. As Rita stepped back, her expression triumphant, Tommy's body trembled. His head hung low, his breathing ragged. Then slowly he lifted his gaze. His once warm, brown eyes now glowed an ominous green, their light cold and unyielding. Rita chuckled darkly, her voice echoing through the void. You are mine now, Green Ranger. While at the same time, the morning sun cast long shadows as Kimberly perched silently atop Alex's home, her movements swift and precise. With a practiced grace, she slipped through the open window of his room, landing noiselessly on the carpeted floor. The faint sound of running water reached her ears, and she smirked, her eyes sweeping the room. Her gaze fell on the slightly ajar bathroom door, steam curling into the air. The water shut off, and moments later, Alex stepped out, a towel slung low around his waist, droplets glistening on his toned physique. His damp hair clung to his forehead as he paused, spotting Kimberly lounging casually on the edge of his bed. Well, this is a surprise, he said, one brow arched in bemusement. Kimberly's grin widened, her eyes unabashedly trailing over him. I must say, she quipped, her voice tinged with mischief, I'm really liking the view. Alex chuckled, running a hand through his wet hair. Is that so? She leaned back, crossing her legs. Oh, very much. He shook his head, gesturing for her to leave. All right, enjoy the show later. I need to change. Kimberly waved a dismissive hand, her tone teasing. Go ahead, it's nothing I haven't seen before. Alex let out a resigned sigh, his hand on the wardrobe. Kimberly, turn around and close your eyes. Rolling her eyes dramatically, she turned her back but couldn't resist sneaking a peek as he changed. Catching her in the act, Alex gave her a pointed look over his shoulder. Kimberly. She laughed lightly, feigning innocence. Fine, fine, no peeking. As Alex pulled on his shirt, he glanced over at her. Why'd you sneak into my room anyway? Kimberly's playful demeanor shifted, her tone growing serious. I needed to talk to you this morning. Woke up with this overwhelming sense of dread, like something bad is coming. Alex stiffened, his hands pausing mid-motion. You too, he murmured, his eyes narrowing. Felt it too. She turned to face him, her expression grim now. It's not just us, is it? He shook his head, his jaw tightening. No, this has to be a warning from the power coins. A tense silence filled the room as the weight of their shared premonition settled between them. The air seemed heavier, a storm looming just beyond the horizon. Kimberly met his gaze, her voice firm. We need to tell the others. Alex nodded, his eyes filled with determination. Then let's find out what's coming together.